هلا والله بالشباب الطيبة، وهلا والله بالحبايب، ورجعنا وياكم شباب في بث جديد. وطبعا شباب ببجي ستيم شبابنا الطيبة، وبطولة بي العالمية شباب. واليوم القبل الاخير شبابنا الطيبة. طبعا شباب اليوم اخر 5 مباريات قبل النهائي، وان شاء الله شباب يوم غد ان شاء الله النهائي حبايبنا. فنتمنى شباب دعمكم بالمشاركات، همتكم بالشيرات. اليوم كل الفرق جايه تستعد، المتبقيه طبعا للتاهل. اخر 5 فرق راح تتاهل. تجي موقفهم صعب جدا، كل الفرق موقفها صعب جدا شباب. فحاليا شباب راح تشوفون نهائي اسطوري ناري، استقتال مخيف على التاهل حبايبنا. 5 فرق، اي واحد يجيب تشيكن دينر كلهم يتاهلون شبابنا الطيبه. كل فريق يجيب تشيكن دينر هو راح يتاهل. فشبابنا الطيبه نتمنى دعمكم، نتمنى همتكم بالشيرات. ولا تنسوا شباب جائزة البث حبايبنا، جائزة البث الأسطورية شباب. حاليا اليوم مخلين $30 شبابنا الطيبة لأكثر شخصين يشارك البث. الشخص الأول رابح ويانا حيربح $20، والشخص الثاني حيربح على $10 شباب. طبعا الجائزة مقدمة كدعم من أخونا شاكر من السعودية حبايبنا للمتابعين لكم، دعما للبطولات الاحترافية في الوطن العربي حبايبنا. فمثل ما وعدتكم شباب راح نبث اليوم الحماسي، اليوم النهائي قبل طبعا قبل الفاينل اللي هو اليوم، اللي 5 فرق بس راح تصعد، ووراها خلص الباقي الفرق راح تتفرج بالبيت من الفندق على 16 فريق المتأهل. اتمنى شباب شارككم، همتكم وعفكم التعليق.
But they only got 6 top 5s in total from all those games, and that is not going to cut it. That is not enough.
Yeah. In comparison, of course, Ents here from Europe, they've played 3 games so far, Cameron, and there's been a 4th, a 6th, and a 7th from them. So it feels like maybe their playstyle suits this once again a little bit better.
It does. I still want them to. I still want to see them push. I guess aggression is the best way to describe it. I want to see them push any sort of element of map control towards the later stage. They're mostly criticized throughout their region of being particularly passive, but as you just mentioned, man, that seems to work out for them. It's a really good way, especially in weekly survival, to get to the end game. It's just you don't want to then be stuck out, backs against the blue, no map control once the end game hits. So if they can go loud just a few moments earlier on, I think Eds could have a real opportunity to make their way in.
This was a bit of a disaster moment for Gen G going up against Shinobi. They were, of course, being fired at from the outside as well, so they had to scramble and find themselves a situation. And, well, speaking of disaster moments, let's not talk about this one. But aside from those teams that we've highlighted here, Froz, I think one big actor in these lobbies right now for a lot of the games has been Digital Athletics, but they've not been able to round it out with a chicken dinner just yet.
Yeah, they are one of my favorites for today, coming in to actually make it through to the weekly finals. Seeing the shape, the form they're in right now, it's looking really good. It's looking really good, but they're just having problem to close that last little piece of the puzzle. When they get that in, that's how they're going to get the win. We've seen them in the end fight so many times. We see them just racking up the kills. But again, that's not going to be enough. You need a chicken dinner. Without it, you're not going anywhere.
It's funny because, Cameron, as much as Digital Athletics' rise throughout Europe in 2020 was almost meteoric to a certain degree and was very impressive, I feel like I'm more impressed despite them not having advanced through this situation because they keep blasting.
Yeah, we don't want to focus too heavily on that 117 kill third place game. They did still have a couple of games that they win out in 0 points, but that's every single team, right? Like even the best teams in the world, they'll have 1 or 2 games that they're not the greatest. But on average, Digital Athletics, and they share this with 4AM, who of course are now advanced, have been the most consistently active throughout the mid game. And I think what makes it particularly strong is that they know how to pick their fights. They don't just go for random action earlier on. Let's ignore the hot drop with 4AM, who, well, again, thankfully now that 4AM are qualified, they don't have to worry about that at all. So I'm curious to see if that's going to open up DA's opportunities on Erangel specifically. But either way, just in a void, in a vacuum, not even considering any of the teams that they're going up against, DA are really good at choosing when to take those fights, to not go super aggressive early and make unnecessary sacrifices. It does put them at risk, obviously, as fighting always does, but so many times they do get a solid benefit out of clearing space around them, clearing some map control for them, and it's only a matter of time, surely, before they're going to advance today.
Maybe. Another one of the teams here up at the top in terms of what we've seen performance from them so far here, Froz, who had a little bit of a rougher time early on in the games, but now has seemed more consistent throughout some of these later games, is LG Divine. What do you expect from them in their campaign here?
It's quite interesting because we've seen really good stuff coming out from them, and also they're the only team who's used the sub players so far. During day 2 of the ranked decision, we saw them putting in Nikki instead of Turtle, and Nikki is the sub player for the team. But looking at things, he's going to be joining them today again. And day 2 of the ranked decision was the only day they didn't win a game during that time. So it's a little bit of an interesting fact. And they're subbing out June today, from the look of it, which has been the top frag on the team so far, both in the ranked decision and in the weekly survival. But again, you don't need the kills. You need that win. So maybe Nikki is the key to that.
Maybe. Let's shift gears here a moment as well, Cameron. I want to come to you for this because North America so far has done great. You've got Sonics and STK through here. Oath and Zenith have both been very close to chicken dinners here throughout the tournament, however, just not quite eked it out. What are your expectations for them?
You're right. Zenith has actually a couple of second place finishes. But again, this is what I was saying coming into the competition with Zenith. This is sort of what we've been saying about Zenith throughout their Pgi.S North American runs, is that they look like a solid team. They just need to make that next step. And we've seen, especially Punich and Shinboy, who are the 2 newest additions, start to step it up. And I think for Zenith overall, the fact that this event is going to be so long is definitely going to help them out, because it's going to give them the time to really get that integration and chemistry rolling on. I wouldn't be necessarily too surprised to see them get that win, but I think Oath between the two of them
السلام ورحمة. هلا والله بالشباب الطيب يا ابا. هلا والله بالحبايب شباب، انا قاعد اتباعوا على مودكم والله. لكم صيدوا حبيبي. لكم صيدوا شباب. جاهز تلبس شبابنا الطيبة. كروت جاهزة. ببجي موبايل او ستيم او باي بال حسب اختيار الفائز حبايبنا. نتمنى شباب دعمكم بالمشاركات، وشاركونا البثوث فقط في البطولات العالميه اللي نبثها حبايب. بثوثنا العاديه لا احد يشارك، احنا ما نهتم بالمشاركات بالبثوث العاديه لما نبث يوميا، لكن البطولات شباب لازم تشاركوها، واجب عليكم تشاركوها على مود كل الناس بالوطن العربي كله. راح شو اسمه راح يربح ويانا حبايب.
is lacking a lot of experience when it comes to the global scale, and I think that's one of the things that is bringing them down right now, especially a team like Zen. If we've seen them, basically if they don't get that second place, they're out on like 14th, 11th place with 0 kills. So we know that they're all or nothing team. And Shinboy, as Cami said, is in my eyes the star player. He's been on my radar for a year now, and I still haven't seen what I think he got the potential for. I still think he got a lot more potential to show us, but what we see here is the big question. And of course, Poon has also been said to be one of the wonders of North America, one of the new talents coming out from there. But we're also seeing him being a little bit on and off from the game itself, and now being back here, being on the global stage, he got some stuff he needs to show us.
حبيب قلب وانت.
For sure, we're just a few minutes out.
فريم هسه شوف الفرق شباب، هسه شوف الفرق.
Happily talk about her. Some that I guess I expected.
شباب نزلنا الجائزة.
We've got to kind of address the elephant in the room here.
حبيبي عليكم السلام ورحمة.
Not played that many games just yet, Cameron. But in the games that they have played so far, it's looked a little bit lost for them. I think they probably need to tighten things up as well, right?
It's been looking really bad, really weird. And for the team that are supposed to be the land giants, even ignoring the fact that they shouldn't have been in their ranking decision position to begin with, I am shocked that they were not able to use the day off that they had to study, to prepare. Just kill numbers aren't everything, but I think the fact that 8C has 1 kill, Fuzzface has 1 kill, Uba has 1 kill, and then Gustav has 3 kills over the course of how many games have they played already? 4 games, so it's not the most, but I believe all those kills came from 1 game. They have 2 15th place, 1 13th place outside of the 5th place with 6 kills. Will there be enough games today for them to really ramp up? I mean, it's face, right? Part of you still believes
حبيبي الفيديو ما يخلص اسبوع شباب، بعد ما يخلص اسبوع شباب، بعد ما يخلص اسبوع لا حد يستعجل على التصويت. يوم السبت انا انزل لكم فيديو من التصويت. يوم الجمعة.
At least so far in South Korea.
Faraz, any rebuttal?
So looking at them right now,
شباب طبعا هاي اكبر بطولة بالعالم ببجي. هنا نتعلم الاحتراف، هنا نتعلم الاحتراف، بس خلينا نشوف هسه النتائج مال البطولة. هنا يطلعون
we see them time after time losing 1 or 2 people in the rotations, then they get stuck because they're just trying to crash something to save the situation. It's not working out. step back,
طلعها.
take one step back.
طلع
stop playing from the
الصوت
beginning.
هذا.
Go play
حيبدا
and
الجيم هسه شباب، هسه
take
حيبدا
it
الجيم.
step by step.
بس خليني اطلع لكم شباب الترتيب من
That's how
هسه.
you're gonna gain the momentum to get back
شوفوا اللي
into
تأهلوا
the
من هم
normal
شباب، اللي
game
تأهلوا من
and
هم
play
باوع. راح يلعبون طبعا 10 مباريات اللي تأهلوا. يب اللي اول 10 مباريات. الاسبوع الاول الثاني الثالث الرابع خامس السادس. شباب اللي تأهلوا 4 AM فيوريا انفنتري كي 7 ليكويد نافي سونيكس شوتيكل تي اس جي تي اس ام وفي بي اللي هم نورث لايت سابقا. راح اكبر لكم الاسماء والفرق على مود تشوفوها زين. 4 AM من الصين، فيوريا من البرازيل، انفنتري من الصين، كي 7 من فيتنام او من تايلاند، عفوا من تايلاند، ليكويد من اوروبا، نافي من اوروبا، سونكس من امريكا، شوتيكل من امريكا، تي اس جي من الصين، تي اس ام من اوروبا وفي بي من اوروبا. يعني الفرق الاوروبيه 1 2 3 4 4 فرق اوروبيه لحد الان متاهله، 4 فرق اوروبيه. الفرق الصينيه تي اس جي فريق، انفنتري و4 AM 3 من الصين متاهلين. من كوريا ولا فريق متاهل، من كوريا ولا فريق متاهل. مثل ما تشوفوا قدامكم هسه اتوقع النهايه، يعني هسه حاليا 5 فرق كوريا حتاهل اتوقع، يعني توقعاتي ما اعرف، يعني اقل شيء من اقل شيء في الفريقين كوريات يتاهلن. المتاهلين ولا فريق كوري ولا فريق من كوريا ولا فريق، اللي هم كيا متاهلوا و جنجي متاهلوا. منو بالله بعد يوم بدا الجميع بعد دقيقه واحده يبلش. حتى الجي ديفاين متاهل. هاي الفرق متاهل شباب. بعد قد بعد 5 مباريات اللي هم 12 13 14 15 16 وراها يلعبون فاينل. من يلعبون فاينل نصوت، اول نص الفاينل ما نصوت، ورا نص الفاينل نصوت. صراحه انا صوت تيامبا وصوت الجنجي، لكن ما اتوقع انه واحد يعني يمكن ما يتاهلون اصلا، بس انا صوت كعاطفه، نزلت فيديو كعاطفه شلون انه انا اشجع هاي الفرق، انا هاي الفرق اتوقع تفوز تجيب شيء. بس عادي الويك اول انه ما مشكله، لكن انا اعطيكم تصويتات 100% انه منو يربح. بس انا كعاطفه صوت الجنجي وصوت تيامبا. توقعاتي تيامبا احبه طبعا حيل لانه يلعب الخطه مالتي مال الحاويات. بس حاليا دي يلعبون الجنجي هم دي يلعبون، يعني شنو نار فايز هم دي يلعبون، الدنيا محترقه كي دي يلعبون، الدنيا مشتعله بهاي المجموعه، الدنيا محترقه بالنهايه حصير، لانه هو بس تجيب تشيكن دينار انت تتاهل، يعني لا كلات تفيد ولا اي شيء يفيد، بس تشيكن دينار بعد تسليم. الله بدا الجيم شباب.
We'll do our very best, James, and thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to Pgi.S I can't talk. It's early for me. The Pgi.S presented by Intel, where the gaming happens. And I'm excited for this. There's a lot of storylines going on.
هسه حاليا شباب التأهل بس تشيكن دينار. حاليا شباب اشرح لكم شباب هسه حاليا التأهل هنا بس تشيكن دينار، بس تشيكن دينار، ماكو نقاط كلات، ماكو. لو تجيب 50 كل وجبت الثاني ما تتأهل، بس تشيكن دينار. فهمت شلون؟ فالتشيكن دينار شباب تعرفون انتم حاليا كل الفرق جايه تلعب على التشيكن، واللي يجيب 5 تشيكنات حيتأهلون هم الفرق، يعني 5. يعني هسه يتأهل يجيب تشيكن ويتأهل يطلع راسه يطلع يروح البيت. فهمت شلون؟ ينتظر النهائي مال الاسبوع ويجي فريق مكانه من الفرق اللي خسرت طبعا. بس تشيكن اهم شيء تشيكن دينار، لا اهم شيء تشيكن دينار اهم شيء. يعني خلاص غير تشيكن دينار ماكو. هم 16 لاعب تشيكن، 16 فريق جايب تشيكن دينار حيلعبون ضد بعض. وين معي كرت ستيم بس ما معي مش عندي مش البلد، كيف فيني غير بلدي؟
I'm looking at an area where normally I see DA names in the background and I don't see them. Where the heck have DA gone to? The Millie Island? What?
Yo.
Okay. So
DA لهم الجيم.
Finally 4 AM are no longer around them. They've gone, we don't want that anymore.
يا فايز يا DA.
They've gone to the Millie Island and the circle's there.
جنجي تحركوا راسن.
I mean, it's a great call.
ماكو فريق يجيب 2 تشيكن، ماكو فريق يجيب 2 تشيكن شباب، ماكو فريق يجيب 2 تشيكن، لانه هو يجيب تشيكن دينار يتأهل قبل ويجي فريق مقامه من المجموعات اللي خسرت، مو انه 32 فريق 16 16 كل واحد يجيب تشيكن يطلع يجيب مقامه من 16 الباقي.
They're gonna have to deal with Gen.G right off the bat because Gen.G not wasting any time whatsoever starting to make their way over, but it looks like they may have had their eyes on it and may have spotted DA dropping over in this area, so they're just going to go ahead and avoid that for the time being.
Yeah, and DA, as they have dropped here, I already saw SLRs. They're relatively well equipped quite early on, and yeah, Gen.G going to take the hillside rotation route. Not a bad plan. We see that quite often. And yeah, as you can see, enough weaponry to at least be somewhat respected at this point that they could do some damage on rotations. So again, this is going to be a curious one between this team and what DA do we get? Do we get the DA who can get through to that late game, looks super scary, or do we get the team that crashes out super early? It feels like, you know, one of the two. There's no middle ground results for DA for me. But beyond that, who else is down there? Oath. Now, they've got a great springboard to go forward. Now, yes, that western side, of course, will be occupied by DA and Gen.G, but they do get the military compound to work with themselves. They get a pretty good shout wherever they want to go. Outside of that, FaZe have a very good entryway. Now, Froz mentioned it on the desk. They got caught a couple of times in rotations. They weren't kind of sticking the landing. And, you know, good old Cammy just straight up flaming FaZe. You know, you got to let the NA caster have a good jab when you can. But, you know, they have
not deserve it?
I always love FaZe. You leave them alone. I'll fight you. No, I mean, they actually have been underperforming to their standard, and I think that's pretty fair. But they've also had some really rough circles. If we go back on it, they were as far away from the entry point, and in this sort of, I guess, format, that's incredibly tricky.
Yeah, it's definitely starting behind the 8 ball for sure, but this time around it looks like they're already making their way in. Although they do have to worry a little bit about Petrichor Road, who's hanging around that radio tower area. It looks like they're going to avoid it for the most part. But yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. This is, you expect a lot of FaZe because they've delivered a lot in the past. And, you know, if they hadn't delivered that much and have been so consistent about it, we wouldn't really be talking about it that much. But here we are. So we'll see if maybe the military island game will be the one that everything clicks into place as we check on Zenith coming over from that shark fin area, sending Punage over first on the boat. And we still have a number of teams that haven't made their way over just yet, but a lot of teams are starting to rotate down to the southern part of Military Island, and Afrika Freaks might be in trouble here as Gen.G is already kind of posted up.
Yeah, Gen.G might not let them hit the shore. Now, who's in the bad area? Of course, it do be Ents. Up at Zaki having a sick day, you know, enjoying the quiet life. They've escaped to the countryside, and they're just, you know, getting into agriculture, a little bit of, you know, I don't know, baking. They have no one to worry about for a mile and a half. I mean, they are so far away, but Ents seem to like that. It's kind of a thing. They'll send it off those cliffs at the very end if they have to. I'm not so worried about Ents. It almost suits their playstyle. Now, we said Afrika Freaks could be in trouble with Gen.G here, and this seems to be the case. Pio's got a great shot on this, and way out in the open, Hickory decides, oh, maybe it's M24 time, maybe it's time I just run. And maybe that wasn't the right answer, because he's dead. He's not quite flushed yet, but he's knocked.
And now Anonix going to come up over, and he's going to find a nice little angle on a COD. Down to about half HP, tries to get the last spray in and lands another one. Oh, and not, he got it.
No worker.
The last bullet made it through the smoke. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think that's leaving it short. The beach landing didn't go so good. Afrika Freaks going to lose out on 2 at the very beginning here. Now, the rest can adjust around, but it's not without another team on this side. You said it, a lot of teams going to the south, and FaZe was one of them. So if Afrika Freaks keep going this way, and there's a tension been... Wait, Buram, are you bridge camping this? Or... Oh my word, Buram, you guys are wild to me. Over by the petrol station 1, but there's further players set up down the line. But T1 actually gets some good shots back, and it seems as though they've made it at least cross for now. Yes, they seem safe. On the other side, there will be DA who are in the compounds, but they're not necessarily fighting. They seem to be more just kind of defending that position.
Oh, a COD. Going to be drowning there for Afrika. I guess he was just trying to avoid. Look at Gustav. Oh, he's so sneaky with the UMP in hand. Uba going to open up with the first shots there. We'll land a couple into EJ. Not finding Hanzia just yet, but Afrika now knows that They've gone out of the frying pan right back into the fire as the rest of FaZe Clan now just collapsing right on top of them. This should be easy cleanup. Oh, it should be.
Nice.
There it is. Okay.
Gustav, you know, the UMP and the level 1 helmet, any of those shots that are coming back through, we're going to just shred that helmet. So he does go down, but he'll be picked up pretty comfortably. I don't see anyone close enough to punish that. We knew that Genji was slightly further towards the west. So they should be able to get him back up and maybe kind of re-garner some loot. Doesn't have to stick on the UMP, but we get to see a good little bit of oomph work. It makes me smile. And you know what? Someone else who's been making me smile is Buriram, because I got to cast them once when I did kind of a more APAC-based event. You know, I got to have a little look towards, you know, that side of the world. I got to see them once or twice. And honestly, I love their playstyle. I don't know if it necessarily suits this format, right? Like, exactly. And it's a shame because they may suffer because their playstyle is super explosive, very aggressive. If they make it through this to the weekend, they're a team I'm looking out for, though, because they still play this style, don't they? They haven't really relented.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I think that's something that we'll see get even more fun to watch as the month goes on, as they start getting more comfortable, as they start finding where they exactly fit into this lobby. You know, I had high hopes for sure, but I wasn't expecting them to come in and make this big of an impact this quickly, just because, you know, this is the first time really for them to be playing at an international level this high with this many different types of style of play coming in. But they have just answered the call. They've come in and looked fantastic. And I would love to see them make this weekly finals, but they've got a little bit of work to do here.
They certainly do. And with DA's positioning, DA going for that kind of nice 2-2 split, which you can hold at this point if it does kind of close in towards the western side of the Millie Island itself, which it often does, keep in mind. That's a very common ending. They will have to consolidate or kind of, you know, bring everyone back towards the same compound, deciding which would be the more favorable. As we've seen now, desperation plays do happen because compounds are everything. Center circle is very, very important here. Now, what did Oath go for? Interesting approach from Oath. They've not gone for the west. They've gone for the very, like, almost far east at the standalone building over by the military base. So for them, that's going to be quite interesting. We are going to be seeing LG Divine starting to make their kind of approach on the eastern bridge. Now, they're not alone out here.
Enter Force 36 setting up for a camp. Is this real life? And LG Divine again. I mean, how many times now is this happening to LG Divine where they're just trying to rotate? They're just trying to do their normal thing. Looks like they might have sniffed this one out, though, as they immediately pull off and make their way around. Maybe E36 didn't have their vehicles hidden as well as they thought. As no shots have been taken, but it looks like Divine managed to see what was happening.
Okay, circle update going to be coming through any second now. Ooh. Let's talk about that. So that's a lot of the kind of northern island still in play. Now we are seeing Tiamba and Ents about to clash. Now, again, Ents could catch him on the way out because he's the last player to cross, and they do. Squeaky's going to punish that, and they become the gatekeepers of the northern side of the bridge here. Now, beyond that, though, this is going to be that kind of, you know, the yellow compound on the opposing side. You can see a team in there now. I think it's the rest of Tiamba. That's kind of a prime take, right? Like, that's a really nice spot. DA now gets set up in a good spot. Buriram become really powerful here. I'm looking at the likes of Oath because they had a really good springboard, but again, they're now going to be a little bit behind, I guess, the circle on this one in a way. But you'll imagine it will move south, maybe. I don't know. This is a risky circle to play into.
I mean, you're looking at this right off the bat, guessing, trying to anticipate where these next circles might go. Obviously, DA looking fantastic. T1 in a fantastic spot too. Damwon is looking awesome as well with that little hillside just to the southeast of where DA is hanging out. Now, you did mention Oath. They can make their way up. This is a style that they're used to playing on circles like this, where they come from the military base and try to work their way north into the hills right there and just kind of third party onto different fights. But we'll see what happens. I'm interested to see what Ents decides to do. They're hanging out on the mainland still, and they took out the last player from Tiamba, but that now has left Tiamba fully aware that Ents is hanging out over here, so they could cause them some problems if they're not careful.
Look, Ents will always be just fine chilling out somewhere else. They, as I said, they're not an early game sort of team. If anything, this format does suit their playstyle. They haven't had too many games to really get through. They were one of the later additions to this, of course. You know, so they didn't get the full run as we've seen some of the other teams have. But they've been doing somewhat okay. A couple of nice Miramar games that certainly caught our eye when that circle went towards the east. So again, I never really worry too much about ENCE. They just kind of sit there and they just hang out and chill. They'll be fine till late game.
And they even have a boat right there if they wanted that, although I imagine Tiambo would probably be looking right at that. LGV gonna go for a swim, and while they do that, make sure you enter in the promo code that you see right underneath the leaderboard. That will be good for a coupon to vote on who you think will win this weekend. Get you some E-points by voting for the winner. Now, if you watch this weekend's game, we will also be giving codes away for those E-points. You can get 1,000 E-points for every one of those codes, up to 80,000 for the entire tournament. And you get one pick-up coupon per week. So just a little clarification on that while we see Detonation Gaming try to land shots, and well, we'll just call it like it is. They're failing miserably.
It ain't easy, you know, it's tough.
It's in the water. It's in the water.
You know, they say that shooting fish in a barrel is tricky, right? That's the way the phrase goes.
Well,
so I believe.
Try doing it from 100 yards away.
I guess
yeah.
Maybe like 300 meters, 400 meters. Yeah, you know what? Fair. Don't be a nice guy. I'm making a funny joke at their expense. But we are going to be seeing the circle update pretty soon. We've got about 10 more seconds until that one hits. And you'll imagine it normally kind of goes again towards, that's why we talked about, you know, DA's position. It's a really strong compound to be towards. But Tiamba taking those yellows, yeah, they're going to be loving this. Fantastic for them. Terrible for the Southern Band. Oath, a little tricky now because that cross through is never nice. It's quite an open area. With the update that came through a while back now, there is more playable space around here, a couple more dips and defilades, you know, a bit more cover, as you can see, because Pio's just plucked a player out of it. Down one again, probably going to be not loving this. This is Korean action going down now between these two teams, and Genji culled two of a Freak of Freaks earlier on, and he might just get another one here. Pio's really doing some work. S is pulled up. Yeah, Pio gets the flush. Now, there could be a trade coming out there. Lockie's looking a little bit tagged up. Hill on the off angle, looking for a bit of a deeper one to play with. Good nade, and then the trade coming in. But Genji, these guys are looking scary today.
Oh, that was bad by Damwon there. He tried to hold that top side, but look, and this is what I told you Oath would try to do. They're going to third party the fights. They're pushing up. Meanwhile, FaZe running through ENCE. As ENCE try to make their way across from the other bridge, they're going to run right in the middle of FaZe. There's going to be a little bit of shots traded back and forth. It looks like they've settled that down for now, but look at this. Oath pushing right up on top of Genji, and that's Genji done.
Such good timing from Oath. They are great at third-partying a fight or two. We talk about maybe the lack of experience here and there with some of the NA teams, you know, left, at least on an international scale. And we did just see ENCE continue to pressure the issue. We had Korean on Korean action, and now we got EU on EU action. And uh-oh, don't mess with ENCE in these moments. They are the coiled snake waiting to strike, and they've found at least two, I'm pretty sure. I don't think Uber's recoverable here. So a poor start for FaZe. Again, a little bit of a risky rotation on this one to go straight through. But ENCE just hold the line. They're very comfy on this. But again, credit to Oath. I love the way they approached that.
That's certainly not looking great on that northern coast. I mean, you've got numerous teams just hiding in any little bit of cover they can find. Enterforce 36, meanwhile, going to spot out Mill from Petrichor, as Petrichor trying to make their way up, kind of backfilling where Oath was. Enter 36, though, they need to be careful. They're right in the blue. Obviously not doing too much damage just yet. And you also have Zenith that's hovering around that area as well. T1 holding down the compound, not looking too interested in pushing out from that, but they will be looking for lines of sight onto this if they can find them. But you know how these hills are. It's really easy to duck and dodge in between these little ridges here, as you see Ike's left, try to take a few shots over in that direction, and now E36 might be regretting those shots that they took at Pero.
Yeah, and Zenith is super postured up for this, and you do have, as you said, the other team waiting on the other side. This is a really harsh pinch coming in. Ownage on one side, nice little bit of a hillside to play with. The Mosin as well. Gorgeous gun. Absolutely love it. In every game I seem to play, whenever there is the option to get a Mosin, I will probably use it. Regardless, we are seeing the circle update. Southeast, it moves. There's Zenith. It's going to be kickstart to kind of find the first and kind of draw blood on this fight that was slowly building on the southeast side. But the circle isn't too brutal, but actually third party Urello out of nowhere finding at least a little bit of action, and that was quite a distance, not too far, but it's certainly keeping that south side within their control, kind of peacocking up, and a good time to do it. Yes, it'll get you attention, but it keeps at least the southeast maybe not wanting to rotate that way.
Oath. The only thing I'm worried about for Oath really is that they've got a couple of teams off to the west that have to find their way over across the road in Daytrade and Buriram. So we'll see if they're. It looks like they've got Pat Caps and Balefrost all looking over that way. Relo going to make his way over as well. E36, meanwhile, still stuck on the edge here between Zenith and, well, it looks like Petrichor might be giving up on this as they hop in the vehicles.
Maybe, cut the losses and just move it out, but A-Trade, this is a dangerous run. Buriram are right there. You're going to get sprayed down. Their aim is so sharp for Buriram, but yeah, you might escape one, but you're going right towards Oath. Oath are going to just bomb this, yeah. 2 dead, 3 dead, bye-bye. Big 7-kill game. They're sitting real pretty here. That southern side is all theirs. That's not bad
جنجي ماتوا. أنا أتوقع الجيم تيام.
No, that was absolutely huge. That was the one thing that I was concerned about. If they were looking over off to the
حبيبي هلا والله بالحبايب هلا والله الشباب طيب الشباب لايك وشير بالحبايب $30 جائز اكثر واحد شارك البث $10 ثاني اكثر واحد بس البطولات وزعها حبايب رجعتكم شباب اكيد شوي دابوا على المجريات فايز ضربوا شو اسمه الاوروبيين وقعوا ببعض الكوريين وقعوا ببعض فرايم صاعدين
Zenith rather onto T1
تي 1 سبش عليهم زينت والله زينت بدع زينت بدع
The old up and over. Roth is doing great at this already.
بدع وراح
kills to start with.
جاب كلات
Opens
وهاي
up mad opportunities. T1 are down to his Aqua 5 and Adder. Aqua 5 might get an off angle. This could at least cause some one casualty, but we'll see if they show.
انا حبيت حبيبي الله وش كان
Showing
قلب
enough
عن
to get his
ستارز
attention. But Zenith just seems to want the position, but now they're just going to lock this down. But there's Aqua 5. We said that off angle. It could have been dangerous, and it is. This actually caused them to lose a player completely. No trade yet to come through. Roth is there, but I don't see a way to get back in.
Zenith a little bit late on picking up.
هسه انا اللي يجيب تشيكن يتأهل ماكو لا كلات لا نعيل كل شيء ماكو يجيب تشيكن يتأهل بس تشيكن كل شيء ميت بعد بس تشيكن اي فريق يجيب تشيكن يتأهل 5 مباريات بس حاليا المباراة الأولى هاي
While Oath tries to push through them.
ما اعرف الجنجي ليش بشر الغبية هاي ما اعرف هي اصلا برا الزون بشر عليهم ما
اعرف. Going to go, but everybody putting priority on this hillside, on the top of the hills.
Packcap still going. Oath have pushed this. Look, they were over towards the more DA side of the circle. They are now in the east.
شوف المكان مال ال جي ديفاين اللي تعرفوا عليه حاليا اسطوري ليش؟ لانه رج ومن خلال هذا الرج تقدر تسيطر على الجبل هذا يعني تدور كل اول ثاني جوا الزون ما تطلع برا الزون ابد.
So Oath, I hope you haven't overdone this and also lost out potentially getting back to that circle safely. It might be time to disengage from this one, but they're caught. They now have to stand and fight here in the open. Maybe a missed call on this one. Underestimating that circle position, going to get a lot of fire towards them, and Packcap's on his knees at this point, hoping for some help to come in. Sasu's just going to keep some fire from afar. Pure Boy's not far from this either. Oath are in a bit of trouble here.
The only thing... The thing that Oath has going
خلي يحاولون الفايت ذاك الثاني معود هذا فايت سخيف.
36. Nobody else really starting to push over in this direction because there's no real reason to.
يلا يحاولون على الفايت
You can see
الثاني.
DA got absolutely blessed with that circle, so they're going to be hanging out, feeling fantastic. Pure Boy.
قرب يا بس
Shot to the car, but he's going to get spotted. Nicely done by Snakers. And
سواء
now
تراي
that should
قبل
be the res
فايت
coming
زبالة
through on
قلت لكم
Packups. They do have to deal with
اليابانيين
Satu
ضعفات
here.
ترى مو اخوي هذا فريق كويس ضعيف.
Around the edge of the smoke, does get spotted. Does not get the knock on the Balefrost though.
كتلو.
No, the spray. Look, the Beryl. She is a cruel mistress, but you know what she can do.
يلا يا معود كتلو غير يحاول على ذاك الفايت الثاني.
Oh, Packcaps gets caught again. He's really struggling here. DA and Buriram are still kind of having a little bit of a back and forth, but for Oath, it might be time to have to back away and leave Packcaps. I don't think they can get him back up at this point. The Blue's going to start moving in. I don't like that overextension towards the east there. I understood the idea, but I don't think it was necessary, especially when they didn't know that next circle position, and it could have put them out as it potentially did here. But they'll have to pick up the pieces and move on with, I think, 3 of them standing and at least a somewhat safe south side to the circle. The north, however, as you can see, not so pretty. LG Divine and Tianba about to have a little bit of a fight, and DA and Buram still just taking chunks out of each
يا دي طب برام حلوه كود ماركو حلوه كود ماركو
bringing the fight right to Buram, and they absolutely decimate them quick as you like. This is what we've come to expect from this digital athletics team. So violent and aggressive when they finally start to push here. Now LG Divine trying to trade back with Tiamba. It's a 2v2. We'll see if LG can take care of these two players and maybe get their reses off, get back up to 4-0.
تيوانا حيموتون جي تيوانا.
Impressive work from DA there. The fine balance of when to be aggressive. It's a constant discussion point. But for now, we're looking at FaZe and N. So towards the northeast further, FaZe.
خلاص Gustav عايش. جي حبيبي فايز جي.
Just wrap it up. Look, Gustav, you're a great player. It's not happening in this game right now. And he knows it. He's done for. And
فلش نفسه اصلا ضرب فلاش على نفسه عرف نفسه مين. تي 1 ميتين. تي 1 ميتين. تي 1 موتوا يلا موتوا بسرعة.
Making their way through again. Destination Gaming.
الظاهر دي حيتها يا شباب. لو دي لو انس.
And this ditch is just deadly. Look at it. Zenith on one side.
هنا الدنيا اشتعلت. كم فريق هنا؟
Quietly on the other side of things.
دي بعد دي اي اوث دخل على الزون. ذكرى فرينا شكل قلبه 50 ستارز والله بنيكسون شوف خالد في تصوير مو تصوير ماتوا تيوان ماتوا يلا ماتوا يلا ماتوا
Oh, this is set up so nicely for Ents. They can just peek up.
والله فايز تصوير فوق والله تصوير حرامي تاني والله حرام ما صدق حرام
T1 does go down. M200 still alive for Tiamba.
حجي هنا بين انس وبين اوث وبين دي اي وهذول ال جي ديفاين اتوقع يعني اذا مو ام 200 نوك واحد معدهم اذا ما اذاهم احتمال هذا الصوره يفوز بيرو ابو البيرو الصيني ما اعرف كل شيء يصير بالبطوله كل شيء يصير.
Yeah, this fight in the north will conclude, I feel, pretty soon, M200, but you're right, it's the Ents, DA, and Oath fight that's going to really garner my attention.
عادي يشيلون انفر بيرو حسب قلت لك المسافات. شوف البيرو المسافات بعيدة ما تصيب يعني دائما.
Now I'm going to keep my eyes on Oath because I know they're
شوف مصر شوف لا البيرو تأخر لو انفرت شاله.
Now, this is where experience, right? Ents are veterans at this. They have very rarely look poor in these decision-making moments. I feel they generally look quite good.
مو كنترول
مثل they can look fantastic. Oath
الفورت تسوي عليها ريكول كنترول لحد 200 متر نفس اللي تجيبه او تقريبا قريب عليها بس البير مستحيل حتى لو عندك تشيت حتى لو ايدك تشيت همينه ما تقدر تسيطر عليها.
Such a tough position for Oath to be in. I mean, it's pick your poison. You have to either push around to fight into Ents or fight into DA. Right now, DA fortunately is
DA هذا جيم DA
at LG Divine, so Oath not having to worry
DA
too much about
Divine سنتين نوك خلاص هاي.
But trying to sit around and trying to wait for Ents and DA to fight each other.
بعد هسه مو زون تحت زون لاخ زون لاخ تبين
just the way the terrain's
زون سابع.
It's going to be really rough.
I do want to look at with LG Divine being closer to DA's side. It's going to keep DA from being able to take territory, whereas Ents have a pretty clear side because Oath are on the low ground. Now, Tixu maybe splits off, or already Tixu is taking space. Shifting further north, so the circle becomes so much easier for them to control. So Ents just have a little bit of an easier time. Yeah, of course, DA can get kills, but we know that kills don't equate to prizes this time around. Ents get that nice 3-play stack, and then you got the one solo almost watching the rest of it. A little bit close towards DA's side, but there's Mert. Spamming away on this one, just going to take down Levi's comfortably. And DA plays very well, very composed.
Oof. Yep. There he goes. Squeaky.
3-4 انس فنلندي ودي اي تركي
اوثي الامريكي. That's going to be a little bit of a reprieve here.
دي اي جيم كنا دي اي لو دي اي لو اوث اتوقع انس ما راح يسوي شيء. ما اعرف انس ايش يسوي.
دي اي and Ents know that
يلعبوا سبليت بالاخير المفروض يلعبوا بوكس.
There's some
يلعبوا يم بعض
for sure. But they would love to just try to survive, stay alive, and just play your life here. Wait as long as possible to try to move. Hope
that Ents and DA start fighting this one out, and then maybe you can third party on there and get lucky. هذا وحش
I think the DA might once they cleared carefully. So
لا من يرحم ولا
يرحم. The kind of I feel extenuating factor in this if he can stay alive in that position long enough. DA will get the better ground to play from, I feel, but Tixu's off angle, if he has a MK14's perfect for it, he could be a real problem to them. I think Smash is already considering that. Now, while that happens, DA has to be careful of course, the likes of Oath now coming across.
هم ترى DA والله الواعي عادي بالقران انا شايف لعبهم هذا كود ماركو يعني لاعب اسطوري بس تيم وورك مالتهم رهيب تيم وورك مالتهم مخيف متفاهمين كلش.
What they want. They want to be the second team to come in, or
هذا اهم
excuse me,
شيء
third team to come in, of course. Once that fight begins, let all that attention
تجيب
start.
القوة DA يضعف واحد
begin,
بقوة
and
كمواجهة
Tixu's now joining the rest of the gang. Gonna pull himself together. Mad in the open, but Tixu, look, him and Squeaky, they are formidable players, and he's getting them so much space here, Poro.
Oh, absolutely, and
it's
already making a play for the center of the circle. DA hanging out on the edge here. Not taking up too much real estate, and the one thing that Oath really has going for him right now is that Ents doesn't really want to take the fight with Oath. It's such a difficult fight trying to look downhill when Oath has hard cover to really play around. It would just be too much of a pain really for Ents. So the easier fight for Ents here is to go towards DA. DA, as we said, just wants to hold the line right now until they actually have to move, and Oath is completely happy to let both of them do that.
And I almost like that Ents are kind of trying to funnel almost DA into that Oath fight, and Oath are waiting on the inside, and they can't really be proactive in this Oath. They're kind of dedicated to the spot, right? So it's going to turn into
واحد يقيم والثاني كفر واحد يقيم والثاني بحضنه با شوف عم البحر ينزلوكم بلاش لزق وين بعض لزق
DA's territory is
المفروض بالاخي تلعبها بوكس المفروض الا اذا واحد فريق يلا تلعبها سبلت.
Forces them in towards Oath. There we go. Okay, so Ents gets the better slice of the fight. Oath is still very much in. Now it's on DA to get proactive. Now I'm seeing a lot of smokes on both these sides. Everyone looks pretty well geared in this.
The biggest thing here, Oath doesn't have to leave their hard cover. They've got those vehicles, they've got a couple of rocks. They don't have to move just yet. But DA, as you said, they have to take up a little more ground. But as you can see, I mean, they have real estate that they can work with. They just have, they're worried about pushing up onto the top of that hill because they don't want to expose themselves first when Ents. I don't know if DA has even seen Ents.
بس احتمالاتهم مش عليهم.
Player from Ents here in
حتبدي سموكات هسه حتبدي سموكات.
I don't think anybody's seen anybody for the past like 5 minutes. They're just kind of assuming where they should be based on how this
بعد 5 ثواني تبلش سموكات.
So it's fine margins, right? It's high risk, high reward for Ents at the moment, at least with Tixu's positioning. Now DA have probably until the circle closes to try and exploit that, I feel. Once that hits, it's kind of evened out. So if they can isolate Tixu now, potentially win on. But it was a 2v1. You can't trade it evenly. So still a very, very scary prospect. And Ents still heavily leading towards the north. They really want DA to be open towards Oath.
They're trying to funnel DA towards that southern side, I think. Trying to make DA reveal themselves and hope that maybe Oath
DA هسه حاليا وضعهم
they're playing this so
نسبيا جيد
smartly, very, very slow.
المتراليوس بالزون الهيلب بالزون بس هي هاي انقل شغله الهيلب بالزون لانه كلهم من جوا حضربك وين ما ضربك هيك
now that they're down to this top 3 situation they are playing it so slow and so smart and this is just one big chess match going on between all 3 of these teams. It's gonna pop off eventually, and when it does, it's gonna happen in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, keep in mind the smokes will be put up, but there's verticality here. There's still the hillside to play from, so again, the terrain is going to be a quite defining factor. As you can see, there's the center point itself. Very little cover on this one, really. That ridgeline might work well for Oath, and we are starting to see those smokes being invested. I know Ents had a lot as well. They've got a good view on a couple of their players, so they can try and do this however they please. But DA's not without themselves. So these nades get scary because they can just roll them down the hill.
This is great news for Oath. Both of these teams electing to play the north side here.
شافه يمكن شافه حلوه يا كود ماركو جاب هيد شوت دبل هيد والله هسه المفروض نقدر نشتغل على انس حلوه اوه كود ماركو نوك بالنيد كود ماركو نوك بالنيد حرقوا راس امار هسه اوث راح يجي يدخل ثيرد بارتي عدي اي
Diggory trying to set up a wall to try and deny
المفروض اوث يدخل ثيرد بارتي المفروض دي يلعبوها بحذر دي يلعبوها بحذر كود ماركو نوك تاذوا كلش دي اي كلش تاذوا
But Squeaky trying to hold that off angle, the deeper angle to play with.
Oh, no, I don't know who it was that did it, but there was a smart play by one of the.
بعد يزحفوا على الزون على مود يدخل الزون يشيلوه. يقدروا يشيلوه كود ماكو يفيدهم كل شويه. شوف شلون يريدون يحافظون على اللاعب مالتهم الفراجر توب فراجر. باوع شوف يفيدهم بالايم، هذا كلش مهم بالاخير. اللاعب اللي عنده ايم كلش مهم. باوع كود ماكو لازم يشيلوه يعني لازم يشيلوه عمود يجيبون جيم. لا برا زون صاروا. ايه قدر يطب. هسه حياخذ فيرست. حياخذ فيرست. حصل دي خالد جي مستحيل. حصل. حيبوشون مش عليهم جي حصلوا بعد مستحيل. سماش بس بقى عايش.
Maybe Oath gets a little over aggressive, who knows?
وحش
He gets one.
وحش الاثنين. واحدة شالهم كلهم. اخذوها اوف خرب انه شوف اخذوها على الحاضر. شالهم كلهم. اخذوها على الحاضر باوع خرب انه.
Oh my god. I mean that
والله على الحاضر بالقرآن. حرام. اوروبا وقعوا بعض حرام والله حرام.
I mean, DA and did exactly what they needed to do too. The north side of that hill was the right place to push. I was a little bit worried for DA going for the reses and pushing, getting everybody right up on top of each other with the smokes. But fortunately, there was no utility left. But then they tried to make the push. Ents hold it down. Oath waits till the perfect time to come up. They don't even have to. They have to fire one shot. That was it. To finish off the
والله المفروض لو انسلو دي.
I can't really discredit how any of those teams approached that. Everyone played it right. Oath considered their scenario. They were down to 3 players and didn't have the advantage on their hill. So had to play that way. They had to play to be the third party to the fight. And then you look on the other side. DA didn't play it badly at all either. Like they played it very well. They used the smoke as well. Ents, I love their earlier play, but DA didn't allow anything to come from it. This was just a really well played end circle. Honestly, every team there, great job. So happy to see Oath finally see.
لو بالحظ ذولاك 3 مان سكواد. ذولاك 3 مان سكواد اخذوا الجيم. 3 مان اخذوا الجيم والله حرام.
10 kills that they netted throughout the entirety of the game there and to have to make those long rotations.
شباب لا حد يصوت حاليا لا حد يصوت باقي عندنا 4 ايام للتصويت لا حد يصوت. لا حد يصوت شباب لا حد يصوت. انتظروا. اعيدها واكرر لا حد يصوت شباب لا حد يصوت انتظروا. بعد 4 ايام عندنا تصويت.
If they would have tried to push Ents at any time as 3 trying to push up that mountain, they would have gotten absolutely destroyed. They tried to push DA the same thing. So they did the only play that was available.
بعد 4 يوم شباب بعد 4 مباريات.
So NA, if I'm not mistaken, has what 3 through now, and I think
بعد يومين عفوا هو حنزل فيديو حنزل فيديو.
after their win.
صدق الله جيت صاحب الشباب. جيت صديقتي الشباب. اتمنى تيشيرت. جعلني قميص ليموني.
위클리 서바이벌에서의 기복을 딛고 결국 파이널 진출에 성공하게 됐는데요. 위클리 서바이벌에서의 룰 잘 적응하셨나요? 좀 어떤 게 가장 중요한가요?
We've had a range dynamic from the second place to the 15th place throughout the week in the week survival. How did you overcome that and finally win the game?
We just adapted the format.
شوي طي مساحة شوي طي مساحة وجه.
Differently, like between teams and the format, like
جدي صاحبة الوجه البشوش.
And we just adapted and we started doing the same.
جعلني المايك.
게임에 적응하는 시간이 좀 오래 걸렸지만 그 게임을 통해서 계속 하다 보니까 계속 적응할 수 있었습니다.
네, 이제 오스 같은 경우에는 정말 공격적인 모습으로도 킬 포인트를 올리던 팀이었는데 마지막에 정말 그 세 팀이 남았을 때 교전에 쉽게 임하지 못하고 눈치 싸움을 하는 모습이 인상적이었습니다. 그때 좀 전략을 바꾸신 건가요? 어떤 대화가 오갔는지 궁금해요.
We were desperately waiting on that last 3 teams on that last match. What conversations were going on between you guys?
We wanted to be the last to fight. We're at a disadvantage.
بس بعد لعابه
and we knew
شاف الخسر بس بعد الخسر الخسر ينقاس بالاصابع هيك بالسنتي قاس الخسر بالسنتي لكن والله مانيكانا مو بشر
기다림을 통해서
اسمها كوان اسمها كوان شباب اسمها كوان بس بعد الخسر بس بعد لك بس بعد لك ربك ايش خلق بعزي
الله ابكي طين والله ابكي طين
Hopefully we win. Thank you for supporting us.
والله العظيم لصوت لك جنجي هاي كوريا لصوت لك جنجي واني واحد من عندي اصوت لك جنجي حتى لو خسران.
네, 승리 축하드리겠습니다.
هي لابسه اصفر على جنجي.
네, 이렇게 해서 위클리 서바이벌 1주차 12번째 매치에서 승리한 오스 팀의 릴로 선수와 인터뷰 나눠봤습니다. 저희는
Watch out, watch out, watch out. It's RKO out of nowhere here as they come in. The ultimate opportunists get themselves the position and get themselves the victory.
Like
مرسومة رسم. Weekly final. Unbelievable stuff coming in from the boys. They knew exactly when to take that fight in what was a picture perfect scenario.
بعد 4 فرق شباب باعوا بعد 4 فرق من ذولا 4 فرق بس راح تتأهل. هسه حاليا من اجى بعد ما تأهل اوث خلينا نشوف من هم دي تريد لا مو دي تريد.
Oath very very well timed there.
They played out really well, and of course we knew that they weren't to wait. They don't want to be the first one to take the engagement there. Basically the first
احمد حبيبي على احمد قلبي الدي اكس جي بعدهم متى بعدهم اصلا ما صاعدين بالفاينلز.
first engagement against each other.
Definitely so. Let's take a look at the highlights.
معنا بيو جيجي بدعوا بس شنو الزربوا بالاخير.
Looking fine.
Really good, but also EU as well. When we saw the first circle go over towards military base with Oath and DA both landing on it because of the plane pad, for two teams that we have been hyping up over the course of this entire weekly survival is like, at some point, at some point they're going to get that win. I don't know about you guys, but I assume that just because it was one of those two teams to win, you see them along with Ents in the final circle, sort of played out by fate at that way, but there was a lot of fighting. The fact that the military base circle forced so many teams to make these rotations and fight over a lot of these key areas, there was a lot of combat throughout this game. We're seeing action.
اكو جوائز على المشاهدة بتويتش واكو جوائز على المشاهدات عندي بالبث شباب. $30 لاكثر شخص شارك ببث حبايبنا و$10 لثاني اكثر واحد حبايبنا. الجائزة بهاي البطولة $5.5 مليون شباب. وطبعا شباب جائزة البث عندي مقدمة من اخونا شاكر اليامي من السعودية حبايب هو اللي دعم هذا البث حبايبنا.
The last one to engage here from Oath.
بعد عندنا $50 ما سعيد مهر هم يحوز ان شاء الله.
It was the perfect strike coming out from Oath. I mean, even if it was 4v4v4, ideally you kind of want to be the last one engaging anyway, no?
Yeah, of course you always want to be the last one there. As I talked about before, the other teams are going to be picked out one by one, and you're just going to have the upper hand. But one thing that Oath did
ولد تحسين حبيبي مشاركات بس بالجروبات فقط بالجروبات تحسين
we
فقط.
saw them just two circles shy to the end there. They were trying to rotate on the south side, going to the east.
علي احمد الدي اكس جي متى بعد حتى الان ما صعدوا ما لهم فرصه يمكن اصلا. حيلحقون على جيم لو جيمين اتوقع.
But after that there was still one E46 play left. Even though having the number, Oath said, let's not take this fight. We're not going to win anything from taking this. This is not the position to play from. Let's just smoke out. We'll take our vehicles. We'll back off to the west side and we'll play out the game from there. And that was what actually got them the win of the game, because from that, going back to the west, they also got into that position where they played the end from.
And these are the teams that were able to make waves in this game. Oath comes out with the victory. So congratulations to them for qualifying onto the weekly final. Another second place for Digital Athletics. They have got to be chomping at the bit, Cameron, here to be able to get eventually that chicken dinner throughout the day.
Yeah, at this point for them, you have to start to question how strong their mental fortitude is. Not because they're looking bad, they're looking great, but it's the constant second place, the constant third place, the constant performing so well that we can't stop talking about them, but they still don't have that win. I really hope that they have more support amongst each other, but also amongst their support staff there. To be able to just tell them, calm down, it's fine, do not let this kill you, because they're playing on fire now that it's yet another solid out of the lobby.
علاوي انت مو كنت راح تجيبه ان شاء الله؟ منتظرك اني. ورا البطوله علاوي.
I've talked with Digital Athletics and I feel like this is not really a bad thing for him to actually get these high placements all the time. Basically what we're seeing is that they're getting a lot of practice here.
ولكن ساعات تصفيات هم فرق عادي. الواعيب اي بس كفرق لا كفرق كلهم اقوياء كلهم محترفين ماكو بيهم ولا فرق ضعيف.
They had good preparations coming into this tournament itself. And I'd say yes.
هم هذول كلهم شباب. هي هالبطوله شنو هي؟ هاي اكبر بطوله بتاريخ الببجي، تاريخ الببجي موبايل والستيم. ليش؟ البطولة أول شيء جائزتها $5.5 مليون واحتمال توصل $6 مليون. زين، هاي شغلة. الشغلة الثانية، الفرق اللي جاي يلعبون بالبطولة كلهم دازينهم دعوات. ليش؟ على أي أساس دازينهم دعوات؟ على أساس إن هم ماخذين البطل بالقارات مالتهم. تفهم شلون؟ يعني هم أبطال البطولات القارية اللي تصير عندهم. يعني مثلا الجنجي دي اي شو اسمه، لان دي اي يعتبر عندنا على العرب، يعتبر هو بطل العرب، يعتبر الدي اي لان محسوب علينا. هو لو الاتراك مو محسوب علينا كان احنا عندنا فريق عربي صاعد لهاي النهائيات، لهاي البطوله. بس هم محسوبين علينا، ومن علينا يحسبوهم على اوروبا، ومن اوروبا يحسبوهم بهاي البطوله على اوروبا قسم الشرق الاوسط. تصفيات ام اي اي الشرق الاوسط، لان احنا العرب نلعب سيرفر اوروبا، فلذلك عندنا ايضا قسم خاص بشركه الببجي اللي هو ام اي اي، ميدل ايست افريكا، يعني الشرق الاوسط وافريقيا. التصفيات احنا وياهم نلعب سويا، تركيا ويانا بالتصفيات. فلذلك الدي اي بطل دائما يتاهل من عندنا. اختاروا الدي اي انه يسوي له انفايت، وهو نادي معروف يعني ايضا الدي اي. وعندك جنجي وديامبا واول راوند وكيا وال جي، يعني كلها شركات عملاقه جايه على الانديه مالتهم. السبونسر مالتهم شركات مخيفه. يعني عندك احد الفرق النورث لايتس صار اسمه فيرتوس برو. ليش؟ لانه فيرتوس برو هي اكبر كوميونتي جيمنج بروسيا كلها. بروسيا كلها تخيل، هو اللي جابهم واشترى الفريق كله، النورث لايتس كله اشتراه، اخذه وصار هو سبونسر لهم. شلون؟ مع العلم النورث لايتس كان ما عندهم سبونسر، كان عندهم سبونسر بسيط. وليش ذاك السبونسر حجمه قوي؟ عندك الفرق الكوريه، عندك فريق كيا، شركه كيا تملك الفريق مال كيا، لحد الان ما متاهل هو. زين، عندك الجنجي اقوى الفرق العالميه واغنى فريق بالعالم، مرتين اخذ البطوله هاي. هو 2018 19 اخذ البطوله هاي الجنجي على التوالي. يعني اذا اخذ هاي البطوله هم حياخذ هاتريك. تي 1 عندك شركه اتصالات كوريا، شلون؟ ال جي، شركه ال جي مال فيتنام، مال تايلاند عفوا. زين، ال جي سبونسر مالته. يعني تخيل انت انفنتري، والله ما اعرف شو السبونسر مالته، بس سبونسر قوي همينه. اتوقع الدوله الصينيين، اتوقع ما اعرف. يعني اكو فريق انفنتري همينه مال سي اس جو ومال ببجي موبايل همينه موجود. افريكا فريكس هاي اي اف، فريق اي اف همينه منظمه عالميه مال العفو، مو منظمه، منصه بث عالميه، منصه همينه مثل شلون تويتش والفيسبوك، نفس الشيء، منصه بكوريا اسمها افريكس تي في. الدي تريد مشروب مال طاقه، شركه مشروب مال طاقه. زين، الباقي الفرق كلهم فيز، وهاي فيز اكيد كلكم تعرفون فيز اكبر نادي بالعالم للجيمنج، يعني كل شيء بيه، ليج اوف ليجندز، تي اس ان، فيز، ذول معروفين يعني كل شيء عندهم، كل الالعاب، وفايزين بطولات قبل. نافي عندك همينه. هاي الخريطة مال الصينيين شباب، هاي الخريطة مال الصينيين، كوريين صينيين. اصول لعب. والله جنجي حيلوت يتحرك. أربع فرق كورية ولا واحد بيهم متأهل، وأربع فرق كورية وحوش يعني، بس ولا واحد بيهم متأهل. كي كوري، تي 1 كوري، وجنجي كوري، واي اف كوري، ولا واحد لحد الان متأهل. ليكويد طبعا اكيد ليكويد. ما في دريم هيك، لا حبيبي ماكو دريم. زار حبيبي، احنا العرب مشكلتنا ماكو تفاهم، ولا عندنا الوعي بقوياء والله، يقدرون يصعدون عادي، بس ما عندنا تفاهم. ما حد يرضى على مركزه، كلها تريد تصير القائد. هي المشكلة. هو الموضوع إرادة متابعة، إرادة خبرة.
Beyond that, everyone mostly on the
نافع خدمهم يعرفوا انه يعمل كاونتر سترايك 1.6 كان عندهم لاعب اسمه مارك لوف. مارك لوف يتذكره بغيب كله وانت بيلعب بال ديزرت السيد يلعب ببجي ما ادري فيها فريق. لا حبيبي هذا مو مارك لوف نفسه، هذا هو ماخذ اسمه تركي. مارك لوف التركي ماخذ اسمه. ذاك مارك لوف من نافعاه في الجيم اصلا ابو الكاونتر. عارف المارك لوف النافي. نافي عندك فايز شاب معروف من قبل 2011 معروف فايز. لا 2011 يب ليكويد مين 2011 هيك. جنجي قديم جنجي قديم 2003 هيك.
play around that water treatment area, that god compound that's just to the south of water treatment by that big cliff is a huge point of interest. E36 already taken that area right now.
يلعبون نظام البوينت وما تأهل غير كوريا والصين صحيح. بس بعد هاي راح يلعبون نظام البوينت بعد ما 16 شيكن دينار 16 فريق يجيبون 16 شيكن دينار. كل فريق يجيب شيكن دينار واحد يتأهل من 32 فريق. وراها يقومون يلعبون نقاط بوينتات وتصير البطوله اول اسبوع على $100,000، ثاني اسبوع 200,000، ثالث اسبوع 300,000، رابع 500، الخامس 600، والسابع السادس لعبوا $1,000,000.
عندي كوما عندي كوما
اي والله جوا مو قصة ما عنده حظ، بس جيجي جازف يلعب باستهزاء. الفريق مرتاح ماخذ بطولتين من عنده على مرتاح يلعب.
You know, at this point, I got to be honest. They don't look good. I mean, obviously we've said it before, but you know, a million times we could say, "Oh, they deserve to be there. They deserve to be there." But right now, I mean, there's one team that I can say from Korea that's actually looked capable in this format. And that's Genji. Or T1 rather. True. T1 is, you know, repeatedly finishing around that 5th, 6th, 7th area. It's just getting past that little hurdle. Once they get to like circle 5, circle 6, that's where things kind of start falling apart for them a little bit. And that's kind of what happened last time. I mean, we saw them get in there and they just get pinched. You know, it feels like out of all the Korean teams, T1 is probably there, but man, I just don't know what to do about Damwon. You know, Genji has looked okay at times and just terrible at times. The Freaks, they've come in looking okay, but you know, they obviously limited amount of games, but you know, it does seem crazy that we could go into our first weekly finals and have maybe one Korean team in it.
Yeah, it's certainly something to consider, but for now we do see DA starting to build up. That is going to be Mert having a look around, maybe go pick up his boys or kind of join the herd. Looks like Code Marco's kind of leading the way for them, kind of heading through now. Again, LG Divine, they were very central on this, kind of starting in San Martin, quite split apart at the moment. We did check in with them just a second ago, and you can see them still in their loot route, just doing their thing. T1, Damwon, all the teams on the east about to meet, and that's a little scary. Destination's over there too, so you're going to have a decent amount of teams heading this way. Hopefully no one lost on rotation here, considering there's a lot of Korean teams relatively next to each other now, and the Freak of Freaks were the team on the eastern side, so if they slot in this way, they're going to potentially again clash.
For their part,
وليد هيك هبط صوت البث عشان نسمع صوتك. حبيبي الذاس اسمع صوتي؟ اتوقع زي صوتي.
They look fairly comfortable. DGW meanwhile
بدل ايه
their way around. Looks like Damwon going to spot him out. Take a few shots in that direction. They do have T1 that's kind of
وليد امتى صوت ولا صوت مثلك في الفيديو اللي حطيته؟ لا حبيبي صوت مثل الفيديو على قناتي بعد انتظر. انا هذا الفيديو سويته على عاطف فيديو شرحت بيه البطوله بس صوت تصويت واحد بس.
Maybe that's one of the problems that they're having. It's just these normal rotation passes.
بس هو لحد الان الفيديو يعني ماشي حاله انه يقدر يربح.
Yeah, don't peek that again.
Yeah, pretty learned his lesson on that one. Doesn't fancy it. Ends taking the longest route available. Of course, taking the scenic route, as they tend to like to do. That'll be fine. They can slot in on the northern side. Even look how open.
كي انا اقول لك ايه بس تيوان لا. تيوان بصراحة ما يسوي شيء. كي وتيامبا ودي المفروض يتأهلون.
Side's a little bit busier just because that road out of Picado is
بس هي بعد كل
pretty
جيم
rife with
مضوفة.
teams DAs over there. You've got Day Trade Gaming, Gen G. Lots of teams will be able to see that. So a little bit trickier on the southern rotation. But
16 فريق اللي يتأهلوا بالاسبوع الاول ولا شو؟
here's the shots coming through.
هسه لا هسه حاليا تأهلوا 12 فريق. بعد 4 فرق بس يتأهلون وراها يلعبون فاينل. هذول يصيرون 16 فريق عندهم تشيكن دينر. الاسبوع الاول لما لعبوها اول 3 ايام كانت الديسيجن رانك اللي هم منو يلعب بالبدايه على مود يصعدون التشيكن. لا تفتهم شلون؟ هنا على اليسار راح اشرح لكم اياها هنا نشوف. هسه مثلا كيا لاعب 13 مباراة ويا هاي تيامبا 13 مباراة تي 1 13 مباراة دي اي 13 مباراة. عندك الاي اول مباراة له تفهم شلون؟ هاي بالبداية مو صار ديسيجن رانك. ديسيجن رانك شو يسوي هو تصفيات فردي بين المجموعات كلها. زين اول 16 فريق يتأهل يلعبون بالبداية بيناتهم واول واحد ياخذ تشيكن دينر يتأهل ويجي مقارنة مركز 17. فبالبداية لما لعبوها قرروا منو هم اللي اول 16 يلعبون. مثل ما تشوف هنا لحد جنجي 13 جيم لاعبين لحد الان. حتى بورام صاعد وراهم 12 جيم لعب وراها زينث ساقيومي بيرو ذولا.
Plenty of these teams finally making it through. 4am did it, Virtus Pro, TSM, and obviously Oath as well. So you've kind of got the layer.
هذا فوق الوقت على اليمين بداية المباراة.
Probably because they're through or they're still waiting.
هذا فوق صار 9 دقائق بعد الجيم يعني. الجيم صار 9 دقائق و4 ثواني 5 ثواني احسب. الزون الاول اول 10 دقائق ينسد الزون الاول فهمت شلون؟ اول 9 دقائق و30 ثانية ينسد الزون. 30 اي اول 10 دقائق اول 10 دقائق اول 10 دقائق بالضبط. اول 10 دقائق الزون الاول ينسد. كل جيم اول 10 دقائق لازم تعرف انه انت عندك 10 دقائق راح تدخل الزون. اذا انت داخل الزون عندك 10 دقائق باللعبه تلوت بيها والسوالف هاي. والله 10 دقائق يتحرك الزون الثاني. هذا لازم تعرفها يعني بالببجي اذا تلعب بطولات انتبه عليها انه باوع. هسه بس 10 دقائق ينسد الزون تقول الزون ينسد. ماكو زون ينسد جو 10 دقائق ماكو ابد. كل الزونات تنسد ب 10 دقائق كلهم. شوف هسه 10 دقائق ضبط راح ينسد الزون. هاي معناته انه الزون الاول انتهى ب 10 دقائق. بعد 10 دقائق هسه منو بنص الزون زينث. هذا الفريق راح يبوش عليه من كل صوب يعني. جنجي مكانهم يخبط. اتوقع جنجي يسوي شيء الجيم. جنجي مكانهم نفس مكان تي اس ام لما نتأهلوا. kind of backup options it feels they want the next GX هيجي next
Gustav's going to claim one for FaZe.
Not
a bad position at all. Yes, it's a bit vulnerable to the hillside wrap around it, but FaZe will be happy with this, and you can see LG Divine going to move back to kind of almost one of their starting positions at the forefront of Hacienda, so they'll be okay over there. Eastern side, I'm looking at the southeast, it might get a little bit busy on this one. Also, Ents might be in for a spot of bother. That north side now not so available, and there is always that kind of field or that kind of open area that surrounds Hacienda's side to the north-northeast. It gets a bit tricky. Burram already in for a bit of a fight.
سوى هذا سوى بنفسه. والله سوى بنفسه ذولا سوى بنفسه. غير شو يسوي. باوع كسروهم خطير. حرام والله الدي تريد ذولا حرام يلعبون تالنتين. هم تالنتين ضد بعض ترى. تالنتين ضد بعض. قبر. المفروض جماعة يجوا بسرعة.
And you can see Neuradra was coming to provide some support. I don't think they were
expecting
the full crash from Day Trade, and to be honest, I wasn't even really expecting the full crash from Day Trade.
فريق فايز ماكو لاش فايز لا جنجي.
This turned I mean, there's no
لا افريكا فريكس لا تي 1
really matter, but
كلهم مو يمها 13 جيم صاروا يلعبون من حدهم متأهلوا. ما جابوا ولا تشكين دينار 13 جيم.
But you know what? Day Trade committed to it. Lose 2, but they get 1.
هسه صار لعبة 3 كوريين يتأهلون. عم يصير حمس. عم يصير نار
البطولة. Day Trade decides to do as we move forward. While see Damwon still.
3 كوريين وفيز.
This has kind of been their game plan.
يصير بطولة نار.
And it has not been working out great.
أو تيامبا.
But they've been just hanging around on this edge.
تيامبا المفروض يتأهل المفروض.
See if they can maybe sneak their way in late, avoid all the early game fighting.
الفاز جيم 12 أوث.
So far, so good. They do have T1 just off to their north. And
جابوها هيك فريق الله والله حرامات.
So that might be something to keep an eye on here.
Yep. No one gaming. popping off some shots. A freak of freaks, similar sort of scenario. Yeah, it's center circle, right? It's why I kind of like the circles that the teams hate because it makes things fun.
مو لعبهم عادي صاير بس هم ما يجيشون بطولة ترى بطولة قوية يعني أقوى فرق العالم جاي تلعب. فايز منو؟ ايش بيك؟ والله انا حتى توقعت فيز ما يتأهل بكره وراح ابوي توقعت ما يتأهل حتى لو كنت توقعت ما يتأهل ما اعرف شلون يتأهل ولحد الان جنجي وتيامبا وكي ما اتوقع من يتأهلون حتى الدي ما اتوقع يتأهل اتوقع غير فرق تتأهل احتمال فيز انا اقول لك جنجي وتيامبا بيناتهم 100% واحد منهم 100% يعني احس هيك انه واحد منهم حيتأهل بس هل انه حيتأهلون؟ هي هاي المشكلة هل حيتأهلون هم؟ مع الزون جنجي الزون يعني هسه زون اذا ضيعوها جنجي هذا الجيم غير بالقرار ما يتأهل مستحيل بس هذا الجيم ضيعوه نص الزون باعهم نص الزون اذا ضيعوه هذا الجيم بعد خلاص وتيامبا مكانهم نار ذكر لات
We've seen these sends being very precarious for FaZe. I worry for them in this scenario. That north side is about to get busy. Everyone's starting to send through. T1 on the move.
وليد فرض إذا قبل البطولة تقدر الجايش قبل البطولة تقدر الجايش وانت سكوادك حاليا لا حاليا صعب ما نحصل حتى مركز قبل الأخير ما نحصل جزء حصل مركز قبل الأخير وقبل الأخير مستحيل يعني نصير توب 16 مستحيل صعب الفرق قدامنا نار خبرة عندهم بالبطولات هاي مو البطولة لهم احنا ما عندنا خبرة بالنهايات ترى
Bit of revenge from the previous game. Going to find Ristamar after that a little bit of a scuffle they had on that military island on Erangel. So that's going to feel pretty good for them. But FaZe need to be careful. Zenith are going to surely have vision on this, and they've just been picked up too. So again, FaZe need to be careful now. And I'm looking at who else is on the move. Tiamba's in the vehicles, maybe looking for a position they can send to. So keep your eyes trained on where they decide to go.
It's been absolutely nuts. The movement of Skittles all over the little mini map here. Tiamba going to try to find somewhere, and they are going to
ليش يلعبون سبليت جنجي ليش؟
off to the side of FaZe.
ليش سبليت عادي خليهم فريقهم.
Genji, as you said, had the compound over
ليش
there.
سبليت يلعبون ما أعرف.
They managed to get a knock on the FaZe. Looks like that res came through.
كي إذا مات واحد من عندهم هسه خلاص يجي الجيم عليهم.
The actual graveyard while Genji holds out in the church. They have E36 to their south, and this is another fight. Buriram finding themselves in the middle of a scrap once again. This time it's going to be with Kia Damwan. Grenades are going to come through. Not going to find any joy just yet. Indigo, though, spots out Naradra. It's about 50 HP, but no knocks.
Oh, yeah, but I always feel even if Buriram do go down, they will get a couple with them. I don't feel as though they're a team to get wiped out, but these nades are getting lined up, so Buriram better be ready for this. Already you can see the spam coming in. Molotovs, there it is. Under goes through. Kanaxi receives. And still, Buriram struggling on this one. Is there another third party? No, it's gotten me out, actually. Pretty far off from this, so Naradra's got to be careful too, and it looks like they're going to go for the push. Kale already on the ground. They're going to be trying to wrap around this smoke.
ايه بالضبط هم يلعبون كلات شكرا تعرف صح.
Naradra does get
نظام كلات ما اعرف ايش.
Down one gaming. At least they're trying to lock this out now. Maybe solidify this spot.
يلعبون حاليا 200.
That's nice work from Damwan. Got out.
200
Still up for Buriram, so they still have their insurance policy off in the distance. We wait and see where this new circle is going to take us. See, Tiamba is just getting absolutely rained on by AAA, who have made their way in as well. And that's going to be good news. Once again, and we talked about it earlier, DA placing the bet that this thing was going to cut south, and that bet has paid off in a huge way so far.
FaZe كلاود.
They'll be super happy.
حيموتون بالروتيت. باور حيموتون بس باور. مستحيل يعبرون مستحيل صعبة حيل. مستحيل يعبرون الفيز يب هذا واحد من عندهم نوك.
Oh no, Shimboy's got him.
تأخروا حيل الفيز.
They're going to arrive with 3 now, no way around it.
طلعوا على فيز طلعوا روتيت على فيز يا معود. طلعوا روتيت مال فيز.
They can do the damage now. They will have to find their way in, and Graveyard can live up to his name.
ويلي الله.
Sending in E36.
فريق الصين بعد طاب.
This should be comfortable for them. DA punishing
Gustav تفنش أوبا نوك.
This could be
DA فيز
if they lose out on that final player. I think his Fuzzface still alive, maybe with the opportunity of a res, but at this point, this is a disaster again for FaZe Clan. They are not coming alive this time around.
just nowhere is safe. I mean, there's so many players still up, so little places for them to play from. You can see everybody just trying to find any little ditch that they can hide in, any shack, any shed, any rock.
Yo, drive by
so getting picked apart by anybody that's got a secure position. DA doing work. They did the work on the phase already. Now they're finding LG Divine. Roth gonna take care of Tiamba, and that's them done.
Tiamba did the fucking game,
making their way in from the north side, and they're going to be hanging out on the very edge of the circle. Although they do have to worry a little bit about detonation coming in from the north as well. But it looks like things might be starting to calm down a little bit as everybody has either died or found a place to call home.
Yeah, some more precarious than others, of course.
اتوقع الصراحة يوم يبدي
نهائي. In over towards north, kind of on foot now, it looks like, or at least in the open. Beyond that, I said graveyard littered with bodies.
قالوا لي بدهم يلعبوا كود ماركو ويفوتوا بدهم يلعبوا
working their way through as well.
كود ماركو يفوتوا كود ملعب مظبوط. صحيح هاي هذه صحيح هاي الاخبار. حاليا لحد الان اشاعات هي، لكن دي اي لمح بالشيء هذا على تويتر، لمح انه راح يجيب كود ملعب. تلميحات بسيطه بس. قالوا بسبب العمر ينتظروا يصير 18 سنه، قالوا بعد ولد.
And Cad's at least got himself into a bit of cover, so he should be okay. We are seeing a couple of teams starting to look towards vehicles. I think Zenith's considering
قالوا شو بدنا نعمل؟ بدنا نحفظه يعني. نعمل حفاضات.
LG Divine gonna get caught off a little.
عمره 15
and yeah, DA in a bit of trouble.
كود مارك شباب نوك.
They've moved out of the initial compound. They've tried to kind of spread themselves, not necessarily thin, but they've gone for a little bit of a land grab towards the south as well, leaving Mert towards the compound. Metralis over there too. Good nade. Code Marco is probably dead at this point. Barely any HP left. I don't think Smash can will get the confirmation on that one, and now LG Divine stay alive with 3.
فايز نص الزون. جيجي رجعوا نص الزون.
I loved the fact that
picture road motto.
Nice. The road early and being a little bit proactive. Unfortunately for them, they just never got to spot out JN, who was playing that wide flanking position for the rest of LG Divine. Now the circle has cut up north. Gen G has a compound right in the center. This is looking real nice for them if they can manage to hold off any teams that might be starting to head in that direction. Maybe
بعد حبيبي مصطفى بعد ان شاء الله خير.
That has to find
قول يا الله مالك شغله.
That has to come in. E36 still hanging out in that ditch, but here comes the push from Dom 1. And where are they going to go? It's just going to be the shack.
This should be the first time we see a Korean team probably win this. Considering the positions, even just excluding Gen G's, everyone else is still in a really good spot. This should be the first game we get to see a Korean team solidify their spot. Now that's not confirmed. There's still 14 teams, but you look at who's in which position, how many are alive. Seems to be the case. However, for now, once again, see a little bit of a scrap themselves in Salmon Gaming, so DA still building up in the kind of western side. They are well out of the circle at this point, but looking to kind of forge away forward. Faye's going to get some attention.
بس انا بالنسبه لي صوتت على العاطفه. كيف الاشياء؟ على العاطفه صوت جنجي وصوت تيامبا على العاطفه. انا احب
And
الفريق.
again, underwhelming results for FaZe. Unfortunate for the fans, but for now we do look towards the teams on the move. It is going to be a Freak of Freaks holding the line. That high ground is theirs, but on the other side, will they know who's approaching under Kale, Acad, EJ, all starting to work their way forward.
While this is going on at the same time, DA is starting to push into Detonation Gaming. They're going to see if they can maybe third party on this, capitalize off the push from FaZe, but no! A good grenade from FaZe is going to be right in the feet of Betrayalius, and now Betrayalius is going to find a knock as well, but Mert goes down as the push from DA is starting to fall apart here. Smash staying alive, but here we go. Damwan and Afrika still trading back and forth. 2 up for them, and nice push there. Indigo going to be the last one up. Oh, he's got under with him. Okay. Ooh. All right, they'll get that res. They'll be back up to 3 strong. And now LG Divine comes in behind DA, because why not?
Why not? DA's looking a little done for. So I'm looking at Zenith though, still for alive, decent enough positioning. If they can clear out this side, if they can deal with LG Divine, they'll kind of control this edge and have the safety of that road that's very hard to play on. But again, you can see how dug in LG Divine are. They still have those smokes up so they can focus on the team in front of them. But Levi, so nice work from him. Jimboy's certainly been making a little bit of a name for himself. Some good shots coming out. Kickstar trying to join in as
بدأ
well.
غشيته وانت كمان
Everyone's just kind
انا
of
ما كنت
tucking
فاهمان النظام
down,
لو فاهمان
keeping their
النظام
heads
بتصور
low at
بالوقت
this
ما
point,
تنكر
not
وليد
wanting
في
that much
كل ما
attention.
كنت فاهمان
Circle
النظام
update in about 7
ومن جل من
seconds. We'll see
الاخطاء
who's
لا
got
حبيبي
the
هادي
prime
فهمان
pot
النظام
here.
وشرحت
Keep in
النظام
mind that
هاني
graveyard building is
شفت
still very
النظام
much
انت
in play.
شرحته
Look at that eastern side as
بالفيديو
well.
شوف
And there we
الفيديو
go. Okay, so
اسمع
the
زين راح
graveyard
تشوف
building
انه
will stay
النظام
in
شارحه
place. Not a
100%
great
صح.
deal of it. The graveyard itself will be
بس
removed.
انت تحب
And you guys
تطلعني
again not
غشاش او
easily
فشي
bleeding.
يجوز عندك
Just
شيء
gonna
وياي
be
ما اعرف.
hemorrhaging blood at this point.
Interested to see where Dom Juan decides to go, where E36 decide to go. As you said, Gen.G still has that compound. They're feeling just fine. They've got Ents off to the north, AAA off to the north as well. T1 has a great spot right in the center, and nobody really pressuring them just yet. Let's see if they can maybe take an angle onto Zenith here. As Zenith, as you said, is just
اي مضغوط من وليد
هذا
حيل مضغوطين حيل مضغوطين بس خليهم عادي وانسى باللايف نتحدث.
You can see LG Divine are not looking great. That is fire on the floor.
That is fire.
One nade would be quite scary. But
لا
everything
اكيد
else in
ما
front of them
عندي
is
شيء
also
اكيد
quite
والله
scary.
ولا
They're gonna try and make their run
سويت شيء
eventually,
ما
but
سويت
they
شيء.
know that someone is waiting on this other side. It depends who's there. Definition Gaming
يا
on the outside,
خطية
they're
لا
gonna
خطية
one
والله يا
good
جي
shot
ديفاين
in
حرام.
second. And Nikki is your only one standing. And
والله
why
مكانهم
is he
حلو.
standing lightly? Because they are prone.
ماتوا
Trade
جي
not
جي.
available. He gets the damage in, but it doesn't matter. It's done for. Good timing from Zenith to make this push too. This secures that side. But I'm seeing T1 maybe looking more responsive in this. And they're the ones closest nearby. Zenith could get punished if they don't turn around quickly. And no, they don't. Roth there will suffer, but actually Aqua 5 gets knocked by his own teammate. So now Zenith have a chance to fight back. Maybe they can keep control of this.
إذا تأهلوا زينث غير والله مصر حلوة بالقرآن.
Day trade actually in a good spot too to do a little bit of third party onto Zenith. As T1, they left that perfect little spot that they were in to come and clean up Zenith, and they actually do it as well. Day trade, Venautica getting taken low, but he's.
ايش بيك حبيبي هم يحكوا عليه ويتابعوني. شلون ما تعرف والله شلون ما تعرف يتابعوني والله يجون يحكوا علي انا كذاب غشاش وهاي وراها بالاخير يتابعوني. ليش ما اعرف شو السر ما اعرف.
That ridge line, man, is brutal. E36 did have the numbers up, so they will actually get all four back standing. Oh no. The Finns are outside the door. They want in. The dead have come back to life.
Yep.
And they're banging on the doors of the graveyard. Genji just cowering inside.
كان خلوك رئيس لبنان حبيبي. كان صفة
out there. We don't fancy it. But E36 in a good position. Got to say.
ينضح بما فيه اخوي.
Outside of that, triple A.
وتشيتشي.
This is a really weird lobby. Now I thought this was going to be a Korean win all day long, but in review, it's just Gen.G really now. I mean, I don't know how we've got here. And Bururam, yeah, they're down to 1, but again, is this really going to be E36 going through in their place? I mean, having this many alive, Gen.G have the compound, but when they leave, you see Ents waiting to punish that. So, I want to see where the circle goes. If the compound stays in, Gen.G are laughing. If it moves away, that cross is treacherous. Let's have a look here. 2 seconds now. Where is this circle going? Alrighty, we've got a problem on Gen.G's hands. They need to get rid of the Finns. Keep your eyes on it. They need to clear this and clear it fast. They're going to do this real quick. Now, Diggory, he's not loving this. He is just waiting in the corner, hoping he gets away with his life, but I don't feel as though he will. Nope, Pio is going to check on him. And there we have it. We're down to our top 4 here. Now, we have E36 with 4 alive, AAA with 3, and Gen.G with 4. Pio's finally going to find Pure Boy. Now, Daytrade do have the 1 alive, so Little Snake's still around. But this cross is dangerous for Gen.G. If AAA look that way, they can keep them humble and locked in towards those rocks, but they may be more focused on maybe Daytrade or someone else who's in front of them here.
This is the weirdest position I think I've ever been in competitive PUBG.
المفروض جي جيت المبدأ. المفروض جي هاي فرصتهم الأخيرة والله. فرصتهم الأخيرة. وهذا الفريق أي هذا الفريق الأخضر هاي أول مرة يلعب هذا الجيم. أول مرة سوى صعد يعني سوى تأهل.
They should be good. They should be absolutely like.
فريق أي هذا أول مرة يصعد يعني هذا أول جيم له. إذا هذا الجيم أخذه يعني ضرب الكل بالنعاش السامع.
Seen a single game of competitive PUBG, they'll say Gen.G wins this 10 times out of 10, going away laughing. But just the way things have been going in this lobby, it's just been so wonky and so weird.
4 عايشين المفروض ياخذ الجيم المفروض.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But as said, looking at this, it's got to be a Gen.G win in my mind. E36 are great, but the experience, a bit hit and miss for me. Daytrade Gaming only down to 1, not ideal positioning. AAA, first time we're really getting to look at these guys.
حلوة حلوة. هسه الفريق الياباني اصلا ايزي اصلا ايزي الفريق الياباني.
Attack all around, going to kind of dive in on that. I'm keeping my eyes on when Gen.G decide to make their move. They've now noted where AAA are. It looks like PO. He always seems to be the instigator.
PO قاعد يتحرك.
Leading the way. Now it's got to be clean. AAA.
ماتوا بس ماتوا إذا مات فيهم ماتوا جي.
Now they will be. Nades come out. It's going to be time to go. Inon's going to lead the way forward. Game's on the other side though. That's not bad. Nice little Brina.
ليش سووا بعد سووا درايف باي خرب انه يسووا درايف باي. بيت بالدرايف باي.
Good for AAA. Trade comes back through. Essa does go down, but PO got the first.
وقع بالنيت. لا وقع بالنهاية. حلوة حلوة جيجي حلوة حلوة حلوة. حلوة حلوة. والله ايزي جيجي خلاص هاي. ظلوا 3 ضدهم. 3 بواحد 3 بواحد. اذا ما جابوا جنجي غير والله خليهم يمسحون اللعبة احسن.
Some real estate to work with, but that circle is looking
so
nice for Gen.G. They've got to clutch it out, don't
they? بيت بدرايف باي يونكس. لوكي العفو. بيت بدرايف باي. لا لو ماخذ السيارة بس. صارت 3 ضد 3. حرام.
Just being a nuisance to Gen.G right now.
بس لا يتوهم بيشيلوا ترى 3 يقدرون يشيلون والله. لا ياباني بشو ياباني بشو والله. اسبوع الياباني والله. اس راح يشيله. اوكي بيو لازم يهولد. بيو انكس حلوه.
slowly but snaking their way forward here, cautiously playing through. Tattoo still looking for anyone to peek that ridge line.
It was a good play from Inonix. I think E36 were intending to hard push right around on the low side here after the knock, but Inonix hitting those shots, putting a pause on the E36 push. Now they've delayed it long enough to where they can get their man back up. Nautica going to reposition as well, and now Gen.G has E36 with their backs pinned right up against the wall. What do they decide to do? It looks like they're going to keep their rap going.
اشبيك خالد بالتعليقات كلهم دكاتره بس بالواقع كل شيء ماكو. اشبيك كلهم بروفيسوريه ودكاتره ومحللين وخبره. مالك شغله غلس. بيشتغلون على البارد.
Nautica's just trying to keep his head down. Doesn't want any of it if he can avoid it. Just about makes it to that plateau. But you, again, Gen.G being proactive in these late game circles. Back they fall. And they will have a better position on the direct center.
يستهزئون بكوكا وهاي الولد عنده 100,000 على اليوتيوب.
It does look like E36 are very passive in a way.
اكبر يوتيوبر عربي. اكبر يوتيوبر ببجي ستيم عربي. والله.
They are down to 3 I guess.
اكبر يوتيوبر ببجي ستيم عربي. اكبر يوتيوبر ببجي ستيم عربي كوكا. اكبر يوتيوبر ماكو يوتيوبر مثله.
But they aren't doing a strong close here.
على الاقل هاي لازم تعرفون انتم معلومه يعني. اكيد يعني.
I do like what Gen.G did. They've taken that ridge line and they've done a wide spread around. They're not over peaking. They're just kind of looking for information right now. I think they were assuming that E36 maybe would have tried to reposition or that they're going to continue trying to push around. That's why they've got Loki just
أكبر من أي واحد.
right there. He's not peaking. He's just trying to gain information about when E36 is going to try to
وناس عندي صار سنين
so far
ما عدا 10,000.
waiting for the blue.
5,000 ما عدا. ناس صار سنين. بس هذا يسكت الكل ترى. بس هذا الرقم يسكت الكل.
It looks like they're going to go for that wrap and Loki is perfectly positioned.
بشوهم شباب بشوهم.
On the other side. Uh-oh, this could be trouble. Waiting around the corner, Sato. As soon as they show, Loki could punish.
هذا السؤال المفروض يموت.
Gen.G responding accordingly, going to lean this way. Day trade still out and about. Nautica going to try and use this time to move up, but sprayed away at on the other side. Gen.G ready for the fight still. Both these teams playing the long game here. No one wants that first fight. See if they can get rid of that snake first.
ها خلص خلصوا من عند الصورة. 3-3. حلوة لوكي خرب عرضك. لازم أعالج.
Surely this is Korea's time to get themselves through.
يلا جي. لك استر نوك خرب إنه. حلوة لوكي. حلوة جي. تهلو.
They get it done.
همزين اوف. أنا مصوت لهم.
Finally is the right word. I mean, look, we said it coming in. Out of all the Korean teams that have been making it to the top 5, making good position, Gen.G and T1 have been looking the best out of everyone. That was, I mean, it took a little bit of circle luck. It took a little bit of circle luck for Gen.G to actually finally come through and secure that one. But when it came down to it, when it came down to the final fight, they looked just as deadly and just as
هسه بعد جيمين بعد 3 مباريات بعد 3 مباريات شبابنا الطيبه. 30 دولار لاكثر شخص شارك ببث حبايب، و10 دولار لثاني اكثر واحد. طبعا شباب الجائزه مقدمه من اخونا شاكر اليامي من السعوديه، هو اللي حاب يدعم هذا البث طبعا بالجوائز حبايبنا. فنتمنى شباب مشاركاتكم بالبث، لايكاتكم، نتمنى الشير شباب، الشير بكل الجروبات حبايبنا. نتمنى يعني همتكم ويانا لاكبر بطوله ببجي بالتاريخ. طبعا بطوله البي جي اي شباب في كوريا حاليا، اللي جائزتها حاليا اكثر من 5 مليون دولار حبايبي.
Loki's positioning was wonderful as well. As soon as he expected someone to make that push, he was already watching that from a while ago. So great work by Gen.G to finally get themselves through the first Korean team to join us on the weekend.
حبيبي احمد فوزي لا احد يصوت هسه حاليا، تريد تصوت صوت عادي، بس هي بنت العرف ترى، بس اول تالي لا تصوت هسه. بنهايه الاسبوع صوت، يوم الجمعه، يوم الجمعه صوت. يوم الجمعه انزل فيديو انا 100%. وقلت لكم كل اسبوع انزل فيديو، كل جمعه انزل فيديو.
We have an interview here with player Anonix. Congratulations.
صدق الله جدي.
Gen.G, you guys really made Korean fans nervous. And we finally have the first Korean.
حتى يستحي باع الجوال، يستحي.
It feels really amazing.
يستحي باع
This is the
الجوال والله.
13th match, and this was actually intentional because we wanted to show playing. We wanted to show more matches to the fans. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for the victory. During this process, I'm sure there were some difficulties.
باو لعابه
What
لعابه والله.
feedback would you have for yourself?
جنجي يابا كنت جنجي، حتى انا جنجي انا اريد
The
اصير
rules
كوري.
were adjusted for this tournament. I think our strategies were a bit missed towards the beginning. We thought that if we adjusted
تقدر تصوت حاليا بس
playing
باسمه.
all along, then it would be
ولكم
better.
كوبون معك حصوت فيهم، لحد الان كوبون واحد صوتت بس.
I'm sure you guys prepared a lot for this specific tournament.
كوبون واحد
Any
بس
final
صوت.
words before we meet you at the weekly finals? We'll do our best. And I can't leave this question out. There are a lot of Korean fans cheering you guys on. Would you like to say anything to your fans out there? First of all, we're not really
أنا أحب
thinking
الكوري
much
شباب
about
والله.
week
بالقرآن
1 to 5.
أشجع
We're
صناعة
going to do our
كوريا.
best until week 6.
كل سيارات اشتريتها كوري، كله كوري. تليفوني
That was
كوري،
our
كمبيوتري
interview with
كوري،
player Anonix. Congratulations, guys.
سيارتي كوري، كله كوري. أشجع الصناعة الكورية شباب، ومن عشاق الكوري.
It's great to see, you know, one of the underdog regions
GX
gets
اسطنبول.
themselves
بعد
a
3
team
مباريات
into
شباب
the
بس.
weekly final. You would have never thought it, but there they are. Gen.G gets themselves. Oh, all jokes aside, fantastic. We finally get a South Korean team into the weekly final. It was long overdue, and as you could hear in the interview here, they also recognized that maybe their strategies weren't quite.
عندك 22 كوبون اضمهن. بتقدر تصوت انت باوع. شوف اعطيكم نصيحه على مود الفوز شباب، اعطيكم نصيحه على مود الفوز. اكو نوعين من التصويت. راح افتح اللعبه وراح اشرح لكم على التصويت هسه على البث المباشر على مود تفهموه كل زين. اكو نوع من التصويت، تصويت كلش مهم اللي هو هذا دائما يفوزك اكثر. خليني افتح اللعبه وراح اشرح لكم هسه شباب. انا مصوت الجنجي بصراحه، مصوت الجنجي ومصوت يامبا، وقلت لكم صوتت عاطفيا يعني انا احب الفريق، لكن بالفيديو ذكرت انه اذا تحب الصوت لازم عندك بعد ايام 6 ايام نهايه التصويت، يعني تقدر تشوف البطوله وتتابع وراها سويه. ننزل فيديو بعد ما نشوف الاحصائيات مال الفرق اللي تلعب البطوله. كل بطوله هيج دائما طبعا نص البطوله تقدر تصوت نص البطوله. المهم شبابنا الطيبين، هسه انا مو فتحت اللعبه. ايش عندك هنا؟ دقيقه خلينا الصوت كله باعوا. عندك هنا عندك الاي سبورتس زين، بيك ذم تشالنج. هباوع هنا انا مصوت تيامبا زين، مصوت شنو؟ تيامبا وكيا، هم اثنيناتهم متاهلوا. صوتت تيامبا وكيا. ليش؟ عندك هنا بهاي بس وحده صوتت، بس كوبون واحد صرفت بهذا الحساب، وهنا صرفت كوبونين زين. هذول ليش صوتت عليهم الكوبونين؟ هذول موسكلز شباب، هذول موسكلز. يعني هنا انت اكثر واحد يجيب كلات بالبطوله هو اللي راح يربح. تفهم شلون؟ هنا وهاي يعطيك 200,000 عليها، وهاي هاي الكاست فوتس، الفوت هنا يا شباب. هنا ينطيك على المركز الاول 100، الثاني 50,000، الثالث 25,000، الرابع 12,000 ونص. عرفتوا شلون؟ يعني انت هنا اذا الصوت بهذا الحساب، العفو، هنا اذا الصوت بهذا تربح به 100,000. يعني هنا اذا تضيع 4 بطاقات على اليمين افضل لك ما تضيع 8 بطاقات على اليسار، لان هنا هذا كله ينطيك 187,000. تشوف الماكسيموم، بس هنا ايش قد ينطيك ماكسيموم بالهذا بالكيل؟ يعطيك 200,000. يعني اذا فريقك ربح بالتصويت 200,000 تربح. فهنا يفضل انه تضيع 4 بطايق احسن ما تضيع 4 بطايق بهذا الثاني. عرفت شلون؟ فانت لما تصوت على اليمين يعطيك 200,000، وعلى اليسار يعطيك مجموع الاربع فرق، الاربع بطاقات راح تصرفها يعطيك مجموعها 187,000 ونص. فاليمين افضل، لان انت عندك 200,000 وهو موسكلز، يعني معروف اكيد الفريق منه اكثر فريق حيجيب كلات. عرفت شلون؟ اي الانفور والفيست، لان الفيست اول سكن باللعبه. كيف تعرف الاحصائيات اللي اكثر فريق عندك كلات؟ مهم نلبث تباوع، هي موجوده احصائيات كلها موجوده. نلبث تباعها او تقدر تباوع على موقع ليكوبيديا، هو اللي يطلع لك شو اسمه. ليكوبيديا هو اللي يطلع لك الترتيبات مال الفرق حاليا. تشوف قدامك هذا الويكلي سرفايفل، ويكلي فاينلز هيات هذا هنا. طبعا هم ذول 16 فريق حيتأهلون النهائي. بعد عندك ايش قد؟ بعد عندك 4 فرق حاليا يتأهل. الجنجي حيكتبوه هنا هسه، وراها 3 فرق. بعد عندك 3 فرق من هي بعد من ذول الفرق دي يلعبون حاليا هسه. 3 حيتأهلون ويلعبون وراها توب 16. هذول البطوله كامله. الاسبوع الاول طبعا المركز الاول مثل ما تشوفوا قدامكم، الاسبوع الاول ياخذ 25,000 دولار، والثاني 12,000 ونص، والثالث 6,250، والرابع 6,250. الاسبوع الثاني جائزة المركز الاول 50,000 دولار، الثاني 25,000 دولار، الثالث 12,000 ونص، الرابع 12,000 ونص. الاسبوع الثالث راح يصير الاول 100,000 دولار، الثاني 50,000 دولار، الثالث 25,000، الرابع 25,000. والاسبوع الرابع الاول 150,000 دولار، الثاني 75,000، الثالث 57,000 ونص، 37,000 ونص، والرابع 37,000 ونص. الاسبوع الخامس شباب راح تكون جائزة المركز الاول 300,000 دولار، والثاني 150,000، والثالث 75، والرابع 75. والاسبوع السادس شباب الاخير راح تكون الجائزة مليون دولار. طبعا مجموعة جوائز مثل ما تشوفوا قدامكم، من الاول 500,000 دولار، الثاني 250,000 دولار، الثالث 125,000 دولار، الرابع 125,000 دولار. وهنا يا شباب اذا تحسبها انت، من حيكون بطل البطوله طبعا بالايفنت اللي هو جايب اكثر عدد جوائز. يعني مثلا السونيكس يقدر، مثلا نعطي مثال، خلينا نقول السونيكس يقدر ياخذ المركز الاول هنا 25,000، وهنا 50 75، وهنا 100 175، وهنا 150 325 625 625 و500,000، مليون و125,000 شباب. اذا فاز فريق واحد كله بالمركز الاول بكل الاسابيع هاي، مليون و125,000 دولار شباب راح ياخذ فريق واحد. عدا جوائز 30% من شركه السكنات اللي احنا نصوت عليها هسه، مو حنصوت على سكنات 30% هم حتروح فوق الجوائز. يعني هاي البيسك، هاي الجوائز البيسك الرسميه من شركه الببجي. اذا ما حد اشترى كوبون اصلا من الواعي باللعبه، بس اذا اشتريت كوبونات لا راح يزيدون فوق هاي الفلوس 30% من ارباح اللعبه. عرفتم شلون؟ يعني احتمال هاي الارقام كلها تتضاعف شباب، هاي الارقام كلها تتضاعف. عرفتم؟ وطبعا بس التوب فور ياخذون جوائز فلوس، بس التوب فور، بس اول 4 فرق ياخذون فلوس بس. عرفتم شلون؟ هاي شباب الترتيبه، الترتيب مالتها، وهي هذا الويك سرفايفل. الشرح انا شرحت لكم اياه. هسه الام سي جي ما مستحيل يقدر يلعب لانه ما له مجال، 16 فريق حيتاهل، فاكيد مركز 16 ما راح يلعب ولا جيم. المركز 32 عفوا. زين، فهسه بس ديفيجن حيلحق على جيم واحد بس. فلوس 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 عندي كوما، فلوس 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 عندي كوما فلوس. شكار زيتا حبيبي، عليكم السلام ورحمة، شكرا قلبي على 50 ستارز. بدنا نديها فيز تحلى. والله انا اتوقع انه الدي اي خلص بعد الشانس مالتهم راح، يعني معنوياتهم حتى اتدمرت زين، لانه جاب مرتين راك 2، واي فريق تتدمر معنوياته اذا صار هيجي. فيز نايمين اصلا، يعني تخلي يعني اي اف كي بصراحه بالبطوله، ما لهم اي دور بالبطوله ابد، ولا اي دور بهذا الاسبوع يعني. فهمت شلون؟ انا حصوت شوت تو كيل مو سكيلز. حسين مو سوي حسب، قلت لك انتظر انت يوم الجمعه نصوت. هسه وليد اللي ما بتاع خلاص راح يطلع من كامل البطوله. هسه وليد اللي ما بتأهل خلاص راح يطلع من كامل البطوله. لا، حيطلع من الاسبوع الاول بس من البطوله، مو من كامل البطوله، من الاسبوع الاول من البطوله بس. زين السونيكس تأهلوا السونيكس تأهلوا السونيكس تأهلوا شباب، السونيكس تأهلوا، هاي كلها تأهلت. هسه حتى تقلتين بالسونيكس فاتح بث، شوفوا فاتح بث ديوار البطولة. لا ما ديوار البطولة اصلا. صار 100,000 متابع، صار عنده 100,000 متابع على تويتش، فرحان بيها. اول دي فاتح بث على البطولة. المهم الفرق اللي تأهلت شباب هياتها، الفرق اللي تأهلت حاليا حط لكم اياها هسه. احط لكم الفرق شباب. فوريا من الصين يتأهل، فيوريا من البرازيل يتأهل، انفنتري من الصين يتأهل، كي 7 من فيتنام اتوقع يتأهل، فيتنام، ليكويد من اوروبا، نافي من اوروبا، اوث من امريكا، سونكس امريكا، وشوت كل امريكا، تي اس جي من الصين يتأهل، وتي اس ام من اوروبا، وفي بي من روسيا، اوروبا همينه يتأهل. بقن طبعا جنجي هم تأهل من كوريا. بقن 3 فرق بعد 3 فرق هاي حنشوف منهم هذول 16 راح يلعبون الفاينل مال هذا الاسبوع، اللي هو المركز الاول مالته 25,000 دولار، مو ال 100,000 دولار بطوله. 25,000 المركز الاول، اي 25,000، الثاني 12,000 ونص، الثالث اي الثالث 6,250، الرابع 6,250. عدد الجوائز 30% مال البطوله. ادري بيهم صيدوا، بس مقصد الحكي يعني شنو وضعهم بالبطوله، شو تقول انت؟ والله قلبي اتوقع يفوزون كل شيء، اتوقع كل شيء، بس انا بصراحه انا احس انه ما ياخذوها السونيكس، احس يعني احساسي انه ما ياخذوها. اكو فرق اقوى من عندهم والله صراحه يعني، خصوصا فرق اسيا يعني تبدع، بس شنو حاليا اكو نص من فرق اسيا جاي وقعت واقعه شلون، انه مثلا جنجي هسه يلا استفاق وتأهل، عندك اي اف ماكو شيء، ماكو ما جاب تشيكن، تي 1 امين ايضا نايم، عندك كي همين نايم، مع العلم هذول الفرق مخيفه. كي هو فاز بالبطوله يعني، افريكا فيكس لعب وفاز همينه بالبطوله مع اسيا والويكلي السبرينج Pgi.S ما فازوا بيها. هي البطوله حدث 28/3. بصراحه انا ما حشجع 3 مباريات، حشجع انا بصراحه هاي 3 مباريات راح اقتل نفسي عليه، يعني انه اتمنى فريق كوري يتأهل، او دي اي او فيز، بصراحه على مود تحلو البطوله يعني، انه تصير حلوه كلها اسماء، تفهم شلون؟ لانه بصراحه كلش اكره الفرق الامريكيه، بصراحه كلش اكرهها يعني، انه مو هم طوروا باللعب هاي، بس انا ما اقتنع بهم بصراحه، ما اعرف ليش، لان اشوف مستواهم كايم وكتحركات، اشوف الفرق الباقيه افضل من عندهم، لكن هم عندهم التيم ورك رهيب، التريد عندهم مخيف، بس الفرق الباقيه لا اقوى، انا اشوف اقوى جنجي يعني، جنجي والسونيكس اذا تخليها 1v1 وبالعقليه حتى لو تيم ضد تيم، انا اشوف جنجي اقوى، بس جنجي هواي اخطاء صارت عنده بالبطوله ومن وراها ما تاهل. بس اهم شيء كوريا بالضبط. يعني اشوف انه الفرق الكوريه تمتعك اكثر بالبطوله بصراحه، انه يبشون كلات. الفرق الامريكيه نايمه لعبهم سيستم لعبهم ما احبه، ما يونس. تفهم شلون الاوروبي ما يونس ابد، بس الاسيوي يونس. رب اللي يونس اسيوي، رب اللي يونس، خصوصا على الكوري. الكوري يحب الشات شباب، يحب درعم. بيو تقلت بيو عم تقلت شنو بيو؟ انا بالنسبه لي بيو. والله سيكو ضروري، هاي الفكره بصراحه مخططها السنه الجايه ان شاء الله بعد ما تنتهي كورونا. صراحه ناوي اسافر كوريا يعني. ليش وصل دي اي وفور اي ام ليه عم تخانقوا عبيت واحد وما فهمت؟ دي اي روسك عادة دي اي روسك عادة، بس هم شوف روني اي فريق مثلا فريقين عندهم نفس الدروب اوكي، يتفقون هم بيناتهم انه وين يعني تعرف انت كل بطولة الفرق تتفق انه وين راح ينزل الفريق مالته اوكي. فمرات يكون فريقين نفس الهود نفس الدروب نفس المكان ينزلوا عليه. فشلون الفور اي ام والفي ال جي تتذكر قبل بالبطوله السابقه مال بي سي اس في ال جي وفور اي ام 16 مباراه ينزلون ويا بعض نفس العماره، بقت 15 فوز الفور اي ام وفوز واحد الفي ال جي بس صار. بس انا اقول لك تدمروا الفور اي ام ليش؟ لانه خسروا الواعي بالفايت. فهنا ايش صار؟ عندك سونيكس وعندك الليكويد نفس الهوت دروب اللي هو بوشينكي وبيكادو، بس السونيكس ثبت شخصيته، الليكويد لعبها بعقل، قال لك اوكي احنا مستوانا مو مستواهم ننزل غير مكان. شلون؟ بس الدي اي والفرايم لا، اثنيناتهم نطشوا بنفس المكان واثنيناتهم شو اسمه صاروا بنفس البيت نفس ماوسي. بس بالعادي بالسكريمز بيتحدد مين بده ياخذ الهوت دروب. اي روني مو هو قلت لك ان هم اثنيناتهم نفس الدروب اثنيناتهم، فلذلك شو اسمه انا غاضوني تورنيو انرجي والله كل شيء والله تورنيو انرجي انا متابع لهم بصراحه رشيد، بس هم ما جابوا شيء يعني بصراحه كارقام، لذلك ما سووا لهم انفايت. النافي تأهلوا بس النافي مستواهم ثابت يعني ماكسيموم توب 4 ماكسيموم يعني رانك 4 لف. Who is going to be advancing on into our first ever weekly final here for the tournament. Joining me, Froz and Cameron, to break things down, and so far so good. We now finally have a Korean representative in, but Cameron, I want to start things out by asking you the same question I asked Froz before of our next 3 games. Which names or name are you looking to be able to advance on here in the next 3?
So I am going to agree with Froz that I think Day Trade are surprisingly looking very, very good for a team that didn't really show too much during the ranking decision. Beyond them, though, my eyes are mostly set on T1's looking solid, especially Aqua 5 has been really trying to hard carry, but more so than anything else, Digital Athletics. I think after their performance that they've been delivering this week, it will be heartbreak if they are still unable to get that #1, the gold medal, the chicken dinner, the win. And again, I just hope that they are able to remind themselves, and I think having not a weekend off,
like having
this weekend to sort of calm down and remind themselves that this is only the first of 6 weeks will keep them from getting in a really, really bad mindset. But I'd prefer they didn't have to do that to themselves.
والله وليد اذا تقلتن اخذ والله تقلتن لا خش يا عبان بدع بس انا اقول لك ما مقتنع بفريقه، مو هو كلاعب ما مقتنع به، فريقه ما مقتنع. هسه شلون الدي اي مثلا عندك لاعبين يبدعون ولاعبين باقيين لا عال على الفريق، مثلا ميرت ومتراليوس ما يسوون شيء، بس سماش يسوي شيء، كود ماركت يسوي شيء. بس مثلا فايز عندك فاز فايز ما دي يسوي شيء وبو ما دي يسوي شيء يمينه ايدز وجوستاف دي يلعبون
do such performance against all of these teams. Sure, it's not every time, but
يلعبون اوف لاين. يب يلعبون اوف لاين. هاي البطوله اوف لاين شباب ما بيها نت. البينك صفر هنا شباب. البينك صفر. البينك صفر باللعبه هنا انا حاليا. ماكو بينك اصلا. لاند يلعبون لاند.
Here's Ents as well, who constantly are surviving towards the later stages. It is their play style. They like to, you know, sloop around a little bit and make sure that they can be a bit sneakier. Towards the end, then they will come out of their shell and start fragging out. So the play style for them. Also, Gx is joining us here. Cameron,
which team
this next game.
got more skills in your opinion? والله اتوقع الكوريين حيجيبون مور سكيلز. اتوقع هم يلعبون على الكلات والاسيويين يعني. طبعا سونيك ثمين اضف الى ذلك. سونيك يلعب همين يلعب كلات مرات. بس ما تعرف الا تبدي الا تبلش.
In fact, when you look at their previous performances coming into this event, they did get a solid third place at Incheon Challenge Cup.
بس هذول التيوان لازم يتأهلون.
But I think more so than anything else, that was a lot of circle luck. Any other games that they played at top level,
تيامبا هم لازم يتأهل.
they didn't fare.
كيا لازم يتأهل. هسه إذا تتمتع بالبطولة كيا وتيامبا. هسه كيا وتيامبا اثنيناتهم يعني أتمنى يتأهلون. صراحة.
But I'll be honest, I'm not holding.
international stage and I'm expecting more from them.
زينث حبيبي شكرا قلبي 50 ستارز شكرا دعم يا غالي الله يصلحك ان شاء الله. بالنهاية ليكويد راح يرجعوا بوشيكي وبيكادو. لا ما اتوقع. السونيكس وياهم. هسه كل اسبوع عليك اللايت في جائزة 200,000. لا كل اسبوع الاسبوع الاول 100,000 نور. الاسبوع الثاني 200,000. تضاعف الجائزة كل اسبوع. كل اسبوع تضاعف الجائزة.
And with a few more games, we might see some better performance from them, but I don't see a win coming out from them today.
I would like to see it. I would like to see more Koreans as well getting through because they are absolute powerhouses, especially in super settings, if they can get them the weekly final. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
يلا بدي الجيم شباب بدي الجيم الثالث.
For joining us here along the road at Pgi.S. It is time to head to the grassy pastures as we head over to Erangel for our third to last match. Only a few spots remain in that weekly final, and we're going to get
كل سكن عليه
of the action.
بدأ الجيم شباب بدأ الجيم ارانجل.
We'll be joining you indeed, and yes, starting down in the southeast.
بعد 3 مباريات شباب 3 فرق بس راح تتأهل بس 3.
بس
3 فرق وخلص. الباقيين يتفرجون من الفندق.
By now, a couple of teams have chopped and changed, so some drop locations looking a little lighter on those early fights than others. You know, they sit on the desk a couple of names they're looking out for. Poro now the kind of lobby's adjusted around a little more itself. Anyone standing out to you now who's
LG Divine مستحق يتأهل والله. LG Divine مستحق والله صراحة.
It's still got to be DA for me.
ريد مين برأيك أهم 3 لاعب بالبطولة بكل النواحي؟ أهم 3 لاعب بالبطولة حاليا تيجلتون أو مايم من فريق تيجلتون. مايم بدع كلش قوي هو شرمزي. وهذا الشانديان من فريق التي اس جي هم بدع. و انونكس من جنجي على سوالف السواها بالفريق شيء اسطوري صراحه. يعني انونكس غير اذا يطلع من جنجي يتفلش الفريق والله ما يصعد اي بطوله بعد. ماكو لاعب يجي مثله صراحه. الدي اي ويا جي اكس شباب.
Here we go. DA, I mean, you got almost No, I don't feel for them yet. I mean, they definitely kind of made their bed at 4 a.m., right? But this
زو حلوة.
Now it does look like it's a share kind of watered down ruins drop for the other side.
DA
will traditionally go to Rozok, and the circle has come in. So kind of your southern fields being the more central point. Nothing too wild about this just yet. DA do get their drop.
انتم من تتوقعون يتأهل شباب؟ والله صراحة من تتوقعون يتأهل بهذا الجيم؟ من تتوقعون يتأهل؟ انا اتوقع دي حيلوت حيروح على الحفر الاثنين الانفاق الاثنين هناك يلعبون شلون بليز ضمون السيارات مالتهم هناك. اي فريق فيوري همينه ما يستاهل بصراحه يعني مو ما يستاهل وانه هو تاهل بس انه مو ذاك الفريق يعني قوي كلش.
Fortunately for them, Gek's gonna stay away and just hang out over in that Watertown area. The circle has popped, and it looks. This is, I mean, everybody should be happy with this one. Don't have to worry about military base. Don't have to worry about any of that, really. It's gonna be a nice, normal, just a west of Pachinki kind of circle.
Yeah, and of course on the left there you can see the survival status that is just showing how many games played. So that's the part that surprises us, is that towards the top, some of the most games played are still those Korean teams. So you'll imagine that, you know, the win's got to be on the horizon.
كل الناس
beyond that, of course, the later joining EU.
بس اتوقع دي صعبة عليهم والله. انا اتوقع بردت حيموتون ترى.
Just joining us now. So, you know, as I said, it feels inevitable that it has to be another Korean team to join them soon. But you know, those rotations, they've been catching each other on them. It's been very unfortunate for the Korean fans watching it happen. But, you know, for the sake of it, Paper Thin, we were having a little chat, or, you know, a little bit of interview. He said, right, Down One Gaming, this is the time, right? This is it. He's a big fan. He's backing them here wholeheartedly, if anything. He said, look, I know this game inside out. It's their time to shine. That's almost verbatim to what he said. I'm kidding. But he is backing them. He needs to see some of the Korean teams out there. The man knows the region well, so hopefully for him, gets, a little bit more of them. But at this point, one has made it through, that being obviously Gen G. Now we have a little look at towards T1, one of the other teams that we kind of mentioned who are consistently getting towards, you know, a little bit of a dangerous spot. They again have been grinding away. We are seeing the early movers and shakers getting towards position. Fair enough.
Yeah, take a few little danger shots there. Make sure everybody knows that he's there. As boy, he really said Dom Juan was going to be the one, huh?
100%.
We might need a wellness check on Clinton after this.
I think just generally, but maybe after this we will have to. Yeah. We'll see how it goes for him. Hopefully.
ما اعرف هسه شوف
all of that jazz.
هسه شوف الزون الاول هي الزون الاول تحدد خلي 10 دقائق تمر. روث تواجه ويا اي خرابه ان هذول افريكا فيكس والله حرام.
Wow.
والله خطير.
Right into prison, huh? Cool.
جدي لوت هنا.
Goes well.
That's one way to throw your life away, I guess. EJ.
أول لاعب مات.
Go right into Zenith territory.
فايز تحرك.
Not gonna pay. Well, stay alive a little any longer. FaZe, interestingly enough, Buriram looting around that Milta power area. So FaZe finding into that, sliding over into Milta. And one thing I have been impressed about, in particular from the European team, most of the European teams, is the ability and not just the ability, but the what's the word I'm looking for? They don't mind going to different drop spots. It doesn't seem outside of DA, obviously the notable exception, but Liquid. I mean, I remember last year even, you know, Liquid or the year before, Liquid in Cloud9 fighting over Pachinki for almost an entire tournament because both of them just refused to leave. Well, you know, now Liquid kind of just saying we're fine, we can go anywhere. We'll put in the work, we'll put in the practice, we'll try to, you know, set ourselves up to where we're ready for anything. And it seems like FaZe is kind of doing the same thing.
I'm with you, and honestly, I think it's a little bit of experience coming in. Keep in mind, a lot of these rosters have been in this for a long time. I'd say Ents are quite good.
يمكن تدي بوشيكي كل الاحتمالات موجودة.
happily play the late game coming
يمكن
in.
تدي ما تعرف.
But you're right.
لو تدي هالجهة هاي لو هالجهة هاي
has certainly
يعني هنا صعب.
They can actually lean into it a little bit.
هاي منطقة نص صعبة
such a volatile lobby, like we're having teams coming in and out and new drop spots.
توقع لو على الجسر لو على تيامبا كوري لو على بوشيكي.
It does make some, you know, part of sense to that. Beyond that, though, we are seeing kind of down one in prime position, I'd say, at least on.
بعد حظ الزون هاي حظ.
It's not really a step further to the north of this, considering it will eventually move away from the water. It just depends as to when. But beyond that, this is mostly that kind of portion. If you imagine the land kind of divided by roads. It kind of leads off of Quarry, kind of up towards Pachinki. That whole sweep of land should be
يا
the
اخي
main
السنتر
kind of
هو
point of call for
اللي
these teams if they can get it for free.
It's outside of EJ's unfortunate experience. Everybody else seems to be avoiding fire for the most part, or any serious fire really. We see Kickstart. You know, early on in the day, talking about Zenith Frost was kind of keying in on Shinboy
صعبة
and
صعبة حيل.
as
يمكن ياخذ
being
بوشيكي ما
guys
اعرف.
that he would love to see step up from Zenith.
لو حياخذ
For me,
يكفر
it's gotta
يوقف
be
يكفر.
Kickstart, man. Punich and Shinboy, I did not put any expectations
زينث
on
جو
them
الامريكان
whatsoever,
اخذوا
just
البوشيكي.
because, look,
الامريكان هذا اخر فريق
maybe it's
امريكي.
because I'm a boomer and I'm old.
ثلاثة امريكان
But
تأهلوا.
those guys are they're so young, and this is like one of their first big going overseas tournaments, and I wasn't really, you know, anything that they were able to do I was going to think was going to be great, because this is such a new big experience for those guys, and I think they've adapted and been handling it fantastically. But Kickstart, I was really kind of looking at as to be the guy for Zenith, the one that they kind of lean on, and he's done that, fulfilled that role so well in 2020, and so far during this tournament, it's his wheels have just been spinning right now.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good point. For some of these players, this is obviously a big competition to come into. Now, you'll see the experienced heads keeping their cool, still playing their game style, but some of the newer additions, it is hard to adapt so
والله ما اعرف شباب الزون
quickly
وين.
on the fly.
ها بعد شو كتلوه هيك
Up,
كتلوه.
and here you're going to see that kind of
خطية.
weird pull up from the Freaks players. EJ
جاي
there,
ناس
just
لسه ابن
easy
المطي.
between Roth and Shinboy. No worries with that. And kind of an interesting choice to go into prison at that point. Clearly not scouting it early enough to see that the team was already there. So a little bit weird, a little bit of a question mark by that, but we move on. And all the teams moving on towards their drop spots, and of course we wait for that circle shift, that bigger update to see where we kind of get put towards. At this point, it's actually a pretty open circle. With so much of the northern, territory in this, it's not too much of a big bother. I'm not particularly worried for too many of these teams. They should be fine, unless hard shifts happen. I mean, if this, slams over towards Quarry, or if it goes, all the way up towards School, if it, God forbid, goes towards the Millie Island. I mean, there's a chance in weird and wonderful, wacky ways that it could happen. But for now, you shouldn't see teams lose if they're being considered.
بعد 40 ثانية تنتهي الزون. شوف الزون وين.
Freaks look like they've been a little lost to find a home here.
They sure are.
Sound a bit Australian then. Don't know what happened with my accent, but they haven't found quite like a place to be at the present. So it looks like they're going to go towards a freak. Yeah, they're kind of pulling towards that hill that overlooks Pachinki to the very far
فيز
south.
ماتوا FaZe aren't far
from
from
this. I'm
Corey.
seeing Fuzzface and 8C, I think, over towards that side, and Uber as well. So
بس يتواجه
yeah,
ميت.
Uber's going to call out, hey, we've got some company here, boys.
بس
You better
يبدي
get ready
يلعبوها
for this.
FaZe.
He's gonna call over 8C and see if they can maybe get a two people looking down range
نزون
up at
بوشيكي.
the same time before.
بالنص صارت عليك هي بس اتوقع حتنجر على بوشيكي اتوقع ما
A
اعرف.
little bit of info, and well, wouldn't you know, they're just gonna hop right back into their vehicles and get on the move once again. A COD.
رجعون
Run of
كلهم
the
حيرجعون.
damage on that one. New circle.
دي هاخذ
pop, and
بوشيكي
it
ذول
does go to the
حيعبرون.
main
كم
line
ينعج
and
السر.
centering up right on
كم
Don
ينعج
Juan,
السر.
just south of Pachinki, and this was
GG.
what I was worried about. Petrichor Road looked like they were setting up for a nice little bridge camp here. Is it going to pay off? Yes, it will. They're going to find Naraja. They're going to find Godmeow. Can they get another one? Yes,
سووا
they
درايف باي على
can.
واحد بس.
Canaxi, the last
كوكسي
one
اتوقع حيفنش
for
يب.
Bure Ram.
خسروا بس لاعب واحد بس قلت له ثلاثة.
It just seems like it's a matter of time here.
GG.
Yeah, that I'm.
One HP صار.
It's yeah, they've got him pinned here. There's very little recovery, and honestly,
Nice
Burram's
oh,
rotation
there's
there
one
being
more
big
on
for them. And yeah, big
there's
shots
one more on
coming
the
out.
car.
But on the other side, AAA.
What minute
on the cliff? Just
Yo, DA, no
delivering that with a smile, but DA is in all kinds of trouble now.
يا DA خلاص DA اثنين بقوا بس.
finding the first couple of kills.
DA ها فجأة نفس سماش.
God, the M249
خلاص
still
بس كان مركب
intimidating
عايش.
around the corner with that beefy thing. And you can see DA not loving their new neighbors. This is not how they wanted this one to go.
GG حبيبي DA. قلت له بلس كيس.
There you go. 15th out.
GG.
That was
DA مالت شباب.
very unfortunate. That's a weird compound.
متى راح
Want to
يجي؟
crash.
مكان
really
بروني.
aggressive. Trying to crash.
مو
I mean,
مكان
this is
بروني
the
مكان
compound
فايز.
that's just to the west of Pachinki. I mean, usually you see teams holding that down.
الفريق البرازيلي ميت يا جماعة
pretty
سباركل
hard.
راح يجون.
And I guess the Not sure what the idea was there, but they don't get away with it. They don't get away with it, and maybe they were thinking that it would be somebody else. I don't know. I have no idea. But either way, this is now one less opportunity that DA has to try to make it into this weekly finals. As we check in with Damwon, as we said, they were.
قلت لك الدي ام يتي حيموتوا بالروتيت. قلت لك لو ما قلت لك والله قلت لك راح يموتوا بالروتيت. زين يعني هم ماتوا بكومباوند ما ماتوا بالروتيت اصلا. ايه ميتين مكانهم ناحية مكانهم صعب. نزلوا روشوك والزوم بعيدة كلش صعبة دخلت.
Let's do it. There you go. Here's a code.
يعني وين تروح؟ بس بعد الفرق وين تروح؟ بس وين تروح؟
Your voting coupon in for this one. Remember, this will be the last day of getting.
وبالمواجهات الاسيوية مين جرى؟
And then when we get to the weekend, it'll be all EP. You get 1,000 per coupon. So make sure you keep your eyeballs watching. Get all your presents. Your gifties. Everybody loves free stuff, right?
I mean, look, what can't Poro do? Is it car salesman? Is it the coupon king?
Oh God, you saw that.
Everyone saw that, and if they didn't, look it up. Beyond that, though, again, the circle. Apart from a freaks who are like on the struggle bus here, it should be okay for most teams. A little unfortunate. I feel like Buram and DA might be losing out on some of that steam we saw them have in the past couple of days. I mean, the amount that they've been working through, they've been, the ups and downs, highs and lows have been pretty brutal for them. But let's have a look towards the circle. Update coming in now. Let's see where the next will be. Okay, a bit more of an eastern lean to this.
راح مكان ما حد توقع حتى انا متوقع.
FaZe probably quite happy, but I want to see if they try and maybe not necessarily crash something, but take a compound or try and, I guess, solidify where they are. Because keep in mind, on that western side, that's a lot of open fields. There actually isn't as much playable area now. This is probably going to lose maybe one or two teams here, maybe even more.
واتوقع يصير درايف باي حاليا. ثلاث فرق صينية بعض.
Sure, I think if I'm FaZe, I'm not sure how much scouting they were doing on AAA, but you can see already some action going on here. Is Damwon going to be pulling right by Afrika, who's pulling right by AAA, who's pulling right by T1. A lot of teams making their way past each other in these fields. Leaning out, taking the shots.
Aqua 5 drive by.
Just yet Aqua 5 going to try to let Song Young know what he's going to do.
Aqua
5 has been an absolute for T1 this tournament so far. Now if they can just manage to get to a late game yet again, as Damwon has once again lost too early. It's this mid-game rotations, man. Absolutely devastating.
Someone call Papers in, make sure
شكو فريق قلت حيتأهل وات.
Good for his boys. T1
شكو فريق قلت حيتأهل وات.
is pretty brutal, and the remnants are on the run. Kale's going to get out of there to try and snake away.
حد جاي أصل لعب تيامبا يتأهل. أصل لعب.
This is not
أصل
fair
لعب
for the
تيامبا.
Korean
أصل
teams.
لعب.
They just keep clashing over and over.
It seems like they're drawn to each other magnetically almost. Meanwhile, Ents, speaking of magnetically drawn together, teams, going to run into FaZe because you Europeans can't resist fighting each other early on. It seems like you always see some scrapping going on at these international competitions. Fortunately, Rustamar going to see the signs.
بس كايل بس بقى كايل عايش.
شافوه. Really open up on him, but now might be the time. Uba take a few shots over there. No downs just yet. The smokes are coming out for Ents.
Yeah, Ents have slowly arrived into a pretty good spot, honestly, considering they were way out of the circle for so long. They've now come in and taken a good position. Now, FaZe do have line of sight on this, of course. They'll be able to kind of pop shots down range with the SLR 6 times on top for Uba. Really nice for him. So again, these two do seem to find each other a couple of times now. Similar rotation theories and paths potentially, just kind of understanding where they want to be. But both these sides aren't within, they're not danger close to each other. They're still at somewhat of a distance. But this does mean that FaZe can't progress if they wanted to head that way.
Fortunately for them, it looks like they've secured a spot on the roadside there. They've left Gustav in the double warehouses while we patiently wait for this next circle to see where it's going to go. I have a pretty good idea. I don't think we'll see any hard shifts.
تيامبا هيلعبها على الجبل هذا. على الجبل هيك حيلعبها.
Center right on up and
يب هيك حيلعبها. شوفوا هيك حيلعبها تيامبا.
Yep.
فهذا أحسن مكان بالنسبة لهم. إن يكونوا اليابانيين ياخذون مكانهم. بس سيارات يرادلهم طبعا. اذا ما عندهم سيارات مشكله.
Again, keep in mind how much
او
of this
يتقدمون
area
بالسيارات
is
على الزون،
open.
يعني يتقدمون
Now,
بالسيارات
yes, you can
ياخذون
build a bit of cover with
الحفره اللي هنا.
vehicles and what have you, and there's bits and pieces around.
اللي ورا
The
الجبل
kind
هذا
of X on the
الحفرة.
map where the circle centers up is pretty much all open. It's very little playable space, so this is going to be the culling, if anything, in this round. So already going to have to look towards the extremities because they'll be the first to be punished.
الفريق الياباني
At this
ميت.
point, you are seeing
أتوقع
LG
ميت.
Divine finding a little bit of work towards detonation, but
صعبة
again,
برا
they've
الزون
got a bit of
وصعبة
time
عليهم.
limit. Do they want to stick around on this fight? Do they
سيارة
want to look
واحدة.
further in, or will they just simply claim this? Zenith as well will have to crest that hill against E36. Tiamba, a name I haven't had to say too much today. They haven't been in the spotlight too much. Gonna have to shuffle across the field, which is very open. So someone like AAA is
easy
pretty
bush.
happy here. And
Easy bush على
you can see FaZe already on the move for this because they have to be. Diggory very alone here. Fuzzface taking all the attention, all the flack.
يبنى واحد ما
Tries to
يدري
build up the
بي
hill, but FaZe are somewhat
Diggory
in
ما
the
يدري
open
بي
now.
Yeah, Fuzzface a little
كل
bit
headshot.
separated. Gustav
طيروا
can
الهلمت
come up
مالته.
here and provide Uba with a little bit of support, but look how
ايش
low they
حيكون لهم
already are
فيس
just off of
ايش
that
يسوي
one
فيس؟
push.
I'm gonna be
يا محمد جابوا من
Belter.
بعيد.
And honestly, I really wish FaZe used those vehicles to go down to the cliffside. Now,
بس
obviously,
FaZe
it's not
يجي.
ideal, but I feel it's better than this one.
بس FaZe
potentially for
حبيبي
them, and
أكل
it's
headshot.
being proven in front of them. Diggory's gonna find Fuzzface
بلعوا.
easily. He was just
حتى
moving
FaZe
up in the
بلع.
vehicle, and Ents have got the wrap on this. FaZe
اثنين من عندهم نوك.
looking flustered, a little untogether on this. Look at the amount of smokes they've had to invest to just stay alive.
اوه
at this
الياباني
point.
قلت له LG Divine.
I'm not saying that South fight would have been easier necessarily. I just think it was a slightly more viable fight, but they picked their poison, and so far it's not
After
looking so
لهم
good.
منه
Beyond that, though, T1 a little bit of an exchange here themselves.
ضربة برجله.
That roadside that leads out of the
نيد
team
واحدة على
south.
فيس تشيله
Freaky
كلهم.
gonna send this all day long. See if it
حضر
does
النيد
find
بيده
it
هو
on the
طبعا.
other side.
ياباني قلت لهم.
You see Divine going down. Fuzzface has
Fuzzface
been flushed
mods.
out as well. It's going to provide a little bit of support for Diggory on that push. They are trying to get the wrap onto FaZe. They've just got him absolutely pinned here. And being very, very cautious with how they want to push this. They know exactly who it is. You can tell.
FaZe إذا ما
They
فاز بهذا
just-
الفايت
they don't
مستحيل
wanna
يقهر.
just hard crash
مستحيل.
into it. They would love to get a knock first, but
إذا مو
here's
فاز
where
بهذا
a
الفايت.
lot of the action
يا
is
اثنين
going
نوك
on this
FaZe.
western side. There it is.
سكويك
the
حط لهم نيد
grenade.
بالحضن.
Oh, you knew it was only a matter
بقى
of
بس جو
time.
ستاف جي جي حبيبي. جي FaZe.
Very disappointing.
بلعوا FaZe.
Yeah, very, very disappointing. But back to the hill though.
تيامبا
Zenith
شوف
on the
تيامبا
front now, even
شوف ايش قلت لك
passive
قلت لك
in
باوع
the
راح يصعد هنا.
And that
هم
goes
كانوا ما
well
قلت
with
لك
Zenith
حيصعد لنا
Nature
حيلعب برا
not
الياباني.
playing well for
تشوف
them right now.
مكانه
Tiamba
اسطوري
slowly
تيامبا
creeping
مكانه
up the hill as
اسطوري.
well. You're gonna
هسه
see
راح
them
يسيطر على
holding the
الخريطه
other
كلها.
side, a little bit of
بس
a
الزوم
more
وياهم.
southern roll on the hillside. Zenith
زوم
still
وياهم
wanna clear
تيامبا.
this
شو راح
fight out
يسوون
as quick
معرف.
as they can. So their attention could potentially be drawn to the next fight in tow. Now,
مات
it's going to
المفروض.
continue forward in the east, now garnering some more attention. But
جوم
you're now seeing
تيامبا.
Tiamba make their
حلوة.
stand. Great shot for Lorena there. That was a lovely little spray towards Roth.
Trade going on between the two. Up 3 here. They still have to worry about Pure Boy, but I think the bigger problem for Zenith right now is going to be Tiamba. Tiamba, as you said, they do get the res. They're just kind of working this ridge line, not being overly aggressive, and they might actually allow Zenith to get both of these reses off before pushing. This is not the Tiamba that we've gotten used to seeing in the past that are just super hyper aggressive, realizing when they have the advantage and pushing onto it when they
هذا حيأذيهم الياباني. حيأذيهم حيل.
flushed out.
حيرجعون ياخذون السيارات. حيرجعون ياخذون السيارات.
As Tiamba just pulls away from the fight.
اوه تي 1 نزل نوك. الثاني نزل نوك خلاص. زينث ماتوا. زينث ماتوا. تي 1. هسه باع شوف. تيامبا حيطلعون حيتحركون. مستحيل
And funny enough, Pgi still alive. He's just shifted over in a vehicle somehow. Tiamba
لازم
sticking on the
يعبرون
south
من
side of the
تي
hill.
1. لازم يعبرون من تي 1 لازم.
See if they spot anyone out trying to move in. You see Zenith trying to maybe get Shimboy and Roth deciding to see if he can get back up. Smoke invested for it, but yeah, there's a problem behind that car. Pure Boy does have a bolt. So could be a shot come out. We'll keep our eyes on the feed for that in case it comes in. But for now, a bit of a send on the vehicle.
اوه
Moving up
بيرو
to
جو
that
يم
bottom of
تي
the hill.
1.
Freak of Freaks being found as
بيرو
well.
جو يم تي 1 حلوه
Day
تيامبا
trade getting
يدرسون.
involved and staying strong in the northeast here. I've got to say, AAA
اسمه
are the
يدمر.
build for me that
راح
I'm
هناك
looking
دقني
forward
يشتعل
to.
جي اكس ودي
They're
تريد.
quietly in the compound, and it's the
بس واحد
safest
بقى
one
عايش
so far.
من دي تريد.
This is only
طلقة
what, the
واحدة
second,
من
third
كذي
game
إبراهيم.
for AAA, and they once again have great
اه
position.
بتشرد ماتوا.
Great
هذول اللي
compound.
بشوف
We'll see if
السيارة
they can
كلهم تي 1.
make it to the late game I imagine the circle's probably going to pull away from this. It usually does.
هو T1 تيامبا هسه T1 تيامبا.
Might go over to this.
ثلاثة مسيطرين بصراحة.
Hanging out in.
لحد الآن مسيطرين.
T1 looking fantastic up until this point.
يقدر
But now
يقتل كايل.
Zenith will get eliminated by.
انسى مني والله يستاهل
بصراحة. تعب.
همين أخذ الثاني.
Pure Boy.
Pure Boy مات. اوكي.
There you go. Dang Shay gonna spot him.
بقى من عندك تيامبا وتي1. حلوة تيامبا. حلوة تيامبا.
Pushing from the south side.
حلوة تيامبا. قدم دريتري كتلو GX.
Day Trade gaming with a quick wipe towards the opponents. They're going to contain that territory in the south, but
تيامبا تقدموا this
northern side now.
اكو 5 هناك يدرون بيه.
Until the pressure started to mount. Now they're picking away.
3 بنيت.
shots down range, but
بس مينكسي هذا مينكسي دي كفر خوش كفر
عليه.
يعني ماسك عليهم انقل حلوه. هم بالزون حلو هم بالزون. حج هذا جبت تيامبا المفروض.
Now Triple do need to leave the building, and that might open up towards a freak of freaks. They can now watch that cross from that Harry Potter tower. Could be a problem. Day Trade will also need to consider their cross. Ents in a fine position here.
تيامبا وراهم فريق.
تيامبا وراهم فريق. Find the time to
Day Trade المفروض مينكسي يكفرهم.
This could be an interesting kind of conundrum for these three teams.
Day Trade حرام.
This is looking like it's setting up
for
ends here.
T1.
Third party onto this T1 Tiamba fight. You can't. You don't really have to worry about T1.
هسه إذا ساعدوا تيامبا هسه يقدرون يساعدوا تيامبا لأن أقوى جوا. فأتوقع يقدرون يساعدون.
Yep. Most likely just be able to keep taking the shots.
بس Day Trade شلبوا بتيامبا.
Tiamba gonna have to worry about Day Trade as well. Now Day Trade.
بس بعد شو بدي يقاومون شو بسموك بدي يقاومون.
It looks like they're trying.
يشوفون سموك على نفسهم يقاومون. مكانهم بالزون. Day Trade برا الزون.
This is looking like a spot that they would love to crash into.
وإنزل يضربون على التي1. آخر 6 فرق شباب آخر 6 فرق.
Let's see if it's in the vehicles. You might be bang on about this. Let's see where they.
تيامبا فرصتهم قوية كلش. موقفهم صعب بس فرصتهم قوية حيل.
Navigate past that open space that's going to be such a problem if they went on foot. But send up the car and see how far you can get. AAA of their own.
إيه تعال تقرب إيه تقرب إيه.
Freaks are the bigger problem for them right on the forefront. So at this point now more.
عشان كلات تي1 عشان كلات. زاربين على السيرفر.
Love to see Ents maybe send 2 down to kind of keep an eye on AAA, and it looks like Rustamar is going to be serving that purpose here. Just kind of keep an eye and see if they can maybe take out a few of those.
بس أنا أقول لك يجيبوها أتوقع يجيبوها.
Once again in that.
حلوة النيد حلوة النيد شالهم كلهم. شالهم كلهم بالنيد. هذا ميكسي. ثلاثتهم شالهم بالنيد.
Every last one of them.
No worries. Okay, that threat in the south gone. Guys, let's focus on T1 again. We're all good. I've got it. I've got it. I had my nade. It's all fine. And this was the other fight. Building in the background. AAA had to leave this compound.
حجاني الموسكلز مصوت تيامبا موسكلز مصوت تيامبا موسكلز والله عمي بتكلم لك ما ينجرعون بالقرى. مو فريق مجرمين بالقرى ماكو شوي. هم السكتر عندك الله اتوقع بالجيم. وكل جيم دائما يجيبون اكثر عندك الله.
If they can clear past this without suffering casualties,
هسه افريكا فريكس وهذول وانس اتوقع حيدخل عليه الثيرد بارتي.
As being towards the forefront of it, maybe Tiamba as well.
يب انس حيدخل عليه
T1 is
الثيرد
starting
بارتي.
to wane under the pressure.
انس يلعبها بريحية.
Keep a bit of an eye on this though. He doesn't want to let
يلعبها على
that
البارد.
situation unravel without him noticing it.
I'm kind of
there's a واحد من T1
devote a little bit more attention down to this, take advantage of AAA while they're in the middle of this push. I mean, they're keeping eyes on Tiamba, keeping eyes on T1, but neither of those teams are a really legitimate threat onto pushing you right now. Meanwhile, AAA, if they can finish off a Freaka here, they're going to be a big problem. As Akkad's going to go down. Good
هذول جديد صار هذا ثاني جيم منهم.
To crash onto this, it's down to
ثاني جيم بس شو اسمه. ثالث جيم لا تيامبا واحد منهم نوك حرام هذا يشون لا حرام تفنش.
Pretty far away. Now the update going to come through pretty soon on this, and you can see the circle is going to put Tiamba in a bad position. They're going to have to move towards T1. Tixu is still keeping track on this. That SLR sitting pretty true for him, and Hikari is going to be a problem for AAA because Hikari knows he's done for. He probably can't win this game. But can he maybe avenge his fallen teammates by making it tricky for AAA to leave? Absolutely. And if they don't have a need to clear him out, that's a problem. Tixu gets to bide more time over here. Not seeing too many smokes on Tixu though. That could come back in the late game to be an issue.
حلو لو رينا نزل واحد نوك بقى واحد بس الاكوا فايت بس بقى.
Waste their time. 2021
معود حول على ذاك الفايت يناسب وقات يا معود حول على ذاك الفايت.
Footsteps all around.
سبكتيت فد ابن.
Maybe try to make it at least a little bit confusing for AAA as they start trying to make their way in. It looks like Tiamba, the rest M200 are
بس يستعجل M200 بس
be
يستعجل
able to push onto this fight.
بس يستعجل بس يستعجل بس يستعجل.
Big damage on the M200. Gets the knock. And here comes Mings. Can't do anything. Lorena from the top side as well, but Aqua 5 proving to be a huge pain in the butt. Can Ents come over here? Well, they'll get rid of Aqua 5. Can they capitalize and get rid of the rest of Tiamba as well?
Okay, we are down to 3 teams. AAA, brand new to the lobby almost. Ents a little more experienced, but not by much. And then Tiamba, who've been trying to work their way through, but been halted by T1 for so long. As you can see, they only have 2 players alive. Now, Ents hold the high ground. AAA, lower ground, trickier to work with, harder to bring into practice. We don't know much about these guys in the late game, really. This is the first time we really get to see what they can do. Ents have been in plenty of fights, might have used some of that utility on the way, but Tiamba wrapping on the low ground, this could force them towards AAA. You can see Tixu now joined by Rustamar, keeping eyes on AAA, the unknown quantity in this final
AAA, definitely a new name.
سكويكي دي يفتر عليهم
about before, but this roster is very, very experienced.
إذا بشوا من جهة تيامبا فاعتبر الجيم خلصان من جهة.
They won PCS1
تيامبا بالزون. أحب شعلجة
I mean, they were just dominant. And then they took off for a little while. After they got signed by Attack All Around, they ended up playing in a different game for a while. Now they've come back, and they look like they have not lost a step, as they are making the most out of their limited opportunities here.
I will say though, just having a quick look through that gear there, it wasn't looking pretty. I'm seeing level 1 vest, no vest, broken vest, no smokes. So AAA, it's gun at the side and the skill they have.
طبعا ذول الاي اذا تأهلوا غير يعني يصير قطال. لانه هذول ثالث جيم لهم هذا، ثاني جيم لهم هذا، ثاني جيم لهم. استوهم صعدوا. من 15 مباراة 14 مباراة استوهم صعدوا.
ثاني جيم لهم هذا. Possible news for Ents here.
طبوا على تيامبا.
As they can just keep
ضربوهم
They've got the dot. I mean, you see the new circle. I mean, they can afford to just sit here and.
ما عنده بس 4 فيرست ايد. وقع نيت.
For Ents to overheat this or try to push into this to try to get these kills, you don't need them. You just need the win. And right now, Tiamba wrapping into AAA, they're going to find the knocks with the grenades regardless here. Now they just need to wait for Tiamba to maybe do a little bit of the hard work.
But again, we saw it last time. The Snake, you always want to be the last team to the party. Turn up looking cool. You don't want to be the first one in. That's not it. So Tiamba probably going to wait this out as long as they can, force the fight to happen elsewhere. Again, still have a little bit of that kind of western side to play with. They still have that side of the hill. Once they clear that out and they see actually no one's here, that's a good little wrap position. And this plateau, of course, is taken by AAA. So again, they'll be holding this one through. And when the circle updates, it will be slap bang in the center here. Tackle around, trying to build themselves some cover as they go.
It's such a weird position for Ents to be in.
ما
right
عنده خوذة ميمسي ما عنده.
How aggressive is too aggressive to go here? You want to obviously try to clear them out, but you know, if you peek over at the wrong time or you get that one player gets knocked, all of a sudden now you're in that disadvantaged position, and Ents does not want to take that risk. There's no reason for them to, but the longer they wait, the longer it's going to be where they're going to eventually have to kind of come over here and get involved. It's just picking the perfect time to strike here.
Patience. Lorena has already shown some really big individual play through this tournament as well. Quite a bit of firepower beside them. And this is going to be that standoff, very similar to what we saw in the last Erangel in a very different circle. It's going to be that forced fight towards the end, and Ents probably kicking themselves with how that went down after the battle with DA and
إذا تواجهوا ويا تيامبا لا يحفزون.
Just fresh in the minds that they don't want to go too early on this now.
ما عنده خوذة.
They still have a few flashbangs, a few smokes left to work with. They're the ones in control right now. They've got control over the center of the circle. They can see everything. But the problem is
سموكات حلو فتحوا نفسهم. هسه ذولا انسى حيرجعون على ذولاك اتوقع. حيكبرون اثنين تقري ما يرحم.
Eventually they are going to have to deal with, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Really, they've got to have that game against Oath still in mind. And they would love to take care of these two from Tiamba as quickly and efficiently
هسه
as
هذول لازم
possible
تقدمون
so
عليه
they can then
لازم.
turn all of their attention towards AAA, who for
حلهم
their
الوحيد
part
تيامبا
are
يفوزون
taking
يتقدمون
their
عليه.
time,
شعلوا
being
خلاص
patient with it
سكويكي
as
قلت
they
لكم
can
سكويكي
too.
حيلعب
Here you go,
الجيم.
squeaking in a final arena. That's going to be the
قلت
one to
سكويكي
open it up.
حيفنش
Can it
الجيم.
fit Mings as well? Ooh, they
have a
didn't
look.
spot him.
No, he's super on the low ground here. If he when he has
لازم
to
يقوم
start
لازم
moving
يقوم
up,
لازم
though,
يقف.
he'll be visible to
عمو
AAA.
بزون.
That's where it gets scary on the other side, though. You can see this line dividing the two isn't much, and there they go.
اه
They're
فريش
down
شو
to
اسمه
the last
اي وقع
team.
بعض وقع بعض هسه
Oh,
فرصتين
big one coming in
فرصته
from
فرصته
Pgi.
فرصته
Squeaky gets
اسنوك
pushed.
اسنوك
James
ثلاثة
on the
نوك
other side spraying in. Into trouble. The low ground.
ايش ثلاثة نوك
Now Diggory dies. And oh my word, it's
فقط ثياب واحد ثياب واحد
scenario like this.
لو رينا مات تيامبا ماتوا حرام تيامبا ماتوا سكويك 1v1
One more to go.
ها جابوه تأهلوا والله تأهلوا اي
Ends devastated again
No.
by the very end.
لك ثاني محاولة لهم ذولا ثاني
They barely
محاولة
played a game. They come in, they look
خرب
calm, they
إنه.
look cool, and they go out with a victory and can look toward the weekend.
Can you believe it? AAA. 2 games played.
جيمين
and they
جيمين
make it in.
تأهلوا خرب إنه.
What an incredible run. AAA so patient there at the end. And I mean, I don't know what you could have done differently. As Ants, every team played that as well as they could to the situation that would.
حبيبي شاكر شكرا قلبي على 5
Unfortunately for Ants, Jayers with an amazing back-to-back knock on the spray
هذول
to
اتاك اول
open
راوند
things up, and it just immediately put Ents behind the 8
بس
ball.
والله ابطال
What a
بالقران ابطال
fantastic individual
هاي جيمين
play
جاب
there
رانك
from
2
AAA.
جيمين ظلوا للاخير تدري
But ends.
هم هاي اول جيمين لهم تأهلوا
Difficulties
Just devastating.
around.
والله وحوش
Yeah, it's going to be frustrating for them. And
بالقرآن
AAA, what
وحوش.
a way to come in, right? They literally just turn up, play like 2 games, they're like, job done, we're off. Thankfully,
أجي
they're
بعد
impacted by
جيمين.
the hours, so they're good.
بعد جيمين نار
They're
شباب
fine.
اشتعلت
They can lock
البطولة
themselves
والله
in.
اخذوه من
And
عندي اشتعلت
obviously, let's talk
البطولة
about themselves.
راح يصير بالنعل
If
راح
anything,
يصير
again,
شنو
credit to
استهتار
them to get
للاخير
how far out they were.
راح
They
يصير
had that
سيف
fight against
اذا
Face,
اذا
they did
السيف
really well,
اذا
but
باع
that
الفرق
doesn't matter.
اللي
This is
حتبوش
what
راح
wins.
تبوش من
And
البداية
AAA had
واللي
the
حتلعب
advantage
سيف راح
there.
تلعب
They
سيف
managed to
افضل
hold
للاخير
down on that south
دي
coast.
اي وغيرها
Red
الدنيا
Fire
حتحترق
took, I think, 2
الدنيا
players of the
حتشتعل
Freaks down quite easily.
اخر جيمين بعد
Moved on
شباب اخر
forward.
جيمين
Very comfy stuff.
وبس
for them.
فريقين بعد يتأهلن بس فريقين والباقي خلاص الباقي يتفرج من الفندق 16 فريق حيتفرج من الفندق
I gotta be honest, like I was saying it while we were watching it.
اخر فريقين شباب اخر فريقين اخر فريقين
Devoted at least even just one more player.
كان بصم
to go
14
over
جيم
there
حرام
and
ما
keep
تأهلوا
an eye on that
حرام
Africa freak
هذا مينجزي
AAA fight.
زرابها بالاخير مبش على اكوا 5
Unfortunately, it didn't end up going that way. AAA gets their 4 to the top, and I mean, just phenomenal individual mechanical play. Let's hear what they have to say
جد
about that
الضلع
match.
كان اسمع صوت الضلع شباب خلي علي صوت الترجم انا احب اسمع صوت الشباب بس علي صوت عم اسمع صوت مع الصوت مع الصوت مع الصوت لك بلبل
You guys really overcame their rank
باور باور
decisions
اسمع
to rival
التقاسيم
things, and you
تقاسيم
finally made
حب
it to
الناعم
the
حب
finals. How
الناعم
does it
احنا
feel?
حب الكوري الكوري يكون ناعم شباب
ก็เล่นได้ดีแล้วก็ได้กินไก่ด้วยรู้สึกยังไงคะ
ก็รู้สึกตื่นเต้นครับ
Fluss, 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 Fluss in die Koma. Fluss, 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 Fluss in die Koma. Fluss.
You guys really completely took on the new rules that were applied to this tournament. How did you guys overcome that so quickly?
حبيبي شاكر شكرا قلبي على $20 شكرا على الدعم يا غالي ترفع دعم للبث يستاهلون المتابعين حبيبي شاكر شكرا قلبي على الدعم يا غالي وشباب هاي $20 زيادة جدي دعم من شاكر على مود دعم البث حبايب نتمنى اشتراككم شباب دعمكم بالمشاركات همتكم الاسطورية $30 مركز اول شباب اكثر واحد يشارك البث وثاني اكثر واحد $10 حبايبنا والدعم موجود قدامكم تشوفون الشباب خير من الله الحمد لله والشكر سعيد مهيري من الامارات $100 للبث المباشر 50 صرفناها و50 بقد وعندنا اخونا شاكر لحد الان تبرع ب$40 حبايبنا للبث المباشر $30 شباب راح نوزعها هسه العفو تبرع $50 $30 حنوزعها هسه و$20 شباب على البث القادم ويا مال سعيد المهيري ان شاء الله راح نوزعها على البث المباشر حبايب جوائز كروت ببجي موبايل او كروت ستيم او باي بال حسب اختياركم طبعا انتم الفائزين بالمشاركات حبايبنا. وباقي اخر جيمين شباب من البطوله، اخر جيمين من البطوله شباب، من الويكلي فاينل، الويكلي سرفايفل عفوا. اخر جيمين شباب راح نشوف منهم هم الفريقين اللي راح يجون هاي المجموعه ويلعبون فاينل. بعد عندك تيامبا ما متأهل، كيا ما متأهل، دي اي تي 1 الجي ديفاين فيز انس وافريكا فريكس. نار والله، مجموعه نار، هاي مجموعه نار. ميتا جيمنج هذول برازيليين همينه وحوش يعني شباب. صعبه البطوله، صعبه حيل. سونكس تأهلوا الاول واحد تأهل. اللي يجيب تشيكن دينر شباب يتأهل، يجيب تشيكن دينر يتأهل، خلوها ببالكم، جيب تشيكن دينر تتأهل. فشباب البطوله نار والله، البطوله صدق محترقه يعني، وهاي اكبر بطوله ببجي بالعالم كله شباب، بالتاريخ ما صارت هيك بطوله. جائزه ضخمه كلش، وتعب على البطوله وصرف مخيف، بحيث على مود يوصلونا ويمتعونا بهيك شيء بطولات حبايب وهيك شيء. واحنا نريد ننشر هذا الاحتراف. احنا ما نوزع جوائز بالبث المباشر العادي، لما نلعب بنوزع جوائز وما نقول مشاركات، نقول لايك بس. لكن هذا البث نتمنى يشاركون البث. ليش؟ قل لي ليش؟ احنا نريد ننشر الاحتراف بالوطن العربي، نريد الوعي بالعرب كلهم يحترفون اللعبه، والله نريد احنا الاحتراف ينتشر بكل مكان. فاذا انت تكون محترف بلعبه ببجي ستيم اللي هي اللعبه الببجي الاصليه، راح تكون محترف كل العاب الاي سبورتس، راح تعرف شلون لعب البطولات، شلون يلعب، وتشوف قدامك لعب بطولات مخيف، اقوى شيء تشوف بحياتك يعني. اقوى من ايش لعب بطولات ماكو صدقني يعني. اقوى فرق العالم جاي تلعب بالبطوله هاي اللي الدعوه صارت لكل فرق العالم. فنتمنى شباب مساندتكم، اذا مو على مود الجائزه، على مود انت تساهم بنشر الاحتراف بالوطن العربي، يجوز تفيد بهذا البث احد الناس اللي يلعبون بطولات او مستقبلا حيلعبون بطولات، يرجعون لهذا البث. صدقني هذا البث انا اقول لك راح يبقى للتاريخ، والله يبقى سنين هذا البث. ليش؟ لانه الناس راح ترجع له وتشوف البطوله وتشوف البث هذا وتشوف لعب البطولات شلون يصير. فصدقني هذا حيساهم كلش هوايه، واحنا جاي ندعم ماديا وداعمينا جاي يدعمون. اخونا شاكر اليامي وسعيد مهيري من الامارات، شاكر اليامي من السعوديه، دعموا هذا الشيء على مود يوصل لكل الناس في الوطن العربي كله، من عندهم، من جهودهم الشخصي ومن مالهم الخاص. دعموا على مود البطوله هاي توصل لكل مكان بالوطن العربي صراحه. فنتمنى من عندكم شباب قدرون هذا الدعم، جوائز جاي نوزع لكم احنا. فنتمنى من عندكم شباب شاركونا البث بكل مكان بالوطن العربي حبايبنا، نتمنى يعني. زين، وان شاء الله كلكم توصلونا في هذا البث شباب. همين بث اسطوري، بث مخيف. حبيبي شاكر، شكرا قلبي 50 ستارز. شدات الدل هو حسابك في ببجي موبايل مال ستيم لحد الان فيها تنفتح. But this is, I think, one of the few times we've actually seen them in the top 3 attack all around on the opposing side of things. Listen, I still hold that this was ENCE's game that they themselves threw. But good job, I want to say, for Gems to be able to get all the kills that he did. 5 for himself. His damage wasn't terrible during this previous weekend. But his kills were a little low. So it's good to see that every single member of this roster has the opportunity to step up, or is able to step up when the opportunity comes their way.
Yeah, definitely so. And I'm seeing that our meta fans are out in full force, as they know that they are the next team that are going to be joining the lobby here, and they have 2 games worth of opportunities to try and qualify through into that weekly final. Obviously it'll be on Miramar, and then we'll be on Erangel a little later on here for us. But aside from the teams that we've already spoken about, anything else stand out to you from this game? Because obviously there were quite a few teams clustered around. Again, T1 was in a pretty decent position for a while. So who were you looking at from this game?
I mean, let's talk about what happened in the start as well. We had GX coming into this game. We were talking about Digital Athletics not having 4 AM close to them anymore. So Digital Athletics go to Rostock. That's their normal drop. But GX normally would drop for Gatka. But since T1 is there as well, they didn't opt for that. Instead, they wanted to go for Wartown. This creates a little bit of trouble for DA, even though they didn't fight in the start. What happens is your tents, you know that they could be there. They could be just in front of you every time they were rotating. And well, we saw that GX actually took out DA as well. So we might see that DA might try to go for that early fight. Now that they had all of that with 4 AM earlier, they might try to take that out. Another thing I want to talk about is actually Face Clan. I've said it before, and they are doing it now. They are trying to play more edge. And you can see what happened. They were just waiting until it was time to actually dive into the circle. That's when they tried to make a move. And they tried to make a move into End's position. That was a little bit harder than going south, but that was a game-winning position. If they would have taken that one, that's how they would have won the game, if anything. But it didn't work out all the way. They had, of course, Africa Freaks trying to spoil a little bit from the south side, and it didn't work out all the way. But it's progress, and that's what you want to see. Progression, becoming better, doing better for every game.
Yeah, and I mean, they ran into a strong-looking Ents right now. We've spoken about the fact that Ents is one of those teams that will just survive. But when they're surviving towards these later stages, Cameron, they're fragging out as well.
They are for the most part. That's what you need to do. We've already talked a little bit about how a lot of the winning teams have been getting a good number of kills, and part of that is the fact that teams are being more safe. They're entering the late game with more bodies to be killed, which I guess maybe inflating is a little too heavy-handed of a word, but it will raise those numbers maybe by a few more, but you still need to be able to get those kills. And we've seen how chaotic some of these late-game situations can be because of how stacked up some of the teams are entering those zones.
And of course, guys, as we near the weekly finals, not only do we have those matches going on, but we will also be streaming the reseeding matches that are going to be going on. But that is by the by. We'll talk about that a little later. It's time to get into our penultimate game of the day, the penultimate game of the weekly survival, as we head over to Miramar. Will it be time for another European team or another Korean team? Or will it be Lats AM? Let's go over to Pansy and Poro.
Yeah, thank you very much, James, and we'll do our very best to take you through this from the south to the north. We're going to see everyone piling into this. Now, again, Ents heartbreak when it came to it, but it doesn't really matter how you get there. It's the win that counts, Poro. And same question as ever. 4 teams coming in, new looks coming out. I don't really know where to look now, because we've kind of moved away from the consistent element, excluding Ents, I guess, because DA's had real up and down performances here.
They sure have. They sure have. There is one team that's kind of sneakily been getting better and better, and they've had a couple of off games here, the last 2. But LG Divine were consistently finding themselves up in the top 5 before today, even at the beginning of the day. First game today, they came in 4th. They had a little bit of a slip up here the last 2. Okay, well, sure. Indigo thinking the better of that one. Didn't want to catch an Uber ride to his imminent death. It's probably the smart play. We see the circle does pop, and we are going right over Picado once again. Look who is right in the middle of the circle. It's going to be DA.
Yeah, somewhere between DA and down 1, you've got a pretty easy start to this. Zenith up on top of the rocks, always a nice position to be in as well. FaZe, standard drop. T1 out towards the east. Only teams that really get screwed over this are Ents, but Ents like this, they seem to kind of accept their fate and play on these like super far out drops. LG Divine, San Martin again, so a very similar drop location. Buriram in the south. Yeah, no one really out of place here. This is a pretty nicely spread out lobby. No one's really getting those early challenges through.
And that's good news, because you got to know, 2 games remaining. There is a lot of pressure now being felt by some of these guys. And you know what? I don't care how many times Genji sits there and says, oh, we don't, first couple of weeks, we don't care. We're just trying to go for the light. BS. I don't care who you are. You are coming into this. You've been in quarantine for 2 weeks. If you're some of our traveling teams, you've been in Korea. This is a LAN tournament. You are trying to come in here from the very word go, trying to win. You know, if what you need to tell yourself to make yourself feel better about a poor performance is that you don't really care about the first week, you only care about the last, that's on you. But I guarantee you, everybody in here is feeling the pressure right now. They want to make that first weekly final.
Oh, 100%. It sends a message, and I think so far it's showing the strength. I'd say it's been a little unfortunate for DA and maybe ENTS today to an extent. A couple of other teams, but maybe Buriram you could throw in there. But beyond that, I'd say most people who've come in and looked substantially consistent and have that ability to adapt have got themselves through. It's a good display of the skill here. Now, of course, yes, if teams can't adjust, then that's kind of on them. You know what I mean? Like, that's as much as, yes, Korea is fantastic and certain regions are very strong in certain game settings. If you can't adjust when it's your ticket to get there, that's on you, really. That's as much as it is. And Meta Gaming here coming in, joining us this time, so we'll see what they look like as they progress forward. First time we get to look. And keep in mind, one of the teams that joined very late just walked away with a win, so you never know. As I said, AAA really made an impression quickly.
Oh boy, they did. They came in with a plan, and it's not like they even started off slow. The first game they played, they finished in 4th. So, you know, one of the things that we've been kind of seeing is these teams that are coming in, the first game lately has seemed to be going pretty well. I mean, ENTS, their first game, they got 4th. Enterforce 36, their first game, they got 4th. Daytrade got 3rd. You know, it's there's something about coming in fresh and knowing that you've got a very limited amount of time. I think that you come in with a mindset that seems to be working out pretty well for some of these guys.
Yeah. Already, DA going to be waiting for a little bit of attention to come their way. Daytrade Gaming not slowing down. They're committing to this? Yeah, they are. Okay, straight in they go. What? Okay. DA look baffled. They really didn't expect that pull-up. Norrens just walks forward. He's got Smash on the run. DA are going to be down to 3 to start with, if not maybe 2 if Smash gets caught here. Yeah, Mutt's going to be flushed. That was a real Hail Mary from Daytrade Gaming, but it works out.
I mean, that's the thing that so many regions have said about these SEA teams in particular, that they just do not care. They will crash you. If you are in a compound that they want, they will send all 4 in. And DA that time looks like they weren't expecting it. I mean, I think they maybe put 2 and 2 together, but it was just a little bit too late, and he ends up getting picked out of the vehicle as they were trying to make the run. So unfortunately for DA, they lose 1 early. They still have 3. They still have a good 2-1 split in the center of the circle. So it's salvageable. But once again, Daytrade, I mean, this is another game, I think the second game in a row now that they've just crashed right on top of somebody.
Hey, look, if it gets them the space they need and they see a vulnerability, if someone's being a little slow, a little sloppy, take it. If DA are sticking around trying to loot late, sit in 2-2 splits, you're going to be punished for that. And I think that's something we might actually start seeing more of. You can't get away with kind of weaker splits or, you know, being slow on having to consider the people will crash you. Compounds are king in this format. We saw that in just the last game. I mean, positioning is pretty much everything. And as said, if you're not aware of that, you're going to be punished in this. This isn't the traditional format. Being center circle, being in one of the better positions will potentially get you a gateway through to very late game, which, of course, is huge.
If you're after seeing Daytrade do that, you kind of start looking around a little bit, and I'm seeing FaZe in a 2-1-1 with Gustav and Uba just kind of in their own little compounds. I'm starting to get a little nervous here, looking and see Gex just off to their west, that they might decide that they want to take a compound away. So for now, it looks like, for the most part, everybody that's made it to the inside has found a spot that they want to play from, right? The only teams that are really even on the move right now, LG Divine, Petrichor coming in from the northern side by Power Grid, and then, of course, ENTS just drifting by El Pozo right now. But everybody else, for the most part, looks content to just kind of hang out and do a little ADR farming.
Yeah, this shouldn't be flushes off this unless a player makes a big mistake. Most are in compounds, most are comfortable. Some wider splits than others, but it's not massive, it's not huge in this aspect. ENTS are still on the way. Keep in mind they will arrive late, and they'll play it as they do. For now, we have to wait and see where the circle goes. Of course, the road that leads west out of Los Leones is traditionally where this seems to head towards, and then down the line you'll get the north-south divide on it. But for now, that's probably where most teams have kind of gravitated towards. You'll see them kind of polarizing in that manner. DA have done it, Burr, Ram, Daytrade, FaZe, Zenith, T1, GX, Freaks, they're all there. You know, Dam 1 as well, not far from it. So that's normally the critical area to grab hold of right now.
And there you go. See, Roth almost found himself in the same place that DA was moments ago as Petrichor Road pulled up in the position that he was holding. Fortunately enough for him, he's able to get to that vehicle and get on out of there before he gets spotted. Well, you can see Afrika. Where even are they? Okay, I see them there just to the north of Damwon, just off to the east side of Picado. Damwon doing a 3-1 split. They've left under behind inside of Picado. I guess just in case this circle decides to cut hard north, at least they still have some kind of foothold inside of the city to play. Lin Shin looks like he may have spotted out Wicked, or he might just be doing a little bit of scouting here over on Los Leones.
Tiamba gonna bully at least one of the players away from metagaming. Wick 2D is, or Wicked, I guess. Not a 3, man. I mean, who uses a 2 for an E? Who's done that? You know, I'm calling you Wick 2D. I don't care if your name is meant to be Wicked. If you didn't use a 3, you don't get to pretend that's an E. Screw you. For now, Enso have made their way into the circle themselves, heading in over towards Monte Nuevo. Exactly. A miserable, what can I say? Centered up would be, I don't know, I'm trying to think. I don't think it's going to go Los Leones, right? That's kind of unlikely. The hills towards Chumaceria, also unlikely. Power Grid still in. San Martin still in. Okay, so a pretty decent center up. It's still got a little bit of Los Leones on it, but more towards the east, I guess.
Yeah. I think a lot of teams were thinking, you know, maybe this hard shifts and looks like a Chumacera circle, but you know, still hedging their bets, and that's why you're seeing so many splits come through. This one obviously going to center up just off to the southeast Picado, where pretty much right on top of Afrika in their compound here. We'll see if Under can get out of Picado and rejoin the rest of his squad, but we do have a few teams that are already in vehicles and on the move. Zenith being one of them, Ents obviously being another one, but I feel like Ents is always in their vehicles, aren't they?
Yeah, just chugging along. Right, let's look at these rotations, because this will now start to kind of pull everyone back together. So this is going to be a very kind of, a lot of moving parts here. Teams that are in maybe 1-1s, 2-2s, going to have to kind of pull themselves together in the same sort of spot. And it looks like we're seeing, at least for now, GX on their own. This is a big compound to hold in this circle. FaZe want it. They're going to send their players towards it. And it looks like maybe there's some other teams on the horizon. I'm not sure if they're going to go for this as well. But GEX, will they back their man up or leave him to die? That's the question.
Well, it looks like they're going to at least send one over here. Yanli going to make his way. And it looks like that might have been what scared Petrichor away. And Fezfe is going to take a few shots from Yanli, as he's going to take a few in return from Eitzi, who's still holding kind of an anchor position back at the compound overlooking this. So FaZe now, looks like the compound that they wanted has been taken. Where is going to be the backup? Looks like it. Yeah, they still got a place to play. Okay, they're good. They're safe. They're fine.
I mean, they didn't lose a player, which is, I know it sounds kind of BM, but they've been struggling on rotations and their sends have been a bit here and there. So at least they have that next spot and they didn't lose a player in that process.
Yeah. I mean, it's the argument that you can make. I mean, they've just been finding themselves chasing circles all the time here early game. But one thing that you can chase is a nice promo code right there. You don't have to chase it. You caught it. Go ahead, enter that in and get yourself a voting coupon. You got one more to give out today before we get to the weekend, and these coupons will be worth 1,000 EP a piece. So make sure you get those in as quickly as you can and get all your free stuff.
Free things. We love it. That's why I'm in esports. It's just for the free stuff. Yep. Sometimes I get like a water bottle or a bag, a t-shirt. It's fantastic.
Hand warmer, mouse pads. It's the best.
I stole some hand warmers recently because I was in a studio and obviously no players are in a studio apart from, we've been very lucky to have this on land, so I just helped myself to a load of the hand warmers that they have there. Very nice. Consider it's cold, man. It's cold in Europe right now. It's like, wait, what temperature is it?
I believe it.
-2 right now. That's actually warmed up a bit. It was a lot colder, but you know, let me have my very
freedom.
I don't know your freedom language. I have no idea.
Because it's starting to get a little cold
how to
here
convert
too.
that.
I mean,
it's chilly,
like 20,
and it's
20,
almost
it's like 26 right now.
And this is kind of what happens when you have these more centralized circles. It's unless someone makes like grave mistakes, it's going to be fine. This is the first
شباب
not
بس
coming
سؤال
in on towards day
محمد احمد عزيز حبيبي الحساب بي ام 4 ثلجيه لو ما بي ام 4 ثلجيه حبيب قلبي انت محمد احمد عزيز اذا ما بي ام 4 ثلجيه ما اقدر العب بيه بطولات قلبي لازم يطلع الضوء الازرق وانزل 45 هسه شو رايك على البث مع احترامات المشاهدين يعني شبابنا الطيبه نار نار اكلت ودماوع الدنيا مشتعله
Everyone now starting to pull forward. You got Meta in the vehicles, T1 as well. Looking, there's a freak of freaks and down one arm moving. But here we go, pull-up sign happen. Aqua 5 towards the hotel with Star-Lord joining. Just getting to the old motel. 8C still punishing day trade there. So FaZe is still in the circle at this point, keep in mind. They are somewhat on the outskirts. 8C's disconnected from the rest, but E36 rolled down the hill as well. They're on the quest overlooking this.
Allah.
That was a great camera angle as we see
Ronaldinho
all these teams trying to crash inside of this L hotel just on the side of Picado. Sylphia going to try to escape. It's not going to happen though. Ronaldinho will clutch him out. Sparking though does get downed and flush. That's a big loss for Meta. They do manage to get 2 inside the gas station, but T1 is so close right here. You can see to the side as well. And I imagine we may still see some more teams trying to head over into this Picado area. We got a number of teams off to the south that are still slowly starting to make their way. They're under fire from Damwon though. And does not look like we've seen any knocks come through just yet, but is enough pressure to make Buriwam want to pull up and stop right here.
Yeah, maybe have a little scout on the way. Moving into uncharted territory. Beyond that again, still 16 teams alive. We've lost out on some bits and pieces here and there. Buram getting the last player through if they can. Looking at Demonstrate Gaming, they've still got the players to go right now. I guess it's Number also outside. Very busy. So
حبيبي شاكر شكرا لك 50 ستارز شاكر هذول نصابين جماعه ببجي موبايل يبيعون الحسابات عن طريق التعليقات مال البيجات ينصبون على العالم وراء العالم يجون عليه على البيج يقولون من خلالك انباع الحساب تفهم شلون؟ كله نصب احتيال لان ببجي موبايل مو مثل ببجي ستيم انباع الحساب.
Yeah, this is, I mean, rough stuff here for day trade.
ياخذ الفلوس يقول لك جي جي.
Wrap around, going out into the blue. Looks like the
اوه جاب واحده بالمنيو والله.
Okay.
جاب واحده بالمنيو هو.
Yeah, the buggy's still with him. Unfortunately, the player wasn't.
لو كذب عليه لو جابه.
Just rolled away.
الجائزة $5.5 مليون حبيبي.
All right, well, that's going to be unfortunate there for day trade. It looks like our circle should be popping here in the next 5 seconds as Tiamba just kind of hanging out on the southeastern side, Meta, as you saw in the gas station. And there,
حمزة يومية البطولة شو اسمه؟
waiting on Gex now. Going to have to make some decisions.
البطولة يومية من الساعة 12 الظهر.
Still a pretty good chunk of Picado that's inside this, but do any of these teams that are outside really consider going there when it's on that close to the edge? Might not have a choice. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I want to see what GX do because they're
ولا فريق عربي.
closer, but okay, so FaZe's DA to worry about.
بس DA يعتبر مش أوسط.
And
هذا فريق
in Picado right now and T1 a little. Looks like FaZe are on the move, so DA are going to be able to get some.
لسه حيبيعون FaZe.
behind. Maybe keep them suppressed as Fuzzface and Gustav are going to move up. Are they going to crash this? Yeah, FaZe are pulling up on this. Okay, pre-nades are out. Gustav gets there, but Fuzzface on the ground. Here we go.
حلوة النيد والله حلوة النيد.
Send that out and hope for the best. Does it find anyone? Yes.
دمر Gustav.
Gustav now tagged up. Smash. Seeking toward the open side of this. 8C is there, going to try and play bodyguard for now.
بوش شباب بوش قوي شباب بوش قوي. DA وفيز شباب DA وفيز الدنيا اشتعلت.
As far as crashes go into
compound, سماش مكانه
يخبط.
سماش مكانه يخبط بس كان نيدات تحت ما قادس.
Where there's no lines of sight for
دي عندهم واحد متفنن.
Meanwhile, showed Marco to try to hold the
حلوة كل ماركو زي ايزي.
gas station building. He will find 8C, but Fuzzface going to try to go in there. He's going to find him in the butt, but not enough to get the knock here. Marco, you can see how low he is.
أتوقع هيطلع يجي لهم جوا.
Pulling up to the side. or up to the top, try to get a little bit of defense here from Matrelius.
يب فايز يفوز بهذا البوش، اتوقع فايز يفوز بهذا البوش.
Yeah, FaZe. See if 80 can beat.
ما نسوا سماش ابد. ما نسوا سماش.
He has. Is he going to try and bounce that off? That'd be wild if he does. Beyond that, though, there's fights further afield. Tiamba is one of them on the receiving end of an aid there. Quick trade out, but again, still 16 teams alive.
لا تفنش واحد من تيامبا.
وقف
وقف وقف مكان الغبي.
وقف مكان الغبي. Flashed up, naded. The bombardment continues. They're just raining in the nades.
لا تيامبا جي جي.
Oh dear. Well, it looks like we're out of nades.
اوبا تفنش. اوبا تفنش.
That is going to be enough.
حول على فات فيز ابدل.
It for Tiamba once again. Our fourth place qualifying team. And they have made it all the way to the last game without finding a win just yet. Back to this fight between DA and FaZe.
حول على كود ماركو.
Just Code Marco and Matrelius. Let's see, that's a nasty
ما يضرب
little angle
بفوق.
for
ما
Code
يضرب
Marco
بي.
to be holding here.
It's kind of drawn a line that going up's going to be tricky. Matrelius is in a spot of bother. He's got an angle he wants to commit to. Might be good for 1 or 2.
خشوت قال.
Moment though.
The shotgun.
We're about 10.
Gustav picked up the shotty.
Alright, breach and clear, bud. Let's go. In towards the compound, but keep in mind that off angle is filthy, the Code Marco has.
بعد من
Really
يضرب
tricky
باور.
to clear comfortably. And yeah, Gustav looks
ما يضرب
around.
بي وين ما يضرب
I
بي وين.
don't see anyone, but out there he's still waiting. He could be on the roof potentially. Gustav, that was a little dangerous on the way back down. Smoke was in play, but you know we don't get to see how much they're covering at the moment. They are the hating smokes, but out the side.
قلت له فيس قلت له فيس قلت له فيس كود ماركو حيكفره. لا كود ماركو ما طلع له من برا ما طلع له من برا.
Fuzzface just got flushed as well. FaZe are about to go down in 15th here, if not DA as well.
كود ماركو ما طلع له من برا حرام. جاب كتله.
This is not very pleasant.
جاب كتله.
Oh.
كود ماركو شاله. حلوة. لا مو كود ماركو شاله. قلت له من جبل كي 1. ما تشوف فيس خرب منه والله.
Dom as they were kind of taking shots in there, but wow, FaZe is just I don't even know what.
هذا الجيم افريكا فليكس حيتأهل وتذكروها من عندي. لو تي 1 لو افريكا فليكس.
Pick it up for the final game of the day, but all of this that's going on, it's a
فريق صيني كوري حيتأهل.
ahead here as they have to leave to make their way inside this next circle.
خذوها من عندي قفل.
Yeah, the sad fact is, after all of that fight, whoever won it, they still get left with absolutely nothing.
يا افريكا
So
فليكس.
again, it's compounds are king. That's all
كي
that really
افريكا
matters here.
فليكس.
The fights on
واحد
the
من
really
عندهم.
equate
كي
to
لو
how
افريكا
much
فليكس. واحد من
they
عندهم.
were vicious at the start, but now
They
they're
trade
getting
واحد من عندهم مقعنوك.
from the pre-established positions.
وبصف الفريق الياباني.
Taking down Flash and on the other side, E36 waiting to maybe throw some nades out, see if there can be some damage done off the back of that.
I mean, it sucks for Day Trade here. I mean, they pull up just to try to see if they can maybe take care of E36, but I mean, there's nothing. You don't get points for killing E36. I mean, I would think they would.
كود
be
ماركو
more
نوك
concerned
كود
about
ماركو
trying to
تفنش
find their way
بالزون.
inside the
برا
circle.
الزون.
But meanwhile, Ents has
قصدي
this
جي
high
جي.
ground position,
بس
trading
بقلعب
back
واحد
and
بس.
forth with LG Divine.
متراليوس.
See if any knocks come through. I'm not sure if anybody has a
متراليوس مات.
third-party
فنشوا
angle on
الدي اي.
this just yet, but E36 now in the
بعدهم
vehicle,
جيم واحد
only
بس
rusted
دي اي.
bar.
بس
That's
جيم
gonna be
واحد
a good
بعدهم.
grenade. We'll get the knock on
هذا
the
الجيم
turret
الاخير
score.
ما اعرف من
Meanwhile,
حيتأهل. واحد بس
on
يتأهل
the
لازم.
low end of Africa as Ents now has
يو
gotten
كاينس
knocked.
الصاحبة.
Continue the push around. It looks like they will.
Flos, flos,
Well,
flos,
John Lee, the
flos,
last one
flos,
hiding in the
flos, عندي كوما فلوس 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 عندي كوما فلوس.
اي شاكر فيز يكون مستواه سيء بس يكون تأهل. مستواه سيء بس تأهل.
Staying up on the rocks here too. You've got LG Divine on one side, E36 were on the
حلوة
other.
انس.
I wonder if
حلوة
they're gonna
انس.
get involved.
حلوة
For now, it
انس.
seems like
صار
the
بوش
night
على
60
ديفاين.
points Nicky pretty quick, but Levi
حلوة انس. حلوة
down
تيكسو
to
والله
five.
وحش.
Again, big denial from Dixu. A little bit of work. in
حلوة
now.
حلوة
Not
انس.
making
كتلهم
it look
كتلهم
easy.
كتلهم ايزي.
Walking
كتلهم
through
ايزي.
LG Divine, we said these guys could have
كتلهم
been
ايزي.
someone to look at. Right now, that's not the case. They are gone. Ents now control the northeast-ish. And again, Down One Gaming not having a good time here either. They're in all kinds of trouble. They're getting too many fights in their face and
كيت
they're not
فلشوا.
walking away the victors.
فلشوا.
You can see, just shredded. Down they go. We're down to 10
فلشوهم.
teams.
افريكا فليكس بقى بس.
Very clean there from Zenith. They take care of Dom.
T1
They do
طبعا.
still have to worry about Jan Lee, who's hanging out inside that shack. No health to be found. He's got 4 bandages.
افريكا فليكس فرصته.
But for right now, he is staying
كثير هم احتمال
alive.
يتأهل.
Petrichor.
انس دي بدع.
They are content with just hanging
ما
out
اعرف.
below.
بس انا
Africa, and
اتوقع
Africa's
انه هو
content
كوري.
to let them
احس
be
انه
there.
هو صيني
Meanwhile,
صيني اسيا
Day
واحد
Trade
يتأهل.
somehow has managed to
مش
make it
معلقة
inside the
صينية.
circle, backfilling behind E36. T1 though Looks like they might be looking over in that direction to make a push.
اوكي بيرو واحد ما بتفنش يا افريكا فريكس مكرم.
I guess he wasn't content trying to stay below the ridge line.
And this is a tricky scenario for ENCE because they kind of need to hold this ridge until the blue closes in, but it means they're slower then to get to their next position. There's too many teams, there's too many players down there, and they even know that at this point.
يضرب بيهم هنا يضرب بيهم.
Oh, catch.
فلوس فلوس
حلوة النيت.
فلوس 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 عندي كوما فلوس 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 عندي كوما فلوس.
نتركز كانوا قريبين من التأهل مرتين رغم اني ما اتمنى يتأهلوا. هسه همينه هسه رادوا يتأهلون شاكر هسه رادوا يتأهلون هم اخذوا الثاني وما تأهلوا. مستحيل بعد بقى جيم واحد بس.
I mean they would love to clear off this entire north side. It's not so much the kills that they're worried about. They just want to make sure that they don't have to worry about their backside. They don't have to worry about
غدرهم
through Norins.
غدرهم بس شالوه.
He's going to stay alive, but Tixu he's not going to let that happen. Okay. The boy is on fire right now. As ENCE now has control over that north side. They have that mountain.
مسيطرين.
T1 for their part is going to avoid the rest of that by wrapping around. Zenith, though, going to send it in the 3-man car. Can they stay alive? Looks like they will. Good for them.
Okay, so we have a bit of a divide here. I say that. I guess ENCE is the outlier. Let's kind of leave them to their own devices. You've got the south portion of this kind of circle that's left with the east and the west divide, and Burram are sadly in between a rock and a hard place. They've got nades being thrown on them. They're on the low ground here. They're kind of in the open. They don't really have a way out of it. T1 have finally made their way around, but they're just going to be arriving to another party. Freak Freaks are in the compound. They've been happy here the entire time. Not really moving too much. This was just where they put their post down and they've stuck to it. Again, compound equals king. Poonage going to find Konaxi. And as it stands, it looks like Burram are on their last legs. I think
T1
AF player alive, if I'm not mistaken. And he's been fantastic as an individual, but now too many players going to come his way. Yes. Nation going to come over, claim that eastern side. ENCE control the north. Zenith somewhere in between. Freak Freaks towards the west. T1. And I think there's another team just kind of hiding at the bottom of those rocks.
That's going to be Petrichor. That's just got 2 left. Although the 2 that they do have are Mill and Ike's left. 2 of the big fragging names on that squad. Let's see where the next circle decides to go. Is it going to favor ENCE? So they have good control from where they're playing from. About the least favorable move there for ENCE. Fortunately for them, I think they can still push onto Detonation Gaming White here. I mean, you see the real estate that they're having to work with here. Maybe might be able to send Diggory to play a little bit of an anchor spot. Yeah.
So they've got 30 seconds to clear past Destination White, at least until the blue starts moving. So maybe 40, 50 seconds. And then they have to deal with whatever's in front of them.
شوف اثنين قدموا واثنين يكفرون.
هسه ورا اثنين حيجوا. I think they're down to 3, so it's not the biggest challenge. I guess.
هسه اثنين قدموا حيكفرون واثنين وراهم حيجوا.
player on this fight potentially. We need to slip.
شوي يقدموا على
sending Diggory forward and I think Squeaky with him. And look at the positions that are being held by Detonation.
هو احتمال يبغوا ذول الاثنين ويكفرون من بعيد.
They're just going to sit this one out and wait until they have to push across. Petrichor Road on the other side as well. They're going to have to deal with T1 coming their way. So 2 separate fights on 2 separate fronts.
And meanwhile, Afrika just gets to hang out inside their compound and listen to all this going on. There's no reason for them to peek anything. They just want to make sure that nobody pushes onto them. Ike's left going to be the anchor spot right here. He gets knocked to about 50% HP. T1 looks like they would love to try to make their way past this rock, see if they can find angles onto anybody, really. Star-Lord going to find Ike's left, and it's now down to just Mill. Hiding behind the Murado, take a few shots, going to find Adder. Star-Lord get 2, yes he can, Mill! Turning it along here as one up for T1, and he's going to burn him to death.
Yeah, and look who's pushing. And Freak Freaks have moved out. They tried to secure their compound. Pretty good idea.
بس التوقع عندهم خلاص عليهم.
If anyone other than a Freak Freaks wins, this will be a
راح ستي ون وش اسمه.
Detonation trying to make a play while it can. Bit of an A trade out.
بشوهم افريكا فريكس بشوهم. كلهم حلوه افريكا فريكس. افريكا فريكس حلها بعد شكل. باوع اخذوها على الحظر. حلوه انس. بقوا اثنين عندهم سكويكي وراس امر.
Tixu's knocked it Squeaky and Rustamar. Now, if a Freak Freaks want to start pushing out, trying to claim territory, I don't blame them. But Zenith are going to be keeping them humbled here. They will not be allowing them to push too far. I wonder if Zenith get involved. They're split into a 2-1 almost here. One trying to catch the remainder of the teams as we're watching.
مع الخبرة. عرفها هنا. خبره، هاي خبره باع الخبره بالبطولات. سكويكي خبره مخيفه عنده، 3 سنوات بدك بطولات، دق نهائيات. شوف الخبره، عرف اكو واحد هنا نايم وراسه واحده. خرب عرضك جبل. شو SLR.
Just like hip fired it. Okay, fair enough.
اوه الامريكان. الامريكان. اوه سكويكي اثر عليهم. الامريكان بقى بس واحد بعدهم عايش. حرام. افريكا في 2 نوك. هانسيا بس بقى عايش من عندهم ويكاري.
Punich still alive in the low ground, just trying to stay low in this scenario.
هانسي المفروض يكفر.
Might have to just turtle up a little here.
Punich
can hold that ridge line.
هذا الامريكان لازم
Punich is a problem to get past.
As you can see, I mean, you can see on the
يدرون بهنا
there, Ents can hang out on that.
شمر مولي اتوقع حرقه كاد. لا ما حرقه.
At least a little bit longer.
راح اشيله بس انس مكفر بيمكن.
They should be able to get this res onto
في ضد 4. انس اذا جابوا الجيم ابطال يستحقون الفوز بجداره 100%.
Unfortunately for that great double knock there, it's not going to get
ينافس على اول
any kills for, not put themselves in any better position. But you can never discount that solo player.
Yeah. Look at what he's got left, man. Vest is broken, helmet screwed, no utility.
Helmet vest ما انتهت.
And just the grit and determination to use it. Now, while this happens, look at Ents. They're moving around towards the more northern side. Now, Punich might get spotted.
اتوقع هانسي يشيلهم. هانسي لاعب مخيف. افضل لاعب كوريا 2018 هذا قدامه.
He is in a little bit of a defilade, so
2018 كان افضل لاعب.
But Ents moving up to this. They want to get a little proactive. And honestly, when that circle closes,
شافوه خلاص هذا خير واحد يجي.
You are barely alive. Keep your head down low. Luckily, he's got 2 first aids, but a nade could kill him. A strong breeze might kill him. But now look at the circle when it updates. Look at that central point. It will cause a Freak of Freaks to have to leave this compound. Now, Ents have already moved up. They've been proactive while Punich was getting
آخر مواجهة.
from the Freak of Freaks.
آخر مواجهة
Good
شباب.
idea, but the problem is outgunned. The Freak of Freaks still have so much, and now they're going to make their push.
Push, yep. 4-2.
PJ on the right flank. Here aware of it, but this Pika's advantage works well in PUBG.
حلوة هانسي، حلوة كتاب. شوف قلت لك انا هانسي عمي، هانسي افضل لاعب كوريا في 2018. لاعب مخيف. ما تقدر يبش يكتلك ايزي. ضربطاو عليهم.
And make your best stand. Good luck, Puma.
ما يقدر خلاص. تأهلوا اف. يب. جي. قلت لكم اف يتأهل.
Flashy. There wasn't many kills. It wasn't wild, but they played the position well. They didn't make errors, and they get themselves the dinner.
I mean, there was a time there where it looked a little bit dicey for Afrika.
قلت لكم كوري آسيوي لازم يتأهل. هالجيم هذا آسيوي لازم يتأهل. هذا هانسي هذا لاعب مهيب، يعني لاعب رهيب. وكان اقوى لاعب كوريا بال 2018 بالببجي.
أخذ الجائزة يعني. And it's not something that we've been seeing very well from these Korean teams, but Afrika managing to do it just fine right there by holding that compound and then clutching out when they needed to.
Again, I feel for Ents. I loved how they played that. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't enough to get them to win the end. They made the right moves. It looks like everyone's getting themselves ready here for a nice interview pretty soon. So once that's good to go, we'll jump down to it. We can hear from the winning side of Freak.
بعد جيم واحد بس شباب، بعد جيم واحد بس. هذا آخر جيم وبس واحد فريق واحد راح يتأهل من 16 فريق. بس فريق واحد.
I mean, there's not too much.
من 16 فريق بس واحد حيتأهل الباقي كلهم بالبيت. للفندق يعني ينتظرون الأسبوع الجاي.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I am very interested to hear what the Afrika Freaks have to say about this one. This is one of their Korean teams that came in from the bottom 16. So let's hear what they have to say.
The Pgi.S Weekly Survival won with
كواك اسمها كواك سيون. حدور على اسمه.
We are here with player EJ. Congratulations.
حدور على الفيس مالته شباب. بشرفكم اللي عنده لسته مالته ينزل.
15th game. I think that was a really dramatic win.
راح اشتري كسارات مارجينات.
The Pgi.S tournament was a huge pressure for you guys.
لكباحة دمية.
What kind of
هاي تشيل بيد واحدة تكيد.
attitude did you have to this tournament?
PGI를 시작하면서 되게
Because we won the
بالشيب. خنبوا عليه دير الكاميرا عليها.
ranking decisions and the weekly survival matches, we really learned a lot. You finally made it to the weekly finals out of
باربي مال كوريا. والله باربي
Part of
مال
long
كوريا.
process. What kind of conversations did you have amongst your players?
점만 보완하면 저희가 치킨도 많이 먹을 수 있을 것 같고.
We talked a lot about different strategies that we could improve on and the mistakes that we made. And so we really worked hard on improving.
شباب ما حد يعرف الانستا مالته؟
I think you guys really made it strong towards the end. We want to
راح اشتري كسارات مال هوكي شباب. تعرفوا ليش؟ لان حسحب بالكوري. شايفين هم مال هوكي يلعبون هوكي تزلج على الجليد. راح اشتري كسارات مال الركبه مالتها لانه زحف على الكوري شباب. زحف على الكوري هيجي ياثر.
Do you have anything to say to your fans? Happy New Year to all the fans and thanks for your support.
لا خوي ادهم ينضرب كوسره مالك شغله. انضربه كوسره احنا اذا ما ينضرب.
That's right, the winners of the recent Pgi.S managed to find themselves a spot in the weekly final here for our penultimate game of the weekly survival. Brilliant stuff from Africa Freaks. They held on to a position for all game and were able to secure the win towards the end against the encroaching.
شباب هذول 16 فريق بعد خلاص واحد من اللي بيتأهل بس هذول علمنا. تيامبا تي 1 دي اي كيا الجي ديفاين زينث بريتش رور فيز انس بوراريم يعني كلها اقوياء ترى كلها اقوياء ماكو بيهم ضعيف ابد.
But the whole game was pretty quiet in the start. This is one of the few games we got all the way into I think 14 and a half minutes with only
جعلني ليمون جعلني اصفر.
And
تحب الاصفر هي.
It shows that it's getting more and more tense. I mean, we only got one more game after this.
حتى جدات صفرة.
One more winner going into the weekly finals. So you can feel it. You can feel it. A lot of the teams playing a little bit more passive. They're trying to make sure that they don't take anything, any risk if they don't need to and stuff.
شوف اسمها والله اسمها
Cameron of course
Quack.
now does advance. I do
Quack
think they
يون
probably
اسمها ايش
feel
اسمه والله.
very relieved. It feels like they've
بعد جيم واحد شباب بس بعد دقيقتين يدي 5 دقائق.
first weekly survival.
Yeah, and as far as mentioning with the fact that they were in that compound since virtually the very beginning.
خوش مواجهة صارت.
This was, we've said this multiple times, but this was the game for Africa Freaks that it was theirs to lose. I think it would have been one of the bigger upsets if they were to somehow lose this previous round. Though, gotta say, Punich did make it a little, maybe a little nervous for them.
أكيد يفوز ببطولة أكيد.
Or I guess rather at the end, the start of the end, when he got that 2K.
والله خلنا نطلع اسمها بالله دقيقة خلنا نطلع اسمها. بالويكيبيديا التعليق. ويكيبيديا طلع اسمها شوف بكت عليها انستا شيء. طبلها.
Pushing that building is still a big task to call.
دقيقة وين المعلقين؟
I mean, I'm gonna stick with you for a moment here, Cameron, because I feel like we've watched
دقيقة يا معود دقيقة. خلي باوع اسمها. معلقين مال البطولة.
Yeah, and actually this game I think was probably the one that we've seen them come alive.
خل ارجع بالبث مال تويتش. ارجع بالبث مال تويتش شوف اسمها هسه. هنا هي. خلاص
فلوس 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 عندي كوما فلوس 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 عندي كوما فلوس.
حبيبي شاكر ان شاء الله قلبي ان شاء الله اليوم بث اسطوري والله. بس خل اشوف اسمها دقيقة. طلع اسمها هي ايش اسمها؟ لا مو اي جي. هي ايش اسمها هي؟ لك هي اي شو اسمها؟
The Pgi.S weekly survival
اسمك
is
يا معود.
number one with
كواك
Intel.
مينسون كواك مينسيون كواك مينسيون. طبعا جوجل. كواك مين سيون. اوه اسمه ببجي يا محمد. انستغرام لقيته. هاي هي كواك مينسيون كواك. سوي فولو بالله يا رب تطلع هي 613 بوست عندها. يا رب تطلع هي يا رب بعدين نقرا لها. لك شنو موديل طلعت. كواك وانكسيون لك هم نفسه هذا طلع لاعب مطوبة. هاي مو هي اكيد. اكيد الله هي هاي تطلع. مين شلون كواك يا هاي بالله فيسبوك مالتها. لا هاي لا مو هاي لا مو مشكلة. بعدين نيجي المحقق كونان اللي بداخل يطلع بعدين ورا البث.
Not been able to round it out. What's going on with Ents?
I mean, basically,
إلا
their
تعلم
play
كوري
style
من
is
وراها والله.
to stay along the edge. They want to play far out, and they want to come.
إلا تعلم كوري.
And it is looking really good.
إذا مو تلقوني بالكوري حتى دراما يسوي. يوتيوبر كوري حصير.
They should be doing really good, and guess what? They are doing really good. They are not doing bad at all. They just haven't been able to close down the game. Look at the previous one here. Third place, 11 kills. The one before that, second place, 12 kills. They also have another third place, 12 kills. Their worst position out of the, what is it, 7 games they played? It's a 7th place with 3 kills. That's the worst game they've had in the weekly survival here. That shows how strong they are. But they haven't been able to close the game. I hope that they can do it, because one more, and it's so close that, ooh, you can taste it, you can feel it.
محمد السيد احمد، انت تبث من المانيا؟ نعم من المانيا حبيبي، من المانيا. وهذا الكوري ماكو من المانيا، ماكو منه بالمانيا، واكبر كذاب. واصلا خميت شو اسمه اذا يقول لك اكو شيء بالمانيا. ايوب متاكد هذا مالته الانستغرام؟ متأكد هذا الانستغرام مالته حبيبي ايوب؟ متأكد انت معتزلت؟ والله يا قلبي يعني ارجع من الاعتزال يعني. في دوسلدورف ماكو شيكت انا اقول لك. دوسلدورف اني 6 اشهر عشت بيها، ما بيها يابانيين يشتغلون بشركات مال اوراق وهاي، بس ما لقيت هيك نموذج كوري 100%. شباب طلعوا الانستغرام مالتها والله دقيقة، صارت السالفة جد. وين ايوب؟ ايوب يا تعال. انستغرام مالتها؟ لا هذا ايوب. لا ايوه شو والله هاي والله هي هاي بدك تباعها خرب انه خطيه. انا نسوي كعي قبل البطوله. ها هي شباب، لو شو تاهت عليه. هي اتوقع هي. خلينا نسوي هاي بالكوري بالله. جوجل ترانسليت هاي برينج ايزي انجلش وكوري. نسوي كوريان. هاي كلها هاي. نزلها والله نزلت لها هاي بالكوري. بدك تطلع جاوب الف رحمة على والدك يا ايوب. والله ذهب بيت بالجنة خوي. روح دعواتي لك، صلاة اليوم اصلي لك.
Hello Pgi esports fans. The Pubg Global Invitational S, our biggest tournament yet, begins in February. With a tournament this big, there's a lot to take in. So let's take a look at the format and rules of Pgi.S 2021. Pgi.S's main event, the weekly series, will be held for a total of 6 weeks starting from February 8th.
ما فيها تفتح تليفونها. لا حجي انا احب الثقة، انا موت على الثقة، رب الثقة، ما عندي هالسالفة هاي. اريد اعرفك على ابو الاكبر الاونر مال G2X الحالي. الله حبيبي على راسي والله، كلان عريق. ايوب الترابح ويانا مالك شغله. طبعا على كورس تعلم اللغة الكورية. اسهل طريقة لتعلم اللغة الكورية. خوش اكو فيديوهات شباب، اكو فيديوهات تعليمية. زينب حتعلمنا. ماشي. جي شباب، راح تقول بتجي العب. بتجي شباب، راح ادخل فريق كوري من وراها، راح افتح بث بالكوري من وراها.
Big differences with Pgi.S is that instead of receiving prize money based on your final rank is determined by how much prize money you've won. We're awarding prize money every week, and the team who has collected the most at the end.
شباب بعد البث الثاني حتطلع شوي على اللغة الكورية. انا عندي شوية معلومات باللغة الكورية والله، كان عندي صديق كوري 5 سنوات صديق بالجامعة. تعلمت كلمة من عنده. ياكلون اكل اسمه كيمتشي. كيمتشي هاي تمن، بس التمن شايفين تمن رز، يعني التمن ما يعرفون رز. الرز $70 طبق مالته. طبيت المطعم كوري اني طلع اغلى طبق عندهم الرز، وانا وصلت رز ودجاج. وطلع اغلى طبق عندهم الرز. ستيفن عبد الله لا خوي، هو البروجي احاول جندي وخلص هم يفتهموها.
Ranking decisions happen on February 5th, and the first official matches kick off on February 8th. So be sure to tune in, pick your winners.
لا يقول لك الكوري له طعم ثاني. التمن شو اسمه له طعم ثاني. فاحنا الحياة تبي، يعني الحياة كل شيء بيها، واحنا نحب نجرب كل شيء. يعني بصراحة انا يعني احب اجرب كل شيء، وهاي الشغلات احب اجربها بدقة متناهية جدا. هاي الدقة الأسطورية لازم يعني تركز بيها. والله كان صديقي شباب، اكو كان صديقي بتركيا، كنا بالجامعة سوية، كوري هو، كان يدرس ماستر. والله عمره 40 سنة، بس إذا تشوفه تقول 20 سنة. لك عندهم شباب مخيف ما يكبرون، لك ما يكبرون. وانا احب يعني ان شاء الله نقدر نغير النسل كله، نحاول نخبطه ويا الكوري افضل ننوع. صعبة اللغة الكورية كلش. ما عرفتك على ابو الاكبر الاي جي ال الحالي مال G2X. اي جي ال الحالي اوكي، وصلت الفكره. ويد كوكي يشبه الكوريين، جرب وياه. كوكي يشبه الخريحه شو السامع.
How is FaZe feeling? All these teams that were, it almost felt like were a given to make the weekly finals now find themselves with one game remaining, and you know several of them.
عاصمنا هيك كراقيين. حلو محمد الكردي كراقيين. ونسوي دراما بالافريكا فريك، بالفريكس تي في، بالتلفزيون الكوري. نسوي دراما هناك، ما عندهم دراما هم بين اليوتيوبريه، كل احترام متبادل. وهاي
girl game, but again, not as consistent. And then we had Burr around in the last couple of days, really pushing the tempo. Maybe
لا خالد انا مو هيك بس.
may have just evaded them a little bit, but it's the final go of things here. If you have anything left in the tank, now is the time to bring it up.
ندخل مدرام وطش هناك بكوريا. فلوس يابا دولارات. اخر جيم شباب، اخر جيم راح نشوفنا حيتأهل شباب. اخر جيم. يلا شباب شيرات لايكات حبشكلات.
Well, I'm not going to be the one to say the FaZe isn't going to make it. I still remember PGC. I still remember the last game. You know, obviously a little bit of a different situation this time around. And this is a FaZe team that came into today so far have not finished higher than 10th. It has been a rough go for those lads.
حبيبي برو قلبي بس انتظر بس انتظر. انا حنزل لك فيديو مال تصويت رهيب. انتظر بس بعد عندك وقت للتصويت بعد.
But who knows? I mean, we left it to the last minute to get 2 Korean teams in here.
وليد نظام فهم نظام حبيبي. نظام البطوله كل اسبوع بطوله، وهسه حاليا كل اسبوع يتأهل للنهائي 16 فريق. 16 فريق اللي يجيب تشيكن دينر تفهم شلون؟ وراها يقومون يلعبون كل اسبوع بطوله.
You know, you guys at home seem to know what you're doing. You're getting your right choices through. But as said, with this playing path,
هذا اخر جيم شباب. هذا الجيم التاريخي حيصير، هذا الجيم اسطوري حيصير، هذا استقتال عليه حيصير. الدي اكس جي هذول اول مره يشاركون، اول مشاركه لهم حاليا لان هم كانوا المركز القبل الاخير. القبل الاخير كانوا العفو. فهي اول مشاركه لهم، المشاركه الوحيده حتكون لو يتاهلون لو خلاص جي. اوه الزون على اليابانيين، واليابانيين ابد فريق ينزل من المطار. الزون شكلها هنا راح تنتهي. الزون شكلها هنا شكلها يخوف الزون.
Yeah, I mean there's no guessing this one. I mean, you know, sometimes you see they go 50-50. You get a lot of the mainland in, or you at least have enough mainland in to where it seems like, I don't know, ents that like to come in from the north. They hang on that main island
حتى لو كلهم شغله ما
as long as they can until they're absolutely forced to make their way over. Well, you don't get that option this time around.
حبيبي موجود تقدر تشتري كوبونات قلبي اياك.
Everybody's going to have to make their way over right off the bat. T1 already making their rotation.
حبيبي الغالي انت.
Check in on a few other squads here. E36
هذول ما يقدرون يجيبون المطار.
military base to themselves.
هذا خطيه راسا راح على الزورق بدون ما يلوث. حتى هلمت ما عنده. بعد ياخذ الزورق يطلع. بس اخذوه قبله. هذا اخذ الزورق ما عنده كل شيء، ما ملوث اي شيء، بس درع ملوث، كل شيء ما ملوث. هذا هم بينه كل شيء ما ملوث، ماخذ الزورق وعبار. بعد الاستقتال على التشيكن.
The rotations are pretty interesting here because we have such a spread towards the north.
اخذ سياره اوبا على مود يسوي بيها درايف باي. اتوقع فيز فرصتهم الاخيره يعني ما اعرف ايش يسوون. تيامبا همين دي اي وتي 1 وتيامبا اوكي. من يتأهل؟ صعبه. فيز انس صعبه حيل صارت. يو قدامهم فريق الصيني.
Now E36 have shuffled themselves into a very similar position as the likes of DA were residing in towards, and it's a very strong hold.
يمكن حيروحوا له يمكن.
Now FaZe are going to definitely see at least one of them
راحوا له
on the way up.
راحوا له.
Giving a bit of chase. And does he pull over? Looks like he's.
عنده يقول هورنات يجون يعرفون.
If they can scare Petrichor off of this position, I feel like there's no safer position really to play to the late game than that radio tower. It's so hard to push up there. Nobody wants to push up there earlier mid game, but it looks like FaZe is just going to go ahead and opt for their normal spot of playing this south side once again, which you know, that's fine as well. You know, given that we don't really know where the next shift is going to go. Obviously, last time we saw the military island, it hard shifted over to the west. This time could be different. We'll see. Day Trade, meanwhile, making their way over pretty early on. We've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams that have made landfall onto Military Island, with 2 more heading towards the bridge and 1 in boats. There's your 1 in boats.
There we are. Nice little cross for them. And again for the likes of Ents, Tianba, DXG, LG Divine a touch, and DA2. This is quite a long rotation. Now, I guess the one bonus of this format is it doesn't really encourage too much potentially bridge camping or anything of the such, because, as I said, sometimes you'll go for those kills and you grab a couple of points here and there. As that's not the case, most teams will opt to try and get a better position first. Now, this could be an issue. Now, Long K's pulled up here. DXG maybe looking to grab any vehicles away, but they seem all too aware that there's a player around here.
Zone.
He's seeing the open doors. He knows it's been looted. Now the problem for GEX
زون دمار.
they've got two.
وهذا الزورق تيمين مقيم عليه وشافوا هذا السيارة، شافوا السيارة الثانية فعرفوا اكو لاعب هنا نكمبر على الزورق. هنا المشكلة. اثنيناتهم حيتأخرون، لو يخلصون الفايت يخلصون بعض، لو واحد يطلع بالزورق يقتلوه.
And see if maybe we can pick them off as they make their way around the Milta Power Peninsula. Zenith, meanwhile, looks like they've made it in. They've scared Petrichor out as well. Petrichor, for their part, doing a good job of avoiding FaZe, now doing a good job of avoiding Zenith, at least in the early game here.
Next team to make it across, taking the traditional rotation route just up the hill.
So that
day trade could be a problem, I guess, because they are kind of on that coastal side. But it could definitely work out. That position's really nice to utilize just up on the hill where Damon were. I don't know if they've got a step. They seem to be clearing very meticulously, but clearing down the lower floor first. It's when they go up top it could be a problem, but
Yo!
Drops out, quickly turns around just in case someone came through. A bit of a free fire, I like that. But now he's in trouble. Around, finds one. Long K dead.
ما يدرون خطية ما يدرون. هذا دعاش بطلع من فوق.
And now looks for another IQ 500.
يا نزل واحد فشو؟
نزل
الثاني اوكي. درايف باي عليه درايف باي حلوة يا علي. والله درايف باي اسطورية.
Yan Lee arriving in the nick of
قاعد يسوي الثاني درايف باي
to get the quick drive-by shots there. He's gonna have to find IQ 500 though. He's gets
عشان صاحبه.
half HP. I think CC
بس زين ما تفنشوا.
joined Yan Lee as well.
عشان لونج اتوقع. لا بكيه يشيل.
One
لونج لازم يشيل بسرعة.
has bled out. The res will come through though, so DXG back up.
جيكس حيفوزون بالفايت اتوقع. إذا لحق بسرعة.
CC and Yan Lee decide how they want to approach this.
Keep in mind, DXG can get reses, GX can't. Fergus, okay, now Long K is back up on the feet. IQ 500.
بعد البيكات كله شعرايه بيك.
Kind of, you know, get that galaxy brain on the go, the free fire on the cross.
لا انا سوي صاحبي ام بي كي. حلو بقى واحد بس والله وحش وحش وحش. دي اكس وحوش وحوش وحوش. بس وسخين فنشوا.
Welcome to the lobby, DXG.
Yeah, here we go. So DXG doing well to survive their first fight. They should be able to get all the reses. Now, obviously, it slows down their route. There will be the blue coming in pretty soon towards them, but hey, they're alive.
أول فريق بعد راح على التأهل. أول فريق GX.
Half the battle, and they've got the boat there that we did see earlier, so they will eat a little bit of blue, but they will most likely collect a few more meds off of the fallen GEX squad.
حبيبي يا واعي بزرق. شاف البيكات تبع البيك تتبع عليه مع البيك.
Given where the circle
شعرايه بيك من يم شعرايه بالشباك.
All the hills completely empty. Everybody.
ورجع يعني. ضرب ورجع.
حتى
ديسك ما يصير عليه.
Kind of posting up around the military base.
كوريين يم بعض.
Nobody really in the hills. So that's going to be good news for our teams that are coming in late.
نقدر قدام فريق ياباني. نشوف فريق
6
ياباني.
teams that have yet to make their way in, including DXG.
Yeah, now I think just because the circle is so drastically south, they're just playing the percentages by sitting on that southern side. There is every chance that it can still go towards the north, of course, but you're playing the chance that at least that south side will still the circle in towards it.
يعبرون عند 24 ما ادري يوصلون
If
ايزي.
they're trying to play out late, see if there's any late crosses, it's that kind of stalemate. And again, you're going to have Ents and DA already pretty late to this.
صحيح مليار بالمية.
DXG made it out of the fight and they come across. We do have Destination making their way across the
بس اللي
eastern
قبل خاف واحد
bridge.
شو اسمه.
I think LG Divine are behind them somewhere, but I don't know how much by. I think this is going to be a safe cross. I wonder if they stick on the other side, if they've got an idea of LG Divine, or if they continue forward. And now we have Tiamba and DA on the western bridge.
يو تيامبا ودي اي دي اي لو يستحق لو خلص شافوهم شافوا السيارات شافوا السيارات قالوا كم يعني
shots will come out of Tiamba, but it's not going to be nearly enough. So very well spotted out there by DA.
اتوقع هيعبرون السباحه اتوقع اقوى احتمال يعبرون السباحه اقوى احتمال تيامبا خلص قالوا راح نروح لانه ما كان بعد هيجي او اتوقع يرجعون مره ثانيه على الجسر اتوقع يرجعون مره ثانيه على الجسر ها هسه شوف راح يرجعون الدي اي راح يرجعون يعرفوا الفريق حيعبر ما راح ينتظر اتوقع هيرجعون مره ثانيه
E36, they were the ones who landed early, and Damwon Gaming are actually in a very good position as well. Phase T1 will probably
DXG صارت كلش بعيدة عليه.
but not as bad as like your Buraram and your LG Divine.
بس يوصل.
Now have a
حيوصل من ورا. من ورا الميليتري.
Nothing stopping
من ورا
it from swinging
المطار.
back up. Eventually it will move
على
away
جهة
from water.
الميناء.
So that north side of the circle will seem more viable than ever because you know that eventually you'll have to.
حيوصلون يقول الفرق شوف الدي اي رجعوا على الجسر يعرفوا الفريق قدامهم راح عبر.
Looks like they're
بس انس وراهم ورا الدي اي انس
going out of military base. There are
ورا
still
الدي اي بالضبط
inside
انس
of military base that are kind of making their way over and across, but for the most part you can see
يبدلون مقاعد شوي
everybody just kind of hanging out on the hills. As you said, they trade in a fantastic position to
واحد
kind of
يعالج
figure
واحد
out
يصير
what's going on around them. A few firefights starting to pick up though here on the
حلو
eastern
الامريكان
side of
يعني
the
زين
military
مستواهم
base.
صراحه زين بس ما يتأهل ما توقع يتأهل
trading back and forth
ما دام دخل فايت من هسه خلص جي شوف دي اي عبر نفس الجسر ايش قلت لك انا قلت لك حيرجعون مره ثانيه على الجسر ليش لانه عرفوا الفريق قدامهم راح يا ام 200 ضرب على سماش الدعم سماش لا راح عبر
You've got Tiamba still in a bit of a split down the side. Looking towards this, who else is there? I guess your day trade up on the hill, so they go.
راح يحصلوا اخر لاعب راح يحصلوا ضرب هيد شوت ضرب هيد شوت بالسلار ما خلاص بتراجع جي جي تراجع جي جي صين عمي كفر عيب نار والله مو وين والله ما ادري عيب بوت شفتيه بالسكارل ضرب هيد شوت ديش مسافه بعيده بالسياره
Yeah, I mean, coming in as late as they did through everything that they did, losing one there as you know, that's okay. We'll take that. Meanwhile, Zenith looks like they've elected to go into the distance.
Yeah, واحد منهم finish صعب صار كل صعب عليهم.
You see Damwon
بس السكية عندك وعندك تيامبا.
Across the road that we see so often. This is such
a strong split. لو منتظرين الدي على الجسر شكل لهم الانس.
See what the circle decides to do is we see Ents finally making their way across the bridge, but they're going to find Tiamba ready and waiting for
them. Tiamba شلون يضرب على الجسر خرب عرضك. رعب.
Scary from Ents. Where do they go? As said, DA ran this route and it didn't go so well. So maybe Ents will to fight on this, going straight up directly towards Tiamba. M200, they're out of the vehicles. They want to fight here, and scary time. The bait comes out. Not quite there yet. Now it is. Rustamov finds M200. There's more of
ضربوهم
the suppressing fire from the
حلوة لك خرب عرضه بس تيم عندهم نوك جاسفو تيامبا جاسفو بشرفك هاي السالفة سوى انه وقفتهم صحيحة ان شاء عليهم واحد ان شاء الله يعني صراحة
they end up picking up two. Looks like they might lose Tixu, and that's it's the cost of doing business when you come in that late here onto Military Island. Divine to make their way across. They're eating a little bit of blue, but it looks like they should be okay. Ents might be able to take a few shots over the top.
وهاي المنطقة فارغة.
Next circle going to take us.
هاي منطقة فارغة يقدرون يدخلون من خلالها طبعا.
Southwestern side of the millie, and honestly, Damwon's positioning is really strong. So
يضرب بعيد عليهم حيل.
They might get a little overwhelmed. T1, excellent positioning too. This is going to be an adjustment. DA can snag a really nice compound if they start rotating fast. This actually isn't terrible for too many teams. There's still enough space here, I feel, for them mostly to be able to find a bit of room. Unless they go for a greedy slice of the pie. That's when you can get punished in this. Metro are on the move. They're going to try and find their home for now. Not sure how much is here still. If they go down towards that compound, that's ridiculous. You think you're going to get this for free. There is a little bit of room to be had. Maybe they can scout something out. I don't see them getting away with this. Zenith and Down one and both down here. So if they go for that, that could be the death of them. I don't think that'd be a great call if they do, but who knows?
شافوهم دي اكس جي.
working on the outskirts.
شافوهم.
Yeah, okay, they go for the fight.
يا بش عليك هي. ميتين البرازيل ميتين. لا نزلوا والله حلوة. والله حلوة. او انت قول نزل اثنين نوك. حلوة. خمس لاعب واحد. قتلهم. تفنش واحد من عندهم يا بتفنش. هذا كوري اللاعب وكيد. اللي يلعب ويا ميت البرازيلي. يلعبوا الفريق البرازيلي كوري ترى. بس يلعبوا البرازيل. اسمه ويكيد.
Bringing on Wicked for this tournament and the issues that they've had with some of the communication, that was one of those situations where you got to imagine having everybody on the same page, speaking, quickly, trying to figure out what to do next would have been very, very helpful. Unfortunately, they lose 3 there to Dom1. They do keep Sparking up though, so we'll see if maybe Sparking can hold his position into this late game as we see DXG
ترى التيام بدي يخبثون على الفرق والله ما كنت مكان ما كنت مكان بدي يكفون
50% of this game so far.
ليش راح يشوفهم يمكن
جو
عليه جو عليه جو عليه جو عليه شال واحد بعدهم شال الثاني حشي الثاني حشي الثاني ضربه شال الثاني شال الثاني شال لهم شال لهم
How's he able to do this so easily? Okay,
تقول عليه حيوان.
may just send that down as depth charge.
شلون تسوي يعني؟
Not too deep, but it's going to make things trickier. DXG
جي خلاص خلصت عليه.
Oh, they are in
absolute
trouble here. I mean, looks like the IQ found a little bit of purchase there that he might be able to crawl up and take a few shots. Meanwhile, Zenith sending the frags over towards Damwon. Yeah, Damwon looks like they have centered up. Or they were able to get everybody over to this compound, and Zenith just taking that opportunity to say thank you very much. We'll backfill that compound all day long, and they get all 4 in there, waiting for this.
وليش شنو وضع الجوائز البث مع البطوله اللي فاتت اللي انقطع بها النت يمك؟ قلب ما وزعت. اللي انقطع بها البث ما وزعت. بس اللي وراها وزعت.
E36 yeah, there we go. Ents Zenith happy.
لأن انقطع عندي النت أصلا يعني 4 ساعات انقطع عندي
النت. I guess down one are happy even though they're down to a slightly lighter number. Daytrade not unhappy with this. They've got high ground to suit as well. IQ 500 practicing his jumping ability. There we go. We are now goats. Up.
We're eating trash and cans and climbing up the sides of mountains. That's what we do because we're goats. That's where I was kind of going with that. I don't know if you picked up on it.
هذا أخير جيم شباب أخير جيم. أخير جيم بس فريق واحد حيتأهل بس واحد حيتأهل 16 فريق حيقعد.
FaZe clan as DXG
الام سي جي هو اصلا قاعد من البدايه لانه ما له مكان 15 فريق يتبدل في 15 فريق ويا الام سي جي صاروا 16 سوي حيتفرجون البطوله من الفندق هذا الاسبوع.
Okay, you got Ents on one side. I guess Meta's building is probably the easiest place to crash, but let's see what Sparking can do. He's got the smoke.
Sparking GG حبيبي. مشون التي ديفاين اقوى فريق.
Everyone's piling in on this side. They are all going to go towards this. He's got one punch down.
اوه شو الاربعه من نيد.
Sparking.
والله وحش. والله وحش. شالهم كلهم بالنيد.
How did he just do that on his own?
شالهم كلهم بالنيد شباب بس بقى واحد بس.
Is this T100 coming back? This is Meta Sparking. This was the name that we said you will know by the end of this tournament, and he is proving why here. Great grenade.
والله شالهم بنيد. أسطورية بالقرآن. أنا قلت حكيتوه ايزي. والله درايف باي فاست فيز. حلوة هذا طبعا الاحتياط مال الفريق الياباني ملوفو. سباركينج قتلهم بس مات خطية. مات هو ما قتله.
What a valiant last stand though from Sparking. Loved that. Compound now is actually available. That's a crazy thing. That with him removed, that's fair game. Now whether or not they go for
Sparking
that, beyond the point. No one else really knows that's available.
دعموا جماعتهم بالغلط.
You see a few teams still on the move. Oh boy. Well, there you go. DXG, the boat lads finally going down. Mings pushing up a little bit close here to
هسه فاز فيز هسه فيز فرصتهم فيز فرصتهم مكانهم حلو بالزون التيامبات فين شو جي خلاص ما يتأهلون بعد
The lobby has cleared out quite considerably in these last few circle shifts. Now we've got
بقى كي وتي 1 ودي اي وبرارم همينه وفيز وانس دي تريد هذول هذا الفريق طلع صعبه صارت دي ام صعب عليهم فيز مكانهم اسطوري فيز وكيه وانس وتي 1 طبعا اكيد تي 1 مكانهم يخبل اذا انتهى عليهم الزون الجاي همينه لهم
Not a bad down to pull up here, honestly.
إذا انتهى عليهم الزون الجاي همينه لهم الزون لهم الجيم تي 1 شرط إذا الزون الجاية الزون الثالثة عليهم لهم الجيم 100% لأنه إنس لازم ينزل من الجبل لازم يدخل فايت ويا دي أو دي تريد إنس
I gotta feel like Ents has to have their heads on swivels right now. They've got Day Trade above them and DA just off to the west, and their spot is looking real tasty right now for both of those squads. We'll see what happens. T1 still has their compound that they can kind of hide out in. Gotta imagine that they are keeping very close tabs on FaZe. They know that they're right across the street, but no pushing out from T1, not taking the risks just yet. Meanwhile, FaZe is going to keep trading back and forth with Buriram, make sure Buriram doesn't get too ambitious with their peaks here.
I mean, Buriram's ability to survive so far is actually pretty impressive. Mert now in the vehicle, code Marco and his. It's time to see where DA go, but Day Trade Gaming are up on that hillside. You've got Ents just that little bit lower. There is no real easy route on this, and you can see them going kind of up the hill line towards Day Trade. That's a little sketchy. Back on towards the road we go, swinging around.
Yo, smash the
vehicle. Norins is going to find him. That's a quick 5-2. DA, good luck finding a home here, boys. This is not pretty.
Oh, it's not. The one thing that they've got going for them, or had going for them, really was the fact
that
they had their vehicles, and now they're going to run right into FaZe. Gustav going to take out Code Marco. Now Mert's still alive, but he is in a very precarious position, hiding, I think, just behind a rock. He's got his vehicle with him. He's going to stay alive now because of the smoke, but you can see Day Trade taking the shots over in that direction as well. Day Trade still has not left yet, got to see where they are going to go. They've got vehicles as well. They've got to try to make a decision here soon, and like I said, that end spot is looking real tasty.
Yeah, where does Petrichor Road go on this? They're kind of back to the blue, and then the rest is facing Zenith. If they go across the road, that's phases, or maybe T1s. Day Trade on the move now, though.
Move towards Ends.
On a squibble, and now keeps Day Trade in this. Diggory gonna get the flush, but there's still dangers aplenty. Squeaky on that low ground. To pull back. This is a scrappy battle between both Squeaky and Diggory. The last two for Ents now. There's a res available if they get this kill quick. Diggory slowly but surely creeping up. Nurin's taking
double peaks.
Does eventually get the kill, but not before they're able to flush Rustamar. It's only
اكو 5 فرصته.
at best.
يب فرصته اكو 5 ديشي. اكو 5 شال واحد. لا مش شال واحد.
Aqua 5 just rolling out there by himself on his lonesome, trying to clear up all this stuff. The rest of his squad said, you know what, go on there, see if you can third party, see if you can pick something up, take care of that, get rid of it. Just stay alive, play your life, put some pressure on, and now he's going to send it back to the compound. We wait there. We see the new circle has popped, and now T1 has to decide where they're going to go next. They've got FaZe
كان ياخذ مني ولانفور وبايك ويطلع لك على الجبل. يصلح لك واحد اثنين ثلاثة يرجع سكواد.
Paying very close attention to Buriram, but they have not had an angle up onto T1 up until now.
ما تودي خلاص جي.
Doing well. That's going to be under finding real thin angle to work with, but very well done.
كملت رهيبة كي.
Lovely stuff, and honestly, they're in still a fantastic position here. It looks like
عندك منو بعد 36 موجودين عايشين.
I guess someone say, but I'm looking at T1 where they head to.
T1 24 T1 الوحيد 24 هم فيز.
Full send for Ents. It looks like
هم فيز 24.
See if they swing
اتوقع سكويكي حيطلع كل الفيز اتوقع.
I think the remainder of DA pulled up to, so definitely going to hear the Squeaky knows that someone been here, but you know where are they? How open that potentially could be. So Ents are going to be prone down here. Where does T1 go now?
Full safe,
isn't it? I think the additional vehicles that Ents provide make that a little bit more of a secure location than it was when Mert was hanging out there, and God, you hate to see Diego out like that. Unfortunate, as they will not make that weekly final despite having a fantastic performance throughout these past 3 days.
7 تيمات بقت وانس اتوقع يتواجه وياهم ودي فيس حيطب عليهم ثيرد بارتي على انس
اتوقع around the roadside right here. Ents is going to be the first line of defense.
اتوقع فيس حيشمل نيد عليهم اتوقع وبعد 3 فرق عليهم والرابع فيس صعبة على انس خلاص جي جي.
from this before and he's still getting away with it. It's a very fine margin to work with. Yeah, he is playing pretty spot on overall. See T1's options. It's this plateau for now. It's barely in, but it is in. So, I mean, I don't know how much they can re-sustain here. Under still being a problem.
I wonder how much
they
have. You can see there's a few grenades coming out. But I mean, this is a perfect position to just grenade the hell out of if you're T1. But I think that they're wanting to try.
T1 بعد T1 ما يخافوا رسم مباشر.
This is that's a good. How are they still alive? There's
يضربون كيد يكفرون من بعيد كيد.
Like
كيد يكفر انس.
What are these fins made of? It's just. I don't know.
صعبة حيل عليه صعبة حيل صعبة مستحيلة.
These guys are just insane. Just tucked down there. They're just not moving. Now, circle update will change the scene for a lot of these teams. And again, down one, right in the middle of it. We've seen Korean teams gifted with some circles here, man.
ياخذ السيارة قلبوها. قلبوا السيارات على مود يتحركون بها يشوفون مكان يتحركون هسه. سكويكي نوك اوكي دقيقة راح ينزل نوك.
It is going to be under to find Squeaky. He's been working that angle the entire time here. So Squeaky, it felt inevitable, be it T1 to find it or potentially under.
And you can see FaZe just playing it cool, calm, and collected as well. They know all this stuff is going on.
T1 راح يلعب السيارات كفر، راح يخلي السيارات كفر عنده.
Elected to strike just yet.
حل الوحيد سيارات الكفر، حل الوحيد. ماكو كلها اوبن. كلها اوبن، مستحيل ماكو اي مكان. لو يبشون على فيس، لو يخلون السيارات كفر لهم بطرف الزون.
And they have to worry about
Squeaky knock مرة ثانية.
shot at their back. So
يضربون
has
T1.
to find a way to get into the next circle.
50 طلقة بعد لهذا.
All this happens.
سمع السيارة جته.
Down one are just going to be getting stronger here. No one's going to crash that compound. I feel it's I don't know which side you go to. Zenith can kind of live in. It's not ideal, but it's feasible. Whereas like Ents and Burram, FaZe, T1, they're all just taking chunks out of each other. Nice work from Kickstart from afar for Zenith. Just holding themselves accountable to anyone who's going to be trying to work out in the open. Not going to let it happen. T1 moving the vehicles up. Squeaky still fighting. Look at the amount of space he has to work with. Almost nothing. As soon as
ماتوا 10 كلات.
And again,
ماتوا
10 kills now coming through. FaZe
ماتوا اكو 5 1 HP.
Looking towards that.
اكو 5 1 HP حرام.
T1 going to try.
بخلي السيارة تمشي وخليهم وراها. صار ورا السيارة باوع.
Using this mobile.
راح السيارة حتروح على فيس. السيارة حتروح على فيس شباب. راح السيارة نزل على فيس اخذ كفر عليها. لك حول على ذاك الفايت حول على ذاك الفايت.
Zenith have pushed this. They are madmen, but Fuzzface is dead and gone. So Zenith taking the fight.
Fuzzface مات. اكو 5 كتله شفت ايش سوى؟ خرب عرفكم لايكيو عند الكوريين شنو؟ خلي السيارة تدهدر عليهم وصار ورا السيارة كفر. حلوة كيد فشوا. Zenith اكو 5. FaZe
We're down to 4 teams and one of them
FaZe فرصتهم الأخيرة FaZe.
Incredibly bold play.
فرصتهم الأخيرة FaZe فرصتهم الأخيرة. حلوة FaZe. آخر فرصة لفيز شباب. FaZe Zenith و E36 اليابانيين.
E36 in kind of no man's land, I've got to say.
والله E36 يابانيين غير والله الله نقذهم والحظ نقذهم الفرق عافوهم.
The push from Zenith was so perfectly executed. They managed to get a knock onto under and then immediately cross the road and somehow managed to stay alive and win that fight at 2v3. The problem for FaZe now is there's nothing. It's just wide open real estate.
مشاهدات صايد 35,000. وقف بالبيت. وقف بالبيت صدق تحكي.
So hopefully that does come back. Is it still up for you?
صدق كذب.
Seems as though there might have been a bit of an issue there. So
لك صدق كذب والله بآخر لقطة البطولة. ها هي بالكوريا. يا أو بطلة.
이거 반대로 페이즈 클랜 쪽으로 옵니다. 무바신의 그 부활. 자, 페이즈 클랜.
الامريكان وفيز بقوا 3 ضد 2. اوبا طلع اوبا حيموت. اوبا نزل واحد دوك حلو. اوبا والله وحش اوبا عمي بالقران وحش. لا خلنا خوالج فيه والله وحش اوبا. اوبا بش شباب نزلها بالميني والله وحش بالاوبن. مع التاريخ الكوري فيز حيتأهل. فيك صارت واحدة ضد فيز. بعد بيك مال اوبا. بس بعد اوبا شو حيبيك. حيخلوه يشيله. اوبا حينام. شاله ما عنده هلمت. تأخروا فيز تأخروا المفروض يبشوه بالسيارة بالبداية. اوبا نوك بالنيت شباب. 2 ضد 2 شباب. لو فيز راح يطلعون والله.
우바를 살릴 수 없습니다. 네. 여기서 총 봐야 돼요. 자, 어딜 떠나긴 어딜 떠나 하면서
뒤로 معزون. يمكن فيز حيطلع.
타이밍 계산하면서 미리 때려주고 있죠.
고스타브 نزل واحد نوك بقى واحد. شوفه شافوه راح يشيلوه. اخر طلقه بقتله حلوه. جي تأهلوا فيز. GG.
마지막에 올라가네요. 이 팀은 정말 기적의 미라클을 한번 보여주네요. 라스트 맨 스탠딩, 라스트 매치에 마지막 매치에 이런 승부에 한 축을 세웁니다.
والله بدع GG.
진짜 과감하게 자리 싸움에서 밀고 들어가서 그 자리를
عمي اوبا بدع بهذا الجيم اللقطة الأخيرة. اوبا بدع ولو خسرانين يعني كان المفروض يتفل عليهم.
페이지 클랜이 위클리 파이널로 향합니다. 우바신이 살아있다. 이번 경기에서 보여줬어. 차량이 분명 1위였거든요. 사실 아웃서클에 있었던 우바신이 달려가면서 포탑을 막 얻어맞았을 때 이거 페이지 클랜 끝났구나라고 생각했는데
بالاوبن 1 HP ونزل واحد من عندهم بالمني. ما كنتش مخبى.
우바신 대단합니다. 그렇죠. 마지막
صدق خنزير.
바로 페이지 클랜이었습니다. 그렇습니다. 마지막 상황을 다시
عمي اوبا غير اخر فريق تأهل فيز والله وحش.
선수를 만약에 기절을 그냥 시켰잖아요. 그러면 들고 있었던 수류탄이 본대 쪽으로 향할 수 있었어요. 그리고 다시 2대1 구도를 만들면서 제니스가 마지막 2대1 싸움에서 치킨을 한번 노려볼 수 있었는데 우바가 살아서 상대를 기절시키니까 모든 계산이 다 틀렸습니다. 그렇지요. 그 변수를 만들어냈습니다. 본능적으로 마지막 싸움에 상대 끊어내는 그 확신이 있었어요. 싸움을 걸었습니다. T1과 담원기아 입장에서는 상당히 좀 어려웠던 그런 승부의 순간이었던 것 같습니다. 굉장히 아쉽네요. 네. 이번 주차 경기는 좀 아쉽게 올라가지 못했습니다. 그래도 다음 주차 경기가 있기 때문에 다음
آخر فريق تأهل. آخر فريق فيز. صدق الله انا على مود بطفيت البث والله.
위클리 서바이벌 1주차 피날레를
على الانستغرام اليوم ماشي.
바로 페이지 클랜이었습니다. 우바 선수 만나서 인터뷰 나눠볼게요.
بعد البطوله روح ارتاحي اكلي وارتاحي ورانا نسولف على الانستغرام.
네, 정말 유럽의 전통 강호 드디어 자존심을 지켜냈습니다. 긴장 많이 하셨을 것 같은데 지금 심정이 어떠신가요?
You have been nervous for the final game. Like, how would you feel right now?
We were nervous.
I mean, you must feel nervous because of this last game. How are you feeling right now?
I mean, just feels good to qualify. But to be honest, we kind of didn't deserve it. As like we played before, because we did really bad. And now we just like we have a point to prove to everyone that we're still a good team.
사실 앞 경기에 많은 부진함은 모습을 보여서 아쉬운 면이 많았지만 저희가 마지막에 이 경기를 이기면서 다른 팀들에게도 저희가 강팀이라는 거 보여준 것 같습니다.
네, 이제서야 우리가 알던 페이지 클랜의 경기력이 나온 것 같은데요. 지금까지의 성적은 다소 아깝고 좀 아쉬운 모습이었습니다. 그동안 팀원들과 어떤 피드백을 주고받았는지 좀 궁금해요.
The last games, it's been difficult for you guys. We're wondering what kind of feedback did you have on each other? Like, what kind of feedback, what kind of talk did you have between you people?
I didn't just waiting for the right moment, kinda. Like, that worked. I actually won the game. So.
يقول لك
경기를 잘 운영할 수 있는 그 순간을 찾기 위해서 많이 노력을 한 것 같고요. 저희가 많은 어려움을 통해서
انا يحكي كلها ترجم شباب بس يحكي كلها ترجم.
이렇게 위클리 서바이벌 1주차.
يقول لي احنا كنا منتظرين الفرصه يعني اللحظه صحيحه وصرفنا صح براها بالاخير.
감사하다고.
صح نسأل السؤال راح يجاوب اللي ترجم.
Just say words of thank you to your fans who've been supporting you for the last match.
I mean, if you still
بس يقول آخر كلمة للمشجعينكم.
Thank you very much. We tried, and like you're here.
마지막까지 저희 응원해줘서 너무 감사하고요. 저희 지금까지 부진한 모습 보였지만 앞으로도 더 좋은 모습 보이겠습니다. 감사합니다.
네, 정말 승리 축하드리겠고요. 파이널에서의 활약도 기대하겠습니다. 감사합니다. 땡큐.
감사합니다.
تحب سوالف. اوكي.
네, 이렇게 해서 위클리 서바이벌 1주차 결국 마지막
تحب
매치에서
قصص. تحب
승리한
قصص.
팀은 페이지 클랜이었습니다. 지금까지
قصقص.
오바 선수와
ليش
인터뷰
لا قصقص.
나눠봤고요.
عندي
저희가
قصص
준비한
خبرة 30
경기는
سنة
오늘
بالقصص.
여기까지입니다. 저희는 이번 주 토요일 오후 1시 반 바텀 16 바로
راح افرها العالم
전으로
تدري ولا لا؟
돌아옵니다.
حفرها
그리고
العالم.
같은 날 저녁 6시 반에는 드디어
아까 월드
위클리
투어.
파이널 1주차가 기다리고 있으니까 여러분 꼭 많은 성원과 기대 부탁드리겠습니다. 네, 시청자 여러분 지금까지 광민선이었고요. 새해 복
بعد
많이
تحكي هواية.
받으시고 저희는
تحب تحكي هواية
분석
يمي
끝까지
يمي يمي
함께하겠습니다.
بس قصص بس قصقص خيابة.
Pgi.S
خلي جبتوني يمي يمي انا شوية كذب علي هاي. اوف بحلقة على الثانية. اسمه شنو؟ يابا حبيت.
예 맞습니다. 이 전통 강호 팀답게 페이지 클랜이
يابا
마지막에
حبيت.
멋있게 드라마를 쓰면서 마지막 파이널
هاي
대회로
ببجي كوريا.
진출하게
جاب والله مثل خلاص هاي شباب طيب خلاص بعد انتهت البطولة زين ان شاء الله حنشوف منه اكثر اثنين مشاركين بس شباب واحد من عندهم حيربح $30 وواحد من عندهم حيربح $10 حبايبنا طبعا الجائزة مقدمة من اخونا شاكر اليامي هو اللي يتبرع من السعودية يتبرع بمال الخاص جائزة هذا البث حبايبنا فشكرا متابعتكم حبايب شكرا شيراتكم لايكاتكم نشوفكم ان شاء الله شباب في بث جديد يرجع كوكا ان شاء الله وراح نبث سوية ان شاء الله تحياتكم مع السلامة حبايب